Jiang Ming has just seized a quasi-sage Dao vessel from the son of the Black Emperor, and the heavens themselves are watching. The Northern Emperor is a goner, but the fallout from this fight is only beginning. Leave a like and subscribe to see how far this defiance goes. She wondered whether that meant he now stood on the top of the heavens and had become a real giant of all ages, a supreme venerate. Senior brother, you are so awesome. Linglong was amazed. You should say, senior brother, you're so potent, Jiang Ming whispered. Linglong rolled her eyes, stretched her hands like claws, and grabbed onto his lifeline. It was at that very moment, two figures seemed to have come over from the sky. One was Chang Yiming, while the other was Shi Yao. They sensed the tremor under their feet just now and felt that they were no longer falling. The sky seemed to have become stable, and they were now surrounded by seawater. Knowing that they had landed and taken root, they couldn't help but come over to see the two. Linglong squeezed her little hand fiercely before retracting her hand and stood with her hands behind her back as if nothing had happened. Yang Ming, is the place stable now? Chang Yiming couldn't help but ask. It's stable now, Yang Ming replied with a smile and continued. It'll be fine from now on. Just cultivate in peace and reach the immortal realm as soon as you can. It'll be fine from now on. Chang Yiming was stunned and his eyes turned slightly reddish. He understood that although this sentence seemed like a promise, it was in fact brimming with confidence. It would be definitely fine if Jiang Ming said so. Besides, he was excited for the stability. Having experienced the Great Eastern War, the sex calamity, the demon invasion, the encirclement and suppression of the sacred lands, the descent of immortal beings, and also the world being destroyed, his small heart was almost overwhelmed. Fortunately, it seemed that he could now be completely relieved. Then I'm going to go get myself a whole house of wives, Chang Yiming smiled. Why are you thinking of marrying now? Jiang Ming asked strangely. You're now the head disciple anyway. It's not even a problem if you want to take over the position of first seat now. Getting married is but only a matter of sentences. Hey, I used to be a precarious person and didn't have a clear view of my future. That was why I decided to focus on cultivation and growing quietly, not delaying other people's growth. Now that you are able to even hold up the sky and also looking to become an immortal soon. Seeing that there seems to be no worries at all, I will naturally have to enjoy my life now. Chang Yiming smiled. After all, you are even my matchmaker, brother Jiang. To hell with you, Jiang Ming replied. Do you have a target already? Chang Yiming was a little awkward due to the question. It can't be her. Jiang Ming was shocked. Hee, I knew I couldn't hide it from you. Chang Yiming scratched his head and continued. She used to be my junior sister but was arranged to be by my side after that incident. As we got to know each other more, we started to have feelings for each other. Now that the Juyang sect is the strongest of all, there are no taboos like what we used to have. Senior sister Momo is actually a great lady. She merely couldn't help herself in the past, Jiang Ming said with a smile. He had a very good impression of that particular senior sister from Jiaoyang Peak. It was unfortunate that she was a spy arranged by the Bishui sect. When her identity was exposed, she was protected by First Seat Yin Yu, but it was inevitable that people were going to make things difficult for her. Under Jiang Ming's suggestion, Chang Yiming had brought her to his side to protect her. Since you're ready to get married, bring her over to conduct her cultivation here then, Jiang Ming added. Momo will be very happy to hear this. Chang Yiming's face was brimming with gratitude. I'll go pick her up now. Just go. It just so happens that the dragon feast that I'm preparing over here is almost ready. Yang Ming sighed as he lamented. I was taken care of by senior sister Momo a lot when I first got here. Linglong nodded slightly, and Chang Yiming left happily to get Momo. He is? When Shi Yao asked and pointed at Immortal Lord Chengguang who was pinned mid-air, Linglong explained the whole ordeal. Immortal Lord? With an Immortal Emperor behind him? Shi Yao was shocked and couldn't help laughing bitterly. I can't ask what you two are doing from now on. This heart of mine can't stand it. Let the senior brother help you then. He'll make you an immortal in a day's time, if not two. It's such a simple matter. Linglong put her arms around Shi Yao's shoulder. It's just too slow to cultivate on your own. Linglong, you're shameless. Shi Yao was annoyed and embarrassed. Let me go, you rascal. Hee. How come I'm the rascal now? What I just said was the truth. Senior brother has a way of sharing his own insights. Tell you what, with his level of cultivation realm, he'll be able to let you realize the immortal Tao in just minutes. Linglong shook Shi Yao's shoulder and continued. Besides, didn't you plan to retreat into cultivation to try breaking into the immortal realm? How long has it been and you are already out of your retreat? If you continue with such half-hearted cultivation, how long will it take for you to become an immortal? Maybe by the time you become an immortal, you might already be an old woman. By that time, if the senior brother doesn't pay attention and uses a little more force on you, you'll explode. Jiang Ming's mouth twitched as he listened to Linglong's monologue. Her words were really pleasant to the ear, but she seemed to be also looking for a beating. While he was busy cooking, his ears were focusing on their conversation and was paying attention to junior sister's clones at the same time. Multitasking was indeed difficult. Shi Yao was getting more and more shy that her red blushed face seemed as though she was going to bleed out. She couldn't help screaming, Linglong, I want to. What do you want? Linglong smiled. You still want to hit me? I can't beat you, so I'll bite you. She opened her mouth wide and bit at Linglong's arm, while Linglong laughed out loud and stepped back. Shi Yao stomped her feet angrily and secretly took a glance at Jiang Ming. Just as she was about to leave, Linglong grabbed onto her hands and pulled her over onto the stool beside her. The dragon banquet later will be of a real golden immortal realm dragon. After being cooked by senior brother, it won't cause you to explode when you eat them. However, it will be like an elixir that can improve your physique and raise your cultivation, comparable to a great recreation. Don't you want to enjoy it? Linglong sat peacefully by the side as she emphasized, a golden immortal realm true dragon prepared by senior brother himself. Therefore, once you miss this, there won't be a next time. Shi Yao hesitated upon hearing this. Far away, a great battle had already begun. Both Time and Space Junior Sisters joined forces and evoked a great time and space imprisonment technique. Karma Junior Sister evoked a curse technique, weakening the power of several demon kings at the same time. Life and Death Junior Sister broke out with her peerless fighting power. In addition to Phoenix Junior Sister launching her attacks, the Dark Worker Demon King and the likes were buried just like that. It did not take long before they returned to Quyang Peak, having captured Devil King Shu Tao. You have so many clones and are all so powerful. Shi Yao couldn't help stuttering when she saw the few junior sisters. A strange thought suddenly popped in her mind, and she couldn't help but blurt out, "Can Brother Jiang even satisfy you?" Once the words were out, she was dumbfounded by what she just said, and her face flushed red. Embarrassed by herself, she lowered her head and was eager to find a place to hide herself. "Why don't you come and have a look tonight?" Linglong whispered in her ears. Shi Yao quickly covered her ears. Jiang Ming's ear twitched as he listened to their conversation. He thought it was a great idea to have Shi Yao watching from the side because it would definitely be exciting. "Senior brother, what do we do with him?" Phoenix Junior Sister pinned Devil King Shu Tao in midair, restraining him with the power of order and making it difficult to move one bit. As Jiang Ming looked over, he said, "Shu Tao, here we meet again. Do we know each other?" Devil King Shu Tao's voice was extremely hoarse. Now that he understood how dire and hopeless his situation was, he became reckless. "I was the one who killed your last bloodline clone," Jiang Ming replied. "Tell me, what's the real name of that Devil Emperor behind you?" "Haha, do you think I would tell you?" Devil King Shu Tao sneered. "Just you wait. You and the rest of your people will definitely end up worse than I am." Updates by VPNovel.com. Jiang Ming shook his head and smiled. "I'm but an ordinary person from the planar world, and you are a high-ranking Devil King. However, what was the outcome? All of your plots and plans ended up with failure, and even you are imprisoned in front of me. As for the Devil Emperor, you think his ending will be any better than yours?" Devil King Shu Tao fell silent and paused for a moment before faintly asked, "Are you really born of this world?" "You're right, but how can you be this strong? Did you obtain the great encounters of your world?" "Right again. What kind of great encounter was it?" "A very ordinary one," Jiang Ming replied. "Just something from the ruins of an ancient battlefield." "Impossible. If it was just from the ruins of an ancient battlefield, how is it possible for you to grow to such a level in this short period of time?" Devil King Shu Tao didn't believe him. He wanted to struggle and break free but couldn't move at all. Jiang Ming didn't answer him but asked indifferently, "I'll give you one last chance. What's the real name of that Devil Emperor behind you?" "You really want to know? Haha, I won't tell you." Devil King Shu Tao sneered. However, when he glanced around and saw Immortal Lord Chengguang with his face distorted, mouth wide open with no voice coming out of it, he couldn't help but tremble and started to hesitate. "You won't tell me, so be it. It makes no difference to me." Jiang Ming raised his hands, destroying his body, shattering his primal spirit, and leaving only a mere remnant of his soul. Shu Tao remained in his human form, unable to move one bit. As Jiang Ming snapped his finger, pitch-black flames started to ignite below Shu Tao's feet as he began to refine him. Devil King Shu Tao immediately screeched in pain as his body twisted around due to the excruciating torment. However, not a sound came out of his mouth because Jiang Ming had obviously sealed him off. "Because of you, my world was destroyed." Jiang Ming's voice was chilly. "That's why I'll let you stay this way forever, just existing like this." Shi Yao, who stood next to him, couldn't help shivering. At that very moment, Chang Yiming could be seen flying over with a gentle and quiet-looking girl as they landed beside him. "No introductions needed already, right?" Chang Yiming seemed a little embarrassed. "Senior sister Momo." Chang Ming greeted her with a smile. "Head disciple Jiang." Momo smiled with a very calm demeanor. It was as if she had been enlightened after going through a life-and-death crisis, indifferently peaceful toward people and things. "Thank you for your honest words that time and also for secretly helping me. There is no right or wrong for the past, but the past is now behind us." Yang Ming looked at Momo and his heart still felt somewhat complicated. In fact, senior sister Momo had been very close with him at the very beginning. She would even bring him delicious food up the mountains from time to time. It was just a pity that he secretly discovered the problem with her identity and later manipulated her to reveal herself. Only then was Momo's status as a disciple revoked and she was taken away by Jiang Ming to be monitored. Yes, the past is finally behind us. Momo also sighed slightly and continued. Who would have thought that head disciple Jiang, who was so mediocre at the beginning, would actually soar into the sky one day, standing on top of the clouds? Enough about this. Sit down. The all-dragon banquet will be ready soon. I guess I'm going to have a feast then. Momo softly smiled. Linglong walked over with a slightly complicated expression on her face as she reminisced about the past. Just as Jiang Ming was about to continue getting busy with the preparations, he suddenly raised his head and slightly frowned. He sensed the prayer from the fifth immortal moon and also noticed an incomparably powerful spiritual sense that had locked onto the eastern region. Reincarnation Hall. Immortal Emperor Bei Chen. Jiang Ming's eyes slowly narrowed as he thought of the names. The real troubles are coming, Jiang Ming thought. Life and Death Junior Sister broke out with her peerless fighting power. In addition to Phoenix Junior Sister launching her attacks, the Dark Worker Demon King and the likes were buried just like that. It did not take long before they returned to Quyang Peak, having captured Devil King Shu Tao. You have so many clones and are all so powerful. Xiao couldn't help stuttering when she saw the few junior sisters. A strange thought suddenly popped in her mind, and she couldn't help but blurt out, "Can Brother Jiang even satisfy you?" Once the words were out, she was dumbfounded by what she just said, and her face flushed red. Embarrassed by herself, she lowered her head and was eager to find a place to hide herself. "Why don't you come and have a look tonight?" Linglong whispered in her ears. Shi Yao quickly covered her ears. Xiang Ming's ear twitched as he listened to their conversation. He thought it was a great idea to have Shi Yao watching from the side because it would definitely be exciting. "Senior brother, what do we do with him?" Phoenix Junior Sister pinned Devil King Shu Tao in midair, restraining him with the power of order and making it difficult to move one bit. As Jiang Ming looked over, he said, "Shu Tao, here we meet again. Do we know each other?" Devil King Shu Tao's voice was extremely hoarse. Now that he understood how dire and hopeless his situation was, he became reckless. "I was the one who killed your last bloodline clone," Jiang Ming replied. "Tell me, what's the real name of that devil emperor behind you?" "Haha, do you think I would tell you?" Devil King Shu Tao sneered. "Just you wait, you and the rest of your people will definitely end up worse than I am." Jiang Ming shook his head and smiled. "I'm but an ordinary person from the planar world, and you are a high-ranking devil king. However, what was the outcome? All of your plots and plans ended up with failure, and even you are imprisoned in front of me. As for the Devil Emperor, you think his ending will be any better than yours?" Devil King Shu Tao fell silent and paused for a moment before faintly asked, "Are you really born of this world?" "You're right, but how can you be this strong? Did you obtain the great encounters of your world?" "Right again. What kind of great encounter was it?" "A very ordinary one," Jiang Ming replied. "Just something from the ruins of an ancient battlefield." "Impossible. If it was just from the ruins of an ancient battlefield, how is it possible for you to grow to such a level in this short period of time?" Devil King Shu Tao didn't believe him. He wanted to struggle and break free but couldn't move at all. Jiang Ming didn't answer him but asked indifferently, "I'll give you one last chance. What's the real name of that devil emperor behind you?" "You really want to know? Haha. I won't tell you," Devil King Shu Tao sneered. However, when he glanced around and saw Immortal Lord Chengguang with his face distorted, mouth wide open with no voice coming out of it, he couldn't help but tremble and started to hesitate. "You won't tell me, so be it. It makes no difference to me." Jiang Ming raised his hands, destroying his body, shattering his primal spirit, and leaving only a mere remnant of his soul. Shu Tao remained in his human form, unable to move one bit. As Jiang Ming snapped his finger, pitch-black flames started to ignite below Shu Tao's feet as he began to refine him. Devil King Shu Tao immediately screeched in pain as his body twisted around due to the excruciating torment. However, not a sound came out of his mouth because Jiang Ming had obviously sealed him off. "Because of you, my world was destroyed." Jiang Ming's voice was chilly. "That's why I'll let you stay this way forever, just existing like this." Shi Yao, who stood next to him, couldn't help shivering. At that very moment, Chang Yiming could be seen flying over with a gentle and quiet-looking girl as they landed beside him. "No introductions needed already, right?" Chang Yiming seemed a little embarrassed. "Senior Sister Momo." Jiang Ming greeted her with a smile. "Head disciple Jiang." Momo smiled with a very calm demeanor. It was as if she had been enlightened after going through a life-and-death crisis, indifferently peaceful toward people and things. "Thank you for your honest words that time and also for secretly helping me. There is no right or wrong for the past, but the past is now behind us." Jiang Ming looked at Momo and his heart still felt somewhat complicated. In fact, Senior Sister Momo had been very close with him at the very beginning. She would even bring him delicious food up the mountains from time to time. It was just a pity that he secretly discovered the problem with her identity and later manipulated her to reveal herself. Only then was Momo's status as a disciple revoked and she was taken away by Chang Yiming to be monitored. Yes, the past is finally behind us. Momo also sighed slightly and continued. Who would have thought that head disciple Jiang, who was so mediocre at the beginning, would actually soar into the sky one day, standing on top of the clouds? Enough about this. Sit down. The all-dragon banquet will be ready soon. I guess I'm going to have a feast then. Momo softly smiled. Ling Long walked over with a slightly complicated expression on her face as she reminisced about the past. Just as Jiang Ming was about to continue getting busy with the preparations, he suddenly raised his head and slightly frowned. He sensed the prayer from the fifth immortal moon and also noticed an incomparably powerful spiritual sense that had locked onto the eastern region. Reincarnation Hall, Immortal Emperor Bei Chen? Jiang Ming's eyes slowly narrowed as he thought of the names. The real troubles are coming, Jiang Ming thought. Moon had consumed the golden immortal Dao fruit. Her cultivation level rose steeply. At present, she was standing before a mission gate, browsing through the information about a mission. Hunt the beneficiaries of the Lord God. A planar world under Honggu Great Chiliocosm has been destroyed. The core that remained has been transported to the Infinite Realms battlefield, and it has landed there safely. A batch of beneficiaries from the Lord God is heading toward it to exterminate the remaining traces of humanity on that planet. Hint 1. The Jiuyong sect is the leader of the human race on that planet. Hint 2. There are a total of 35 teams of beneficiaries from the Lord God. The strongest team is led by a level 15 expert, and the weakest amongst them is a level 14 expert. Hint 3. There is a chance the beneficiaries from the Lord God will receive a side mission to hunt beneficiaries from the Reincarnation Hall. Hint 4. The cultivation level limit to receive this mission is level 14 and only 30 teams are allowed to receive this mission at the same time. Hint 5. After killing one beneficiary from the Lord God, you will be able to obtain 1/5 of the opponent's cultivation level and absorb it to improve yourself without any side effects. Hint 6. You will be able to notice the Lord God's beneficiaries once you're within 100 miles of them. Remark, you may also be noticed by the other side. Hint 7. Crisis and chance are directly proportional to each other. Note, this mission, according to the estimation, has a mortality rate of at least 95%. Please make your decision wisely. The fifth immortal moon accepted the mission without any hesitation. In the meantime, a large group of reincarnators had gathered around her. All of them had shocked expressions etched on their faces. What kind of mission is that? Not only do we need to hunt down the beneficiaries from the Lord God, but can we also absorb their power after killing them without any side effects? This is unbelievable. This is a good opportunity to improve our cultivation level. If we can slay a few golden immortals, wouldn't we be able to ascend into the Taiyi realm right away? Are you mad? There is a big gap between the Taiyi realm and the golden immortal realm. You're now only at the initial stage of the golden immortal realm, and even if you kill 10 golden immortals, you won't be anywhere near the Taiyi realm. However, things would be different if you're at the peak stage of the golden immortal realm. There's a probability that you can step into the Taiyi realm after killing a Taiyi expert or a dozen of golden immortals. It's harder than reaching the sky to transform from the golden immortal realm to the Taiyi realm, but this is such a rare opportunity. There's no way we let it pass like that. Besides, I thought that we needed to form the Taiyi Dao fruit if we wanted to break into the Taiyi realm from the golden immortal realm. Can we skip that step by absorbing some cultivation level? This is what makes the Reincarnation Hall so incredible and great. Look, we can even receive missions from the Lord God's space. Do you know what this means? It means the Reincarnation Hall is a lot stronger than the Lord God's space. I agree. Are you going to accept the mission? I'm not sure about it. What about you? Nope, I'm not going to do it. My team has disbanded, and I'm all alone now. I must have a death wish if I accept this mission. Can't you see the estimated mortality rate? It's about 95%. If I go there, I'll be dead in no time. Besides, some of the Lord God's beneficiaries are Taiyi experts. If they know we're there, they will certainly come and kill us. Also, I heard that they're ruthless and heartless. They can easily kill someone on the same level as them, and from this point alone, we from the Reincarnation Hall are a lot weaker. But this is a golden chance. It won't appear on a daily basis. If you miss it, you're going to regret it. After all, this is one of the rare chances where you can step into the Taiyi realm. Ha, if and only if I can come back alive. Sigh. This mission is for those teams that are well prepared. I heard that some of them are strong enough to defeat a Taiyi, and one of them could even fight toe-to-toe with a great overarching. They're truly terrifying. Yeah, you have a point. I guess we should just do whatever we can. The fifth immortal moon listened to their conversation and went away. She did not have to go through the mission gate after accepting the mission, as she would be transported to the mission location as soon as the time was up. On Shuyang Peak, Jiang Ming withdrew his consciousness from the fifth immortal moon. I had no idea that the Reincarnation Hall would issue a mission to hunt down the beneficiaries from the Lord God. Not only that, but the beneficiaries from the Lord God are also heading here to destroy us? Well, I guess they're coming straight for me, so can I say that the Lord God is diehard on killing me? But the strongest of them are only in the Taiyi realm? They have seriously underestimated me. Is it true that the Reincarnation Hall is stronger than the Lord God since it knows the missions issued by the Lord God? Or are they related to each other? Countless thoughts flitted across Jiang Ming's head at that moment. However, he couldn't figure out why, but he felt the mission issued by the Reincarnation Hall was strange. However, he was familiar with the experts in the Reincarnation Hall. They were pretty powerful in his opinion. Some of them were strong enough to fight on par with a Taiyi expert or a great overarching expert. Alright then, I'll be here waiting for you guys. Jiang Ming lifted his head and looked into the sky. He could sense that there was a surge of powerful force coming straight toward their planet through the void, and they were going to arrive here very soon. He chuckled and shook his head. Come, the more of them come, the better it is. Since we're in a new place, of course, I have to make some new rules. After he finished preparing the dragon, he waved his hand and sent some into the Juyang Hall. At the same time, he also informed his master, all the first seats and the sect master. The Juyang Hall. When the sect master and the other arrived, what appeared before them was a table filled with scrumptious food. Linglong has slain a golden immortal level dragon and made it into food through a special method, Gu Hai said as he walked around the table, clasping his hand behind his back and stroking his beard with his hand. There was a big grin on his face as he continued. If she hadn't prepared it through a special way, we might not be able to handle a piece of dragon meat here. He picked up a piece of dragon meat with his chopsticks, and for a moment a divine light burst forth, and a wonderful aroma filled everyone's nostrils in the hall, causing some of them to swallow their saliva. Impressive, Yan Yan shouted excitedly. Who would have thought that we would have a chance to enjoy the dragon meat? This is not an ordinary dragon, but a golden immortal dragon. It's an immortal lord. It was only now they realized what kind of food was presented before them. Looking at the food, the sect master couldn't help but shiver in excitement. Golden immortal, Gu Hai chimed in. It represents immortality, limitless possibilities, and continuity. It has different names across different realms. In the immortal realm, it's known as the Immortal Lord. In the demon realm, it's the Demon Lord. In a small chiliocosm, it's the Giant. Even in the supreme heavenly realm, a golden immortal is someone who wields great power. Ha ha ha, today is surely my lucky day that I have a chance to enjoy such a great feast.
Senior brother Gu.
Dongfang Li swallowed a large gulp of saliva and looked at him. Then, he snorted. There's nothing good about you, but I have to admit that you really are good at taking in disciples. Hee hee! Gu Hai grinned delightfully. Ever since the establishment of the Juyang sect, none of us have been able to become immortals. But now my disciple has shown her power in slaying an immortal lord. You know what? I may be really good at taking in disciples. Stop that, will you? Ying Yue delivered a glare at him before asking worriedly, will killing the Dragon Lord cause trouble? It's worth it to have trouble if you can eat Dragon Lord meat. Dongfang Li rubbed his hand and said, what are you waiting for, guys? Let's eat. The sect master looked at Gu Hai and asked, can they hold them back? Don't worry, Gu Hai replied as he waved his hand. The fact that they can send the food here means one thing, they don't really care about it. At the same time, a red-haired elder rushed in and landed in the center of the hall. He pushed the sect master away and harumphed. How dare you people? How could you not inform me when there's a feast going on? Do you all want me to punish you? Great monarch. The sect master greeted him before replying with a smile. We're just too shocked and didn't have the time to inform you. Since you're here, you should be the first one to eat. That's more like it. Huo Dewarren picked up a piece of dragon meat with chopsticks. He brought it closer and squinted his eyes. He took a deep breath and a gush of energy flowed through his body, causing his blood chi to surge and his cultivation level to rise. He exclaimed, as expected of Dragon Lord meat, I just need to take a piece, and my cultivation level has already increased so much. Great, this is great. What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up and feast in. If you don't want to eat, I'll eat them all myself. You will get a bloated stomach if you eat too much. Let me help you. Dongfang Lai said as he picked up a piece of meat and popped it into his mouth. The rest of the elders and the sect master followed suit. It tastes good. It's delicious. I can feel that my cultivation level is increasing. I've already stepped into the Parodies realm. Hao Chen couldn't help himself and said, my body has become stronger, and I assume that I can step into the imminent immortal realm after this meal. This is unbelievable. Xiao Chen, that's because you have a lot of potential, Huo Dewarren lamented. You have the most talent and potential amongst your peers. In the past, the Juyang sect couldn't provide you with much and limited your growth, but you don't have to worry about anything anymore. You can explore your potential completely. I will. Hao Chen nodded. Xiao Hai. Huo Dewarren looked at Gu Hai and continued. After that incident, I thought you wouldn't be able to cultivate anymore, but little did I expect that the two kids that you brought back would turn out to be such incredible beings. I have to say you truly are lucky. You're the chosen one. Great monarch, you flattered me, Gu Hai replied. But I'm not the chosen one, those two kids are. I'm the father of the chosen ones. The sect master and the rest of the first seats nearly vomited their food as all of them did not expect Gu Hai to be so shameless. At Shuyang Peak, after Jiang Ming finished his meal, he stood up and looked into the sky. At the same time, the system's voice rang out in his mind. Congratulations to the host. Jiang Ming was surprised. It was never in his wildest dream that he would get a reward like that after making a meal. Not only was the god-slaying bow a great overarching immortal weapon, it was a bow as well. He was confident that it would be a weapon of massive power. The god-slaying bow also came with 9 god-slaying arrows. Not bad. Jiang Ming was satisfied, but he did not bring the bow out. He lifted his head and looked skyward. A great star had appeared high above the sky, spraying its radiance in all directions. It was a palace, but it resembled a star. It was glowing with a silvery light, and it was in the middle of descending. A middle-aged man was standing in the palace. He gave off a strong, regal air, and there was a purple key swirling around him. Suddenly, a storm appeared along with a surge of immense power and swept across the land. In that moment, the sky seemed to have dimmed down and the land to fall silent. Beiming Hai. Jiang Ming was able to recognize the man in a single glance. He's certainly in the great overarching realm. Not only that, but he's a lot stronger than a normal great overarching, Linglong said as she came to Jiang Ming's side. She grabbed his arm and anxiety was written all over her face. Can we really hold them off? You don't have confidence in me? Jiang Ming asked. It's not that I don't have confidence in you, it's just that you've never shown your true strength in front of me, so how am I supposed to know how good you are? Linglong said with a pout. But I know how good you are. Jiang Ming went closer and whispered into her ear. Are you sure about that? Linglong asked. I'm sure you don't know how good I am, but I certainly know how far you can go. Ha, guess I'll have to go all out next time, Jiang Ming hissed. Linglong's eyes glowed brightly and she changed to another topic. Senior brother, let me deal with him. With the 10 of us, I guess we should be able to hold him off. Don't worry, leave him to me. Today, I'll show you my true power, Jiang Ming said confidently. Also, this is a war to let them know that we're not pushovers. Linglong nodded silently. At this moment, many experts came out of their hiding and raised their heads to look into the sky. When they sensed Beiming Hai's presence, their expression changed. I wonder how many of us can survive before the wrath of an ancient emperor. Someone shook their heads worriedly, while the others looked with amusement, wondering how things would turn out in the end. On the other side, a young man in black robes stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He was surrounded by a black fog and there was a sea of blood on top of his head. However, nobody could see him. He was an expert who cultivated diabolical cultivation. He looked into the distance and said, this planet is on the verge of destruction, yet it still has the power to kill 2 kings from the immortal and the demon. I wonder what kind of secrets are hidden in it. Nearly a few thousands miles away, there was a divine arc floating amidst the vast sky. There were 9 layers of divine light around the arc, and each layer was filled with an endless amount of Tao fluctuation. Each and every one of the decorations on the ark was an immortal weapon, and together they formed into a warship of massive destructive power. On top of the ark, a dozen girls were dancing. They were the embodiment of holiness and alluring. Their dancing figures were so enchanting that no one would be able to peel their eyes away from them. These girls were only dancing for one person. All of them were in the mystical immortal realm. They were pretty, strong, and each of them had their own specialties. Suddenly, the young man stood up and gazed into the distance. Beiming Immortal Emperor. What is he doing here? Although he comes from a middle chiliocosm, he's powerful and his name is well known even in the heavenly realm. Nobody across the universe dares to slight him, so what makes him come here today? Could it be that his son is dead? Interesting. I should go and have a look. When the thought surfaced in the young man's head, he lay down on the bed made of jade. A girl hastily came forward and began massaging his leg. Shuyang Peak. Jiang Ming stretched his arm forward and 4 islands rose into the air in the distance. While they were flying toward him, they were becoming smaller and smaller. Eventually, they became 4 massive stone monuments. He then flicked his finger, delivering several formations into it. The 4 stone monuments glowed and the words Tianyuan appeared on them. With a wave of his sleeve, Jiang Ming sent 4 stone monuments to the lakes in 4 different directions of the eastern region. In the meantime, the word Tianyuan started to glow. Senior brother, have you finally decided on a name? Linglong asked. Shi Yao and the other 3 people had arrived as well. They were both shocked and intrigued by Jiang Ming's action. Jiang Ming nodded before saying, since we're already here, this place will be our home. It's natural to erase the stigma of the past here and set the mark that belongs to us. We're from the Tianyuan world, a planet surrounded by water, and that water is the sea. The water will be the Tianyuan Sea, and the land will be the Tianyuan realm. Tianyuan Sea and Tianyuan realm, huh? Great name, Chang Yiming exclaimed. This will be our mark, and we'll pass this mark to our next generation. Even if our world is destroyed, our legacy will remain alive. Shi Yao, on the other hand, let out a sigh. She thought of her past, and a surge of sadness assaulted her. Above the sky in the southern region, a palace was hovering above the sea. Beiming Immortal Emperor was standing in front of the palace. He looked at the Tianyuan realm and frowned. Even though he did not notice anything out of the ordinary, he did not know why, but there was a strange feeling stirring his heart. What is the strange feeling in my heart? Cheng Immortal Emperor couldn't figure it out. He knew every expert above the great overarching across the heavenly realm, the abyss, and the middle chiliocosms under the heaven court. However, he couldn't detect any familiar sense from the Tianyuan realm. He did not sense any supreme being above the great overarching either, and he felt it weird. Clank, he grabbed his fist, and a sword appeared out of thin air. All of a sudden, a sword energy that could slay gods and immortals tore the sky open, causing the living objects across the land to tremble in fear. I should probably erase everything on this land first, he harumphed coldly. Just when he was about to do it, he detected a familiar presence coming to him at a high speed. In the meantime, a voice appeared in his head. Brother Bei Cheng, how have you been? As soon as the voice died away, a warship appeared before him. Beiming Emperor. Bei Cheng Immortal Emperor turned his head over and looked at the young man standing on the warship. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be enjoying your life in the heaven court? I'm bored, so I came out and traveled around to take a look at the world as well as to gather some beauties on the way, Beiming Emperor said as he walked down from his warship. Very soon, he arrived beside Bei Cheng Immortal Emperor. What made you so mad, brother Bei Cheng? Bei Cheng Immortal Emperor looked toward the Tianyuan realm and said faintly, my son is in danger. Who dares to attack Bei Cheng Guang? Beiming Emperor asked in shock. At this moment, both of them saw a streak of light flying into the Tianyuan realm before disappearing into the depth of the ground. It seems like Beiming Emperor frowned. It seems like there's a strange power preventing us from peering into it. Ha, this is interesting. Brother Bei Cheng, since your son is in danger, then what are you still waiting for? I don't think there's anyone in this universe who can pose a threat to you. Bei Cheng Immortal Emperor squinted his eyes and said, although that streak of light is fast, we can still see it clearly. It's a pretty girl, and she's clearly different from those on your warship. Do you not want to get her? Of course I want to. Beiming Emperor chuckled. But this is your war. I don't think I should poke my nose in it. On Chuyang Peak, Linglong's expression changed / what happened. Jiang Ming looked at her before turning his head to gaze at Beiming Emperor who suddenly appeared above the sea. I want to kill him. Linglong hissed, her voice cold. Why? Jiang Ming asked. Linglong opened her mouth trying to say something but she swallowed her words back into her stomach pit in the end. What's wrong? Is it something that you can't tell me? Jiang Ming asked as he grabbed her into his embrace. Linglong stammered, looking worried and fearful. Don't worry. With me by your side, no one will be able to hurt you. Jiang Ming said, now tell me what's going on. He waved his hand and transferred Xiao, Chang Yiming and Momo away, leaving both of them on the rooftop only. Judging from his junior sister's combat prowess and cultivation level, it must be something big since she was so hesitant. In the meantime, True Illusion Linglong had come back, but she stood at the side without saying anything. Swoosh! Jiang Ming opened up the human paths record. Name Beiming Hai race, demon. Gender male. Cultivation level, great overarching realm. Background, son of the great northern emperor, Black Emperor of the heavenly court in the Honggu heavenly realm. Relationship 0. Innate talent, great overarching. Status, his father was known as the Black Emperor. He was Kunpeng, a well-seasoned cultivator since ancient times. He had been keeping a low profile. When the heavenly court was rebuilt, the heavenly emperor invited the Black Emperor to become the emperor for the north, assisting him in suppressing the universe. He was lonely and he did not have any kids. Since he couldn't go any further down the Saint Dao, he decided to collect the essence of all water, the power of the windless, and incorporated them into his own blood to give birth to a son. He gave him the surname of Beiming and named him Hai, which carried the meaning of the sea. Beiming Hai had everything ever since he was born. He was particularly gifted and his cultivation speed was incredibly fast. As such, he was arrogant and regarded everyone beneath him. He was particularly fond of women, and he took interest in collecting beautiful women, especially those who were strong, across the universe. If he ever came across one, he would do everything he could to get her in his hands. After he had enough of a woman, he would use them as a kudron and absorb them with Beiming absorption technique to increase his own power. While he was traveling across the Infinite Realms battlefield, he noticed the presence of Bei Cheng Immortal Emperor. He came to talk to him as well as to join the fun. When they were talking, they saw a woman was flying toward the land before them and his eyes glowed up. He had the urge to get the woman in his hands and he felt he could have a lot of fun with her for at least 3 years. Jiang Ming's face sank when he saw Beiming Hai's status. The woman in his status was none other than True Illusion Linglong. Ha! He must have a lot of guts to have that thought. Very well then. I don't care who you are. Even if you're the emperor, I'll still kill you, Jiang Ming thought inwardly. Senior brother. Linglong opened her mouth slowly. There was a complicated expression on her face, but she was relieved since she had made up her mind. The wind was gentle and the sun was warm. The flowers that bloomed along the vines swung like rainbow ribbons and exuded a refreshing fragrance. Linglong finally made up her mind. At the back of the mountain, Shi Yao landed on her courtyard. She looked toward the manor before her and let out a sigh. At the end of the day, I'm still an outsider. If Linglong heard what she had said, she would scoff loudly and said, Of course you're an outsider. After all, you don't know how deep my senior brother could go. By the way, what happened to her? Shi Yao asked. In her impression, Ling Long had always been a confident, powerful, and prideful girl. However, today she seemed rather apprehensive and a little bit scared of her own fate. She's an immortal while I'm immortal. Of course, I wouldn't be able to know what she is thinking about. Shi Yao let out a bitter smile. The difference between us is too big. There are some things that I don't qualify to know about. At the cliffside, holding Momo in his arms, Chang Yiming landed in his courtyard. He looked at the person beside him and smiled. Don't mind too much about it. Head disciple Jiang is too powerful, and we're too weak. There is something that we shouldn't know. I know, but Momo replied, I just find it hard to believe that I've just eaten the dragon's meat. It's not an ordinary dragon's meat, but the meat of a dragon lord. Right now, even though I'm not cultivating, my body and my cultivation level are increasing at an unbelievable speed. I still remember that when he first joined the Zhuyang sect, he was just an ignorant young man who didn't know anything. Due to the relationship between our masters, I used to deliver food here. I've also carried Ling Long a few times when she was small. It has only been such a short time, and both of them are already able to defeat immortals and slain gods. It feels like a dream, Momo said. It's also because of our relationship that head disciple Jiang asked me to bring you to my side, and here we are, Chang Yiming smiled. Alright, let's not talk about the past. We should look into our future, and our future is just about to start. Updates by Vipnovel.com. Yeah, you're right, Momo whispered. In the meantime, 5 figures appeared out of thin air in a valley amidst the vast land beyond the Tianyuan Sea. Each and every one of them had an imposing aura, but nobody knew they were here. So here is the battlefield of the Honggu world, a young man asked. He was wearing a purple robe and there was an eye in the middle of his forehead that gave off lightning strikes whenever it opened and closed. According to legend, Honggu Heavenly Emperor had great ambition. He wished to dominate over the entire world and the whole universe. He opened up the Infinite Realms battlefield to divert the conflicts. While various forces fought and killed each other, he also secretly directed to pull in and suppress those who opposed him. In the end, not only was he able to secure his throne, but he had also brought many forces under his control. Honggu Heavenly Emperor is one of the few kings of great talent and bold vision. Many experts surmise that he has the potential to attain the Saint Realm. A woman standing behind the young man chimed in. What do you think we should do, Captain? This hunting comes with opportunities as well as difficulties, so let's play it safe, the young man replied. He tapped the air and a screen appeared before him. There were 5 white dots and a red dot in the distance. The battlefield is vast, but fortunately the system provides the location of our targets. Otherwise, I don't know how long it will take to find one, the young man said. Anyway, let's go to the destination and then we'll play by ear. But Captain, there are a total of 35 teams. What if we take action too late and end up getting nothing? Yunyan, after so many years, you're still so impatient and reckless. If it weren't for me, you would have been dead a long time ago. That's because you're the strongest and mightiest, Captain. The strongest and mightiest. If you keep thinking this way, I will die in your hands sooner or later. Captain, do you know why there are 35 teams coming here to wipe out a ruined mortal planar world? It means there is a terrifying being here, and we have to act with care. The group went away quickly after they had finished their discussion. In the meantime, another group of experts had descended on the Tianyuan Sea as well. The 5th immortal moon was one of them. And after she had decided on her direction, she secretly headed toward the Tianyuan realm. This was what Jiang Ming asked her to do as well. Above the sea, Bei Cheng Immortal Emperor still couldn't make up his mind yet. It was not because he was fearful of the Tianyuan realm, but he was worried about Beiming Emperor beside him. After all, he did not have a good impression of him. Suddenly, he frowned and said, there are quite a lot of experts gathered up here. They aren't experts, they're just some immortal lords, Beiming Emperor snickered. That being said, it's kind of suspicious why they would suddenly show up here. Let's check it out. He raised his arm and grabbed the air in front of him. A surge of peerless power burst out, and in the next second, an immortal lord had appeared in front of him. It was a pretty woman. You're pretty, but unfortunately you're only in the golden immortal realm, Beiming Emperor snickered. After that, he looked at the woman in front of him and asked, what's your name? And what are you doing here? I'm Shi Haitang, the woman replied weakly. I sense something has happened here, so I came here to check it out and see if I can get something to improve my cultivation level. I wonder what have I done to anger you? I'm Beiming Hai, Beiming Emperor said. So you're Lord Beiming, Shi Haitang said. It came to my attention that you don't know me. How strange. Beiming Hai knew the woman was lying to him. He did not get angry. Instead, he smiled at her and said, I'll give you one more chance. Tell me the truth or I'll absorb your power. Lord Beiming, I was being hunted by my enemy. That's why I came to this place, Shi Haitang replied falteringly, her face pale as a sheet of paper. You're very good at faking. Your blood flow, heartbeat, your movements, even the fear that comes out of your soul are all fake, Beiming Hai said with a smile on his face. You might be able to fool other people, but it won't work on me. You are nothing but all lies. There are plenty of women like you in the Red Chamber or the Drunken Pavilion. All of you speak the nicest words, and you like to lick others' spittle. Although you look genuine on the surface, you're a bunch of cold-blooded, heartless, lustful demons who only know how to take. Without giving Shi Haitang a chance to say anything, he delivered a palm strike at her forehead. Shi Haitang then began to convulse, and the essence of her cultivation flowed toward him rapidly. In the blink of an eye, she became a pile of ashes and fell into the water. Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor, looked at her impassively as if it was something very normal for him. This is weird. Beiming Emperor frowned and said, although I've absorbed her power, it seems as if something is preventing me from accessing her memory. You can't access her memory? Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor, was surprised. Beiming Emperor nodded. This is interesting. It seems like something unusual is going on in this sea and land over there. Haha, this is great. I happen to be looking for some fun. Brother Bei Cheng, what are you waiting for? I'll assist you if anything comes up. Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor, frowned again as he gazed at the Tianyuan realm. He wanted to kill the person who harmed his son, but there was a bad foreboding stirring in his heart. That being said, the sword in his hand was emitting a light that would destroy everything. Shu Yuang Pi. Ling Long finally opened her heart and told Jiang Ming everything. Senior brother, do you still remember the Mingyu Mountain I told you about? Mingyu Mountain? Jiang Ming thought for a while before he finally came to a realization. In the morning after he had gotten the system for 3 months, when he called his little sister for breakfast, she seemed to be in a bad mood and she told him about Mingyu Mountain. However, he did not care about it at that time. Yeah, what's wrong about Mingyu Mountain? According to the main universe, we should get married in Mingyu Mountain, Ling Long said. There was a blush on her cheeks when she recalled her past life. Main universe? Jiang Ming was stunned, but a realization hit him soon after. He sucked in air sharply and looked at his junior sister incredulously. Are you saying that you're reborn? Updates by Webnovel.com. Yeah. Ling Long grabbed him tightly as if he was going to disappear in the next second. That day after I was reborn, I was thinking if you were also reborn as well. Therefore, I mentioned Mingyu Mountain. After all, it was a place where the most important event of our lives took place. Reborn? Jiang Ming was shocked. I don't understand. Me neither. Ling Long replied, I don't know whether I was reborn back from the future, or I just got some memories. I even speculated that all of this is nothing but a joke of a great one. He projected my life and shoved my memory into the younger me. Due to those memories, I awakened my phoenix bloodline in advance. I thought I would be the only one to support Chuyang Peak and protect Juyang sect from all troubles. But little did I expect that you would hide so deeply and cultivate faster than me. Am I the same as my main universe? Jiang Ming couldn't help himself and asked. It was also now that he saw the light as to why his junior sister would be so talented. However, there was one thing he did not understand. Why did the human paths record not show anything about this? Was it because it was her previous life, so it was not recorded? Jiang Ming found it strange. No, it's different. Although you were also a genius in the main universe, your cultivation speed was slow, Ling Long said. I'm not sure if it's because I've tampered with the timeline and messed up our course of life that caused you to have such a great opportunity in this life. Well, Jiang Ming did not know what to say either. His junior sister was reborn. Although he also existed in the main universe, were they the same person? If they were not the same person, then how was he going to explain about the transmigration? Or was it because of his transmigration that it enabled his junior sister to learn about the things that happened in the main universe? He couldn't think it through no matter how hard he tried. Tell me about the main universe. Jiang Ming pushed the thought aside and asked. Since he couldn't think it through, he decided not to think about it. After all, their current life was what mattered the most right now. Ling Long nodded. In the main universe, both of them were cultivating on Chuyang Peak. Although they were not the strongest and fastest cultivators, they were growing day by day. It was just that the Juyang sect couldn't hold itself against the attack of the Bishui sect and was destroyed. Her senior brother fled with her, and those were the darkest days of their life. Afterward, the eastern region welcomed its most chaotic era. There was war and fight everywhere, and it became even harder for them to survive. Her senior brother was nearly killed several times while protecting her, but the silver lining was his cultivation level increased rapidly. In the meantime, she also had awakened the Phoenix bloodline. They had come across Shi Yao as well as TNC. The former was still the high and mighty holy daughter, while the latter was arrogant and powerful. Many sacred lands were in turmoil, and there was also a demon invasion from another dimension. The immortals also had descended, and the treasure under the Juyang sect was discovered. They also had learned some information about the Heavenly Order. We tied the knot at Mingyu Mountain in the Heavenly Realm. Initially, we were going to spend the rest of our life together without caring about the things that were happening in the world outside. However, little did we expect that a disaster came knocking on our door once again, Linglong said. Her senior brother was left with a broken soul in order to protect her, but luckily, after he had reshaped his body, he became even stronger. Compared to the mortal world, the Heavenly Realm was even crueler. Since they did not have anyone to back them up, they had to stay low profile and watch their steps carefully. However, there were too many lawless beings. Whenever they ran into danger, it was her senior brother who risked his life to protect her. Until that day, Linglong's eyes glowed with hatred. We ran into Beiming Hai. He's a great overarching golden immortal, and he's the son of the Black Emperor. This person is greedy and lustful, and because of his powerful background he is lawless and wants to take me away when he sees me. Although we were in the golden immortal realm, we were no match for him. In the end, you sacrificed yourself to cast a forbidden spell and sent me away at the cost of your own mana and primal spirit. Linglong was trembling when those memories surfaced in her mind, and she grabbed Jiang Ming even tighter. I'm here, don't worry. Jiang Ming patted her shoulder. After a short while, Linglong calmed herself down and continued. She survived, but due to her phoenix bloodline, she received the memories of the previous bearers of the phoenix bloodline, and her cultivation level increased by leap and bound. She started training hard and stepped into the great overarching realm. She became an immortal empress herself and went to seek revenge from Beiming Hai. Just when she was about to get her revenge and kill Beiming Hai, the Black Emperor appeared. The terrifying being was an existence beyond her level. She couldn't even get close to him, let alone running away. Beiming Hai seized the chance and tried to catch her. He wanted to turn her into his cauldron and absorb her power. Not wanting to fall into his hands, she killed herself. At that time, the sun was blotted by the clouds and the wind was howling sadly. Linglong was slowly calming down. After she had told her secret to Jiang Ming, she felt relieved. However, a sense of apprehension suddenly clutched at her and she asked, "Would you be afraid of me, senior brother?" "What are you talking about? You're my junior sister. I raised you myself, so how is there any possibility I would be afraid of you?" Jiang Ming replied as he grabbed her tightly in his arms. "The past is in the past. What we should care about is our future. Since Beiming Hai killed another me and forced you to kill yourself, then he's our enemy. If he's our enemy, we should just kill him." "Senior brother, are you not going to blame me for keeping the truth from you the whole time?" Linglong asked, her voice faltering. "Why should I? You've been protecting us the whole time," Jiang Ming said. "Don't think too much. You just need to remember that I'll always be your senior brother." "Yeah." Linglong nodded. "But Beiming Hai is in the great overarching realm. His father, the Black Emperor, is in the quasi-sage middle stage. If we kill him, it will— Quasi-sage middle stage, huh? Well, it's not like he's undefeatable. I'll figure something out." Jiang Ming smiled. "Even if we can't defeat him, I'm confident that we can run away safely, so don't worry about it." "Okay, what is the name of Beiming Hai's father?" Jiang Ming asked. "Kunpeng." "Yeah. He calls himself that, and according to rumors, he's the first Kunpeng to succeed in cultivation. But his son's name is Beiming Hai? Could it be that his wife has cheated on him? He's called Beiming Hai because he created his son himself. Beiming Hai doesn't have a mother." "What? Is he hermaphrodite? He can produce offspring by himself? Incredible." "Ha ha." Linglong chuckled. "Then," she said in a serious manner, "he stays in the deepest part of the sea in Beiming region, so he called his own son Beiming. His name is Kunpeng, or maybe his real name is Beiming Kunpeng." Swoosh, the human path's record opened up. Just when he was about to write the name Kunpeng on it, a sword energy tore through the sky and charged straight toward Tianyun realm. Does he finally can't hold himself back anymore? He's really cautious, by the way. He doesn't even want to step foot in our land. Jiang Ming looked toward the sword energy in the sky and flew away. "Girl, just stay here and protect our home. I'll go kill him right now. I'll kill Bei Cheng and then destroy Beiming. I'll show you my true strength today." Jiang Ming destroyed the sword energy in one punch before charging toward Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor. Until that day, Linglong's eyes glowed with hatred. "We ran into Beiming Hai. He's a great overarching golden immortal, and he's the son of the Black Emperor. This person is greedy and lustful, and because of his powerful background, he is lawless and wants to take me away when he sees me. Although we were in the golden immortal realm, we were no match for him. In the end, you sacrificed yourself to cast a forbidden spell and sent me away at the cost of your own mana and primal spirit." Linglong was trembling when those memories surfaced in her mind, and she grabbed Jiang Ming even tighter. "I'm here. Don't worry." Jiang Ming patted her shoulder. After a short while, Linglong calmed herself down and continued. She survived, but due to her phoenix bloodline, she received the memories of the previous bearers of the phoenix bloodline, and her cultivation level increased by leap and bound. She started training hard and stepped into the great overarching realm. She became an immortal empress herself and went to seek revenge from Beiming Hai. Just when she was about to get her revenge and kill Beiming Hai, the Black Emperor appeared. The terrifying being was an existence beyond her level. She couldn't even get close to him, let alone running away. Beiming Hai seized the chance and tried to catch her. He wanted to turn her into his cauldron and absorb her power. Not wanting to fall into his hand, she killed herself. At that time, the sun was blotted by the clouds and the wind was howling sadly. Linglong was slowly calming down. After she had told her secret to Jiang Ming, she felt relieved. However, a sense of apprehension suddenly clutched at her and she asked, "Would you be afraid of me, senior brother? What are you talking about? You're my junior sister. I raised you myself, so how is there any possibility I would be afraid of you?" Jiang Ming replied as he grabbed her tightly in his arms. "The past is in the past. What we should care about is our future. Since Beiming Hai killed another me and forced you to kill yourself, then he's our enemy. If he's our enemy, we should just kill him. Senior brother, are you not going to blame me for keeping the truth from you the whole time?" Linglong asked, her voice faltering. "Why should I? You've been protecting us the whole time," Jiang Ming said. "Don't think too much. You just need to remember that I'll always be your senior brother." "Yeah," Linglong nodded. "But Beiming Hai is in the great overarching realm. His father, the Black Emperor, is in the quasi-sage middle stage. If we kill him, it will— Quasi-sage middle stage, huh? Well, it's not like he's undefeatable. I'll figure something out." Jiang Ming smiled. "Even if we can't defeat him, I'm confident that we can run away safely, so don't worry about it." "Okay. What is the name of Beiming Hai's father?" Jiang Ming asked. Kunpeng. Kunpeng. Yeah, he calls himself that, and according to rumors, he's the first Kunpeng to succeed in cultivation. But his son's name is Beiming Hai? Could it be that his wife has cheated on him? He's called Beiming Hai because he created his son himself. Beiming Hai doesn't have a mother. What? Is he hermaphrodite? He can produce offspring by himself? Incredible. Haha. Linglong chuckled. Then, she said in a serious manner, "He stays in the deepest part of the sea in Beiming region, so he called his own son Beiming. His name is Kunpeng, or maybe his real name is Beiming Kunpeng." Swoosh, the human path record opened up. Just when he was about to write the name Kunpeng on it, a sword energy tore through the sky and charged straight toward Tianyun realm. He finally can't hold himself back anymore. He's really cautious, by the way. He doesn't even want to step foot in our land. Jiang Ming looked toward the sword energy in the sky and flew away. "Girl, just stay here and protect our home. I'll go kill him right now. I'll kill Bei Cheng and then destroy Beiming. I'll show you my true strength today." Jiang Ming destroyed the sword energy in one punch before charging toward Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor. After Jiang Ming had destroyed the sword energy, the sky defensive sweater appeared on his body and the heavenly war sword in his hand. Both of them were great overarching immortal weapons. "Bei Chengxing, your son destroyed my homeland, and now you have come to destroy my sect? I won't be able to answer to my people if I don't kill you today," Jiang Ming shouted. Flower blossom and city falls. As sword energies began to materialize in the air, the akasa shook and one divine flower appeared after another. As the flowers began to bloom, a blinding light covered the sky and the power of order filled the air. Each flower represented one type of the power of order. All of them merged together and formed into an attack of immense power. This was one of the sword techniques that Jiang Ming learned from the sword tome. It gave off such an intense light that it lit up the entire sky. "He could deflect my sword energy. Who is he?" Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor, looked at the figure in the sky and frowned deeply. When he heard what Jiang Ming had said, his heart sank. It occurred to him that something bad had happened to his son. In the next second, he saw a sword energy tore through the sky and came straight at him. "What a powerful move!" Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor, exclaimed. He shifted his sword in front of him in an attempt to parry Jiang Ming's attack, but to no avail. The sword energy rammed on him and threw him far into the distance. "Who are you?" After he had gotten his balance back, he summoned the palace under his feet and wrapped himself up in layers of light. Within the light, there were plenty of stars, and it looked just like a starry sky. Bei Cheng, Immortal Emperor, did not attack Jiang Ming back. Beiming Emperor had retreated to the side and looked at them incredulously. He did not care about what was going on between them. He just wanted to have some fun. He glanced across the Tianyun realm, and an uncomfortable feeling rose from his stomach pit. From there, he sensed a strong sense of killing intent. Sigh. I have made too many enemies for myself, but unfortunately all of them are weak and they don't even stand a chance against me. I heard that there is one holy daughter in the Ryu sect. She possesses the yin-yang saint body, and she's already an immortal king. She will become the sect leader in the future, and she has the potential to become a quasi-sage. I should find a chance and get her into my hands so that I can have some fun with her. After that, I'll use her as my cauldron to make myself stronger. As for the Ryu sect, I hope they could bring me some fun. Beauties, massacre, cultivate. These are the only things that will bring me eternal joy. The smile on Beiming Emperor's face was slightly distorted. Tap, tap, tap. Jiang Ming came through the air, looking just like an ancient wild beast on its hunting spree. The sword in his hand was emitting a destructive light that seemed to have the ability of tearing the sky. Bei Chengxing. Jiang Ming stopped several meters away from him. As for Beiming Emperor, he just ignored him. We have grudges against each other, and we're bound to be enemies. Today, we're not going to find out who is in the right or in the wrong. Today, we'll only fight until one of us is dead. How dare you? Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, squinted his eyes as an immense amount of killing intent exuded from him. Tell me, how is Beicheng Guang now? Jiang Ming offered him a smile and replied, don't worry, he's in good hands now. He's waiting for your broken soul to reconcile with him. Broken soul? Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, was so infuriated that his eyes were spewing fire when he heard what Jiang Ming said. You've destroyed my son's soul? That's it. Tell me, who are you? No, the question should be, who's backing you up? I don't believe that a normal planar world would produce someone like you in such a short amount of time. Hold on a second. Beiming Emperor chimed in. Brother Beicheng, are you saying that he's from a planar world? Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, calmed himself down and nodded. Look at the land before you. It's a leftover of a planar world, and it just arrived here not long ago. Before this, a demon lord is killed in this planar world, and my son too. Rumor has it that the treasure of the primeval heavenly court is hiding here. That's the reason why the demon from the abyss and my son take this place as a land of treasure. My son had been preparing for it for a long time, and I figured this should be a good opportunity for him to hone his battle skills by fighting against the demons. However, little did I expect that both him and the demons would be destroyed here. This man over here is born from the planar world, and he has grown to the level that he could fight on par with me. Do you know what this means? It means he's extremely gifted. Beicheng, Immortal Emperor's voice traveled into the distance, startling several beings in the dark. Impossible. Beiming Emperor shook his head. Even if the treasure of the primeval heavenly court is here, there's no way someone like him from a planar world could become so powerful in such a short amount of time. You don't believe in me? Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, harumphed coldly. Try and look into it yourself. Beiming Emperor did not say anything anymore. A dense amount of characters appeared in front of him as a river flowed from his eyes. Suddenly, he squinted his eyes and 2 lines of blood tears streamed down his face. Interesting. He licked the blood that flowed out of his eyes and a big smile appeared on his face. There has been a rumor going around in the heavenly realm. When the primeval heavenly court welcomed its destruction during the war, the treasures in it fell into the depths of the flood of space and time. Since then, no one has been able to find it. I also know that some of the forces in the heavenly realm have been planning to come to a place. Initially, I didn't care about it, but it now seems to me that this place should be the place they're looking for. Haha, since I found it, then it should belong to me. If the treasure of the primeval heavenly court that is coveted by many forces is the thing that made this little one so powerful, then maybe, Beiming Emperor mumbled. Maybe it holds the secret of the Saint Lord realm, Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, chimed in. After all, there were rumors about the presence of the Saint Lord in the primeval heavenly court, so I'm sure we'll be able to find more secrets about the Saint Lord in the treasure. Beiming Emperor turned around and looked at Beicheng, Immortal Emperor. He squinted his eyes and snorted coldly. Do you think I don't know what you're trying to do? You don't have the confidence to defeat him, so you expose the secret to stir up my curiosity and spread the news to other places in order to lead other people here. You don't have to do that at all, Brother Beicheng. If you really want my help, you could have said it. Will you do it if I ask you to assist me? Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, harumphed coldly. The treasure is over there. Whether or not you want to take it, more and more people are bound to come here to get it. As expected of Brother Beicheng, Beiming Emperor laughed. You people are one slyer than the other. Even though your son is dead, you still won't take the chance. I'm sure the Black Emperor is craftier than me. Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, pitched his voice low and said. A chill trickled down his spine at the moment he mentioned about the Black Emperor. He looked at Jiang Ming and thought inwardly, why is he not attacking us? Why would he give me the chance to spread the news? Why does he look so confident? And the way he looks at me, it's like he's looking at a dead person. His heart sank and he decided to treat Jiang Ming even more carefully. My father? Haha, without him I might have gone straight for it after I heard what you said, but now, haha. Beiming Emperor let out a boisterous laughter. Since I'm already here, who else has the guts to come fight with me for it? Beicheng, Immortal Emperor, did not say anything. More and more Golden Immortal and Tai experts had appeared around the Tianyun Sea. Some of their hearts skipped a beat when they saw who they were going to fight later. Great overarching, this is bad. A beneficiary from the Lord God exclaimed. After that, he started contacting other teams to work together. The 5th Immortal Moon had arrived at the Tianyun realm. She stood at one of the mountains and looked at Jiang Ming. Both of them are great, overarching Golden Immortals. Will my master be able to defeat them? Right now, the beneficiaries from the Lord God are on the move. Besides, more and more people will be heading over here after they get the news. Even though she was worried about Jiang Ming, there was nothing she could do. After all, she was too weak. Honggu Heavenly Realm, high above the sky where the heavenly court was situated. Amidst the sea of clouds and divine lights, more and more palaces were coming into sight, and at the deepest part of the heavenly court, there was one palace hovering amidst an endless stream of violet qi. Inside the hall, The great heavenly Venerate was sitting on the throne, majestic, domineering, supreme, noble, ancient, profound, and solemn. These were the descriptions one would give to the man when they saw him. He exuded such an impressive aura that it would make people bow to him. There was a mirror hovering in front of him, and it was showing the Tianyuan Sea in the Infinite Realms battlefield. Next to him stood an old man with silver hair and white beard. He was holding a horsetail whisk in his hand, and there was a harmless, gentle smile on his face. Taibai, is it possible for the treasure of the heavenly realm to produce a being that's comparable to a great overarching expert? The great heavenly Venerate asked. Your Majesty, no treasure can make a planar world to produce such a powerful being, Taibai answered as he bowed slightly. The treasure has been torn apart and only a fraction of it is left. Besides, although this mortal world has been coveted by many parties, it isn't worth mentioning at all since they're nothing but plots by youngsters. Besides, they're guarded by Mountain Master Tian Yuan. Mountain Master Tian Yuan, the great heavenly Venerate shouted. Could it be that he's his disciple? Venerate was recognized as the strongest above all. He guarded the heavenly court, became the heavenly emperor, crushed through the ages, suppressed the infinite realm, and was invincible in that era. In this world, there were very few secrets that he did not know of. Taking the situation at Tianyun World, for example, he in fact knew it better than anyone else. However, it was just insignificant to him and he would at most throw glances occasionally at it. That's not it. Before waiting for Starlord Taibai to even reply, the great heavenly Venerate spoke up once again. That old man, Mountain Master Tianyuan, is the one living the most carefree life. He doesn't have a care for anything, which means he has no weakness. He doesn't ask of others, nor does he control anyone. After that incident that year, he is even more unlikely to accept disciples. Look at him now. Who would dare make fun of him? He's apathetic and has no desire at all. Yet he's the most stubborn one sometimes. Taibai Starlord sighed. That's true. Great heavenly Venerate frowned slightly. It's just that this human's growth seems to be a little abnormal. I tried to see through his innate nature and was actually warded off. Even your Majesty can't see through. Starlord Taibai was shocked. The great heavenly Venerate nodded and continued. However, we can still feel that he has an amazing ki and blood. His physical body is anything but ordinary as well. That sword Dao that he just performed was extremely domineering, but its Dao fluctuation was very poor in comparison. His cultivation base shouldn't be high, but his combat power is sky-defying. Taibai, this kid came from the immortal realm and yet had such achievements. Doesn't this feel familiar? It's... Starlord Taibai's expression changed slightly and continued. Could it be that he is related to that place? That should be the reason. Otherwise, how could he, a human from the immortal world, grow to such a level? The great heavenly Venerate stood up. In an instant, a powerful surge of energy was awakened as countless storms were set off in layers of space. Alas, that place. A place that's both desirable by many and feared by many as well. Your Majesty, with your cultivation base, you should be able to stand firm there. Starlord Taibai thoughtfully said, compared to this place here, isn't it much easier to walk on the path of Dao over at that place? It isn't so. The great heavenly Venerate shook his head. It's very easy to improve to the great overarching realm there, but becomes extremely difficult to improve further. The great Tao would seem to be far from attainable, and it's even harder for enlightenment. With his hand behind his back, the great heavenly Venerate paced back and forth in the great hall as the mirror that was floating in front of him continued following him around. Starlord Taibai was silent for a while after taking in such news. What do you think would happen if that kid killed Beiming Hai? The great heavenly Venerate spoke again with a strange tone. Can he kill him though? Starlord Taibai shook his head. Your Majesty, you said it yourself just now that this kid has a low cultivation base and there's even Bei Chenxing on the sideline. How can he even kill him? There isn't any grudge between the two and hence there shouldn't be any reason for them to fight. Besides, Beiming Hai has the Black Emperor behind him. There was a glimpse of strangeness in his eyes as he had quite a grasp on the great heavenly Venerate's thought. Even if there were some guesses in his heart, he could only pretend to be confused at times. What if the kid was killed by Beiming Hai? Starlord Taibai lowered her head, thinking that this might be the other meaning behind what the great heavenly Venerate was saying. Let's just watch this farce unfold. The great heavenly Venerate sat back down on his throne and the peerless power that was raging also fell silent in the infinite realm battlefield. Jiang Ming paused his attack after a single sword slash. While he was exchanging blows with Bei Chenxing, he opened up the human path record again. Name Beiming Kunpeng race. Demon clan gender male cultivation base. Quasi-sage realm background. The great northern emperor of the Honggu heavenly realm heavenly court, also known as Black Emperor. Relationship 0 innate talent. Quasi-sage status. As the first Kunpeng of the Honggu heavenly realm, his congenital bloodline and aptitude was extremely high. Since the beginning of his birth, his growth has been smooth sailing as he yearns for an unfettered life and freedom. When he was challenged by the ancient heavenly court and wouldn't back down, he was forcefully suppressed and was almost besieged. Although he subdued in the end, the foundation of his cultivation aptitude was also destroyed and his potential greatly reduced. He stayed in the heavenly court but hated the place very much. When the ancient heavenly court suffered a disaster, not only did he not lend a helping hand, he kicked them when they were down, landing a blow onto the previous heavenly emperor before quietly disappearing from the place. When the heavenly court was rebuilt, he was invited by the great heavenly Venerate, who treated him generously. Unable to refuse the offer, he took on the position as the great northern emperor, commanded the northern sky, and mastered the killing Tao. His Tao injuries still remained and recovery was too difficult. In the endless years, he felt more and more lonely and started thinking about inheritance and leaving a legacy. When he thought of bloodline inheritance, he had a sudden spark in his mind and came up with a method to replenish bloodline with bloodline and whittle away his Tao injury with the power of origin. As Beiming Hai was born from this thought, he loved him immensely and took great care of him in every possible way. However, it also caused this beloved son of his to develop a reckless and domineering character. He didn't mind at all and even created a type of technique that allowed Beiming to plunder other people's cultivation base, absorb it as his own, extradite the energy with his bloodline inheritance, which allowed him to improve without needing to cultivate. At the same time, there was also the cauldron technique that allowed him to snatch a person's innate ability, talent, and bloodline to enhance his own. This made Beiming Hai even more lawless. Under his intentional indulgence and secret guidance, Beiming Hai plundered rare women everywhere. After toying with them, he either devoured them directly or used them as his cauldron, allowing his strength to skyrocket. Upon reaching the great overarching realm, he indulged his beloved son more by even gathering countless artifacts and treasures for him to refine and absorb so as to improve his cultivation base and potential even further. Under his secret guidance, his son even captured some of the most talented female disciples of the major sects as cauldron and continued to grow his origin. Seeing the growth of his child, he was extremely happy and reassured. He finally made up his mind to retreat into cultivation to adjust his current state to the peak and even practice the holy laws a couple of times in order to be more perfect. After he finishes his cultivation retreat, he plans on forcibly raising his child's cultivation base up to the pinnacle of great overarching realm. When the time comes, he will devour his son to repair the injury to his body, improve his potential, and at the same time cut off emotions and desire. By then, he will be enlightened and be able to peep into the holy Tao. Currently in the midst of a cultivation retreat, this Kunpeng had Tao injury on himself, but was still in the quasi-sage realm. Putting that to aside, who would have thought that he gave birth to a child, raised his child's cultivation at any cost, and even developed the child into a lawless, domineering character that made enemies everywhere and plunders the beauties of the world, all for the sake the growth of his beloved son's origin so that he can devour it in the future. Nurturing a child with the aim of devouring it? To think of it, Jiang Ming felt chills running through his spine. He began wondering if Kunpeng was a human and thought that it was a resounding no. He isn't a human to begin with, but a beast. There's a saying that a tiger, though cruel, will not devour its cubs. However, this guy gave birth and nurtured his son with the aim of killing it. Who would even believe this if the news went out? Jiang Ming sighed in his heart. Meanwhile, he inexplicably felt some pity for Beiming Hai. This person's whole life was arranged from his birth to his upbringing. However, with this person being a knot in little junior sister's heart, how could he let him die at the hands of others? Several thoughts ran through Jiang Ming's mind. If I kill Beiming Hai, that old Kunpeng will definitely go crazy. But if I don't, Beiming Hai will surely fight us to his last gasp. Therefore, the result will never change whether I kill him or not. Wait, why am I even pondering on this? He didn't care about Bi Chenxing spreading the news around about the great encounter hidden in the Tianyu world. Since he wanted to assert dominance, he was ready to face anything that comes in his way. Are you finished thinking about this? Jiang Ming walked towards him. Your son wanted to destroy my homeland, but I crippled him instead. He is now left with only a wisp of soul remnant and is being tempered by the 9 fiery of the netherworld, yet you still had so many worries about it. Haha, you really make me despise you. You're courting death. Despite being cautious, immortal Emperor Bei Chen couldn't hold back his rage anymore this time. How dare you treat my son like this? I will definitely kill you and all the living beings in that island of yours, leaving no survivors at all. What are you waiting for? Bring it on then. Jiang Ming lunged forward as the sword in his hand was already emanating dense aura of murderous intent. Great Akasa sword technique, end of era. Hidden in the sword slash were boundless Tao of destruction. As an era came to an end, everything withered as the world returned to ruins, burying anything and everything with it. It was a sword slash of death. Although your combat ability is strong, it's only to such an extent. Bei Chenxing's killing intent was raging. He knew that this battle was inevitable and wanted to finish the fight quickly. Great overarching Tao where I control the stars. With a slash of a long sword, the stars in the sky glimmered, evoking an ancient starry sky. Between the cycles, an immeasurably imposing aura was dispersed. There was also the power of Tao that belonged to the great overarching realm in it, suppressing all of those under the great overarching realm. Jiang Ming was flung off from the explosion as the sea waters below evaporated by thousands of feet and even the Tianyuan world shook slightly. Tyrannical indeed. As expected of a strong, great overarching expert, Jiang Ming didn't mind and launched himself onwards to attack again. The Sword Dao special ability was evoked as the destructive intent of the Sword Semboda pervaded thousands of miles around. You're merely as so. When I get serious, you are nothing to me. Bi Chenxing hummed, thinking to fight against a great overarching expert when you aren't even one yourself? I myself am in the later stage of great overarching. As the deafening roars shook the sky, the two continued to exchange blows. Although Jiang Ming was able to withstand the attacks, he was clearly at a disadvantage. As Beiming Hai stepped back and landed onto his battleship, he held a maidservant in his arms as his hands were caressing up and down whilst carefully observing Jiang Ming. Mere ant that isn't even of great overarching realm to be as strong as this extent. There's also that young girl from before. This is interesting. His eyes flicked as his heart was racing from happiness. Great overarching, deserving as it's called. Jiang Ming blocked off the attacks from his opponent but couldn't help and sighed. The reason why he was at a disadvantage was because he was far from using his full strength. He had yet to cast the world's projection, which could suppress his opponents quite a bit. Besides, he had not evoked any physical body technique, incarnation Dao, and many other peerless ultimate techniques. Nevertheless, it was already very remarkable for him to face up with Bi Chenxing of the later stage of great overarching with himself being in the mystical immortal realm. Fortunately, he hid himself using the human path record so that other people couldn't see through his actual cultivation realm. Otherwise, if people knew that he was only at mystical immortal realm, who knew how big of a storm this might set off? Although this fight was to assert dominance, I can't let this stalemate go on for too long. Let's just end this. As Jiang Ming thought to himself, readying to exert an explosive attack to destroy his opponent, he saw that Bi Chenxing had already evoked a terrifying technique. The palace under his feet suddenly burst out hundreds and millions of light rays from the countless star imprints that were spread millions of miles away. The imprints formed a great array formation, encircling Jiang Ming in it. This is the Immortal Annihilation Star Array Formation, a technique which I've developed from the beginning of my birth through hundreds of millions of years of comprehension, which uses my origin to match the starry sky. Bi Chenxing's voice was deafening. I've collected the various star nuclei and the energy of countless stars, condensing into 365 huge stars. Once evoked, I am certain to even trap a quasi-sage realm expert. As for you, it's also your honor to be able to die under this formation. Is that so? Jiang Ming remained calm on the outside while his heart skipped a beat. Did this count as being slapped in the face? The vast starry sky seemingly stretched through the boundless horizon. As each star revolved, a type of supreme force slowly gathered that caused Jiang Ming's body to suddenly feel heavy. If it was just based on the numbers alone, a golden immortal would have been crushed to dust by such a force already. Huff! As a sword key brisked right at him, he could not dodge in time and the attack tore a hole on his shoulder. The great overarching's power of Dalio that was embedded in the attack formed some sort of drill that desperately tried to infiltrate his body, destroy his body, and decimate his soul. His inner world trembled, swallowing the entire power and then refined it. So strong, Jiang Ming exclaimed. Of course I'm strong. Bi Chenxing's figure suddenly appeared on each and every star, all looking towards Jiang Ming. Tell me, what are the secrets hidden in the mortal world that you lived in? How did it allow you to grow to such an extent? Didn't you know? Jiang Ming's expression was cold. As his gaze drifted around, he realized that Bi Chenxing's figure on each of the stars were all main bodies with exactly the same aura. The great overarching realm was indeed no trivial matter. This special ability of his was even more so. However, Jiang Ming didn't mind. It was because of his experience in killing a peerless great overarching expert throughout the infinite heavenly realm when he was in the Supreme Pagoda. Although his methods were a little rogue, it was still a great overarching expert that he killed. Moreover, he was confident to identify Bi Chenxing's main body because he had three ways. Firstly, he could evoke the world projection, which in turn shroud the starry sky, penetrating through the infinite time and space. Forcing him out wouldn't be difficult. Secondly, he could shatter the great formation and his main body would naturally reappear. Lastly, he could use the human path record. He decided to use the human path record first. He called out the human path record so that it floated in front of him. As he then flipped the pages, it locked onto Bi Chenxing's main body. Is it really the inheritance from the ancient heavenly court? Bi Chenxing's voice echoed through the vast starry sky with immeasurable prestige. If it was just such an encounter, it wouldn't allow a human from the mortal realm like you to grow to the point where you are capable of competing with the great overarching golden immortals. You must have other encounters with you. Well, it's the heavenly court, one that dominated the heavens, controlled the infinite realms, wielded the laws and thousands of other great things. For it to have collected various great treasures, it would not be an exaggeration that it allowed me to grow so fast, right? Jiang Ming replied and retorted, in middle Chiliocosm, if a person such as yourself breaks free of the world's shackles and ascends, will you reach the heavenly realm or the sea of chaos? You actually know about the Sea of Chaos? While Bei Chenxing was very surprised, a sudden thought came into his mind as he muttered, you are not of the great overarching realm, but you are still capable of going against a later stage great overarching expert such as myself. Even though we have gone this far, you still didn't panic and obviously look like you still have means to protect yourself. For such a mortal like you to be able to grow to such an extent, it's only possible if you are connected to that place. As he continued, his eyes suddenly glowed with fiery light. Tell me, what great encounter did you really obtain? Is it the legendary inheritance of heavenly Venerate, the inheritance of the legendary Lord God, or the inheritance of the reincarnation? Perhaps the legendary inheritance of the Taoist ancestor. As expected of a person that stands at the pinnacle of the world, your knowledge is extraordinary. Jiang Ming's heart trembled within, but still smiled calmly and continued, I'm currently not older than 50 years old. Who do you think is the person behind me? Not even 50 years old. The eyes of countless Bei Chenxing bulged as though they were about to fall out due to extreme shock. That's impossible. How is that even possible? Nothing is impossible. Jiang Ming smiled lightly. He was also closely observing Bei Chenxing's status. Name Bei Chenxing, race innate saint spirit, gender male, cultivation base, great overarching golden immortal realm, background master of the Emperor's Star Palace, one of the immortal emperor of the Starlight middle Chiliocosm relationship, -97 innate talent, great overarching status, my imprint on the great overarching Tao vessel has been erased. Who is so daring to go against my son? He's courting death. Sensing the coordinates, he left Starlight Realm, traveled through the torrents of void and arrived at the Infinite Realm battlefield. He sensed the residual breath of his son and immediately locked eyes onto Tianyuan world. This is the remnant of a mortal planar world. With the combat ability of the three immortal kings that my song brought along with him, how can they be defeated? This isn't right. Something right in front of here is giving me an uneasy feeling. I'm afraid there must be something unknowingly terrifying to be able to make even myself uneasy. I can't go in there. I'll just destroy the whole land from the outside and see clearly for what's hidden in it. As for my son, although he was only captured, this place still makes me feel uneasy. How can I put myself in danger? If he dies, so be it. Father will avenge you, my son. This bastard Beiming Hai actually came. Whenever this fella appears, something bad is bound to happen. Although he is of the great overarching realm, his combat ability is very poor. If he did not rely on his father's reputation, he would have been slaughtered long ago. I'm certain that he will die due to his own recklessness in the future. Although I'm not afraid of him, I don't want to cause trouble to myself. It's all good if he doesn't stop me. Is that golden immortal realm female immortal who is flying in from a distance, from that mortal planar world? If so, I'm afraid the secret here is no trivial matter. Well, I think I shall test the waters first. Good lord. My sword key was shattered by just a punch from that person who rushed out of the place. This person's combat power cannot be underestimated. It's safer to pique Beiming Hai's interest in this, and maybe I can even lead this misfortune upon him. I'll exaggerate about the great encounter ahead and let more powerful experts join in with the skirmish. After all, with Beiming Hai here, I no longer have interest in this place. This little guy in front can still remain calm even when he hears me exaggerating about the secrets of his world, piquing the interests of many other experts. Is this fearlessness, arrogance, or is he merely a fool? Yet how many fools could cultivate to such a high level? How many experts who killed their way out of a mortal planar world would be as arrogant? Does he have the confidence to deal with all the various situations here? It shouldn't be. Could it be a bluff? His breath is obscure and his aura is so violent that even I can't take a peek of his actual capability. The others might not be able to see through him, but judging by the punch just now, I am certain that he hasn't reached the great overarching realm yet. This is enough information already. Good lord, I didn't make my move, but this guy dared to take the initiative and attack first. This Sword Dao special ability of his is too pure and powerful. Although there isn't any great overarching Dao fluctuation in it, its might is still extremely powerful. This little guy is too calm and collected. Is there any basis for it? This cannot go on. Although I'm sure I can suppress him, it's better to be careful and just bring out my ultimate killer move to avoid any unexpected incidents. Based on the combat ability he displayed and his capability to remain calm even after being trapped by my immortal annihilation star array formation, he doesn't look like a person born of the mortal world no matter how I look at it. Even if he really got his hands on the treasures left from the ancient heavenly court, it's still impossible for him to reach such a level. There must be a monstrous secret about him. A secret that can even allow a mortal human to grow to the point of being able to compete with me. If I get my hands on such a secret, it might even help me to enter the quasi-sage realm and become the real giant of this world. What did I just hear? He's not even 50 years old? God damn it. Did I hear that wrong? Am I hallucinating? A 50 years old human from the mortal planar world growing to a point comparable to a great overarching expert who's even in the pinnacle, rather than just comparing to the world I came from. Is there even such genius that ever existed in the heavenly realm? There isn't even one from the past countless eras. This is not a miracle but a terrifyingly dreadful horror. What is he hiding behind him? Alas, even my heart is shivering. Also, he even knew about the Sea of Chaos. How many great overarching experts even knew of that place? Even some of the quasi-sages of weaker background in the heavenly realm might have never heard of it. Yet, this guy actually knew. Sure enough, only the inheritance from that place is able to nurture such a terrifying existence. I heard those very old people from the heavenly realm mention before that experts, such as a disciple of the Lord God, are capable of competing with experts that are of higher rank than they are. Killing a great overarching expert when they are at Taibai realm isn't a big deal to them. Although I'm not sure if the rumors were true, I can see how terrifying such inheritance is. I even heard that these inheritance's disciples are generally selected from different heavenly realms through various universes. Before these disciples were led to the inheritance, their life would not be taken care of at all. If I manage to get his inheritance and replace him, then, oh for heaven's sake, I've lived for 300 billion years now. Am I finally getting my sky-defying great encounters now? My spirit is raging and my blood is boiling with excitement now. I'm even getting an erection from all these. Keep calm, stay collected. I cannot get carried away and be punished instead. Having acquired the inheritance from such a place, he must have possessed extremely terrifying special abilities and perhaps even possessed a great killer weapon. Perhaps these are the basis for his confidence all this while. I cannot give him any chance to evoke them and directly kill him in one blow. Wait a minute, I'll get more information out of him first. After all, I'm using this great array formation technique to accumulate the stars and conjure this incarnation. Even a great heavenly Venerate may not be able to identify my main body. I'm inherently invincible. As Jiang Ming read through this person's status, he felt extremely strange. This guy really knew about the Sea of Chaos. He was again confirmed that that place was definitely a world beyond the great Chilicosms. However, there was no detailed explanation of it in the status, which was a pain in the butt. What surprised him even more was that this person was initially here to save his son, but it turned out that he didn't care at all. It was as if this son of his was just a mere bastard. Jiang Ming then thought about Beiming Hai. His father was even more ruthless. He gave birth to his offspring, and nurtured him with all his heart only for consumption in the future. God damn. Jiang Ming was frustrated at these peerless experts who were heartless and emotionless. No wonder there was a saying that beastards don't have virtues or morals. So inhumane. Bei Chenxing recollected himself after being shocked by Jiang Ming. Then he asked again, "Are you really under 50 years old?" He could not believe Jiang Ming's age. After all, someone like him taking a nap would take thousands or 10,000 years already. Of course, Jiang Ming smiled. Want to know how my cultivation can grow so fast? How about we exchange information? How do you want to exchange this? Bei Chenxing frowned. It's very simple. I'll tell you about my great encounter and you tell me about the Sea of Chaos. It's just that simple. As Jiang Ming explained, 10 clones suddenly appeared around him and all of them evoked the time and space confinement technique at the same time. In fact, Jiang Ming did not intend to exchange information. He asked just to keep Chen Beixing off guard. 10 instances of such confinement techniques simultaneously landed on one of the stars. How is it possible that you found my main body? Bei Chenxing wanted to teleport away as he howled in his soul but quickly realized that he could not move an inch. Time and space technique. Each one of them is comparable to the special ability of the great overarching realm and there are 10 of them. You aren't of the great overarching realm but how can you comprehend such a powerful special ability? How can you possess so much immortal origin? Are you really under 50 years old? God damn it. You liar. You're just trying to numb my senses. Bei Chenxing was anguished as his primal spirit trembled uncontrollably. Howls of despair were wailing from his very soul. However, what greeted him was Jiang Ming's ultimate killer technique. He evoked the great boundless technique to grow his body up to 300 feet high. His physical body became ferociously violent. The outburst of energy from his blood even managed to distort space. He became overwhelmingly powerful. Nevertheless, he still could not kill off a great overarching golden immortal by throwing a punch. Anyway, he merely wanted his body to be stronger enough to cater to much stronger special ability, e.e. the return of infinite law finger technique. Jiang Ming's attack was extremely ruthless as he directly evoked his killer move, not allowing his opponent any chances to counterattack. The single finger penetrated the opponent's forehead, destroying his primal spirit. Great karma technique, pursuit of the infinite realms. Great malediction technique, decimate. Jiang Ming did not stop there as he captured the shard of his soul's remnant and evoked the opponent's ki and blood. performing the great malediction technique. By mobilizing the power of his inner world's origin, waves of strange forces permeated all around as they looked for the imprints of soul and such that were left by Bei Chenxing, completely wiping his existence. Without the main body, these imprints would lose their source or origin in spirituality. As such, it was not hard to deal with these imprints. Jiang Ming did so because would not give his opponent any chances for resurrection if he wanted to kill. He should be completely dead this time, as Jiang Ming thought to himself. He looked up the human path record and sure enough, the name of Bei Chenxing had disappeared. The great formation array surrounding the place also began to collapse. All Bei Chenxing on each and every star also disappeared without a trace. As he glanced around, he discovered two great artifacts right beside Bei Chenxing's corpses. One was a palace, while another a long sword. Both were great overarching Dao vessels. There were also other items, but Yang Ming was not interested in them. These are the Emperor's Star Palace and the Infinite Star Sword. Not bad at all. Yang Ming examined the two Dao vessels and then nodded in satisfaction. He was especially satisfied with the Emperor's Star Palace that could be said as the pinnacle of a great overarching Dao vessel. Bei Chenxing had refined 365 giant stars and integrated them into it. With the Emperor's Star Palace as the array formation's core, he was able to mobilize a force that far exceeded the power of great overarching. It's such a huge waste to use those giant stars for conjuring a great formation. It's better to just integrate them into my inner world, Jiang Ming thought. From the inner world's perspective, these stars were without a doubt supreme resources. If they were to be completely refined, his inner world's origin would definitely skyrocket. Looking at the great formation that was about to completely collapse, with just a thought, his face suddenly turned pale as streaks of sword markings appeared on his skin with blood trickling down. There was even a sword wound on his forehead that almost pierced through. He looked miserable. Jiang Ming then flicked his sleeves and put away the many giant stars, directly integrating them into his inner world. These stars began to be refined by the power of origin, providing resources to it and promoting the evolution of his inner world. The very next moment, he appeared high in the sky as his body suddenly staggered, almost falling to the ground. He quickly put away Bei Chenxing's corpse, flew towards Tianyun World, and it did not take long before he reached the depth of Tianyun World. Fogs and haze surged in all parts of Tianyun World, preventing people from seeing what was happening inside. It was also blocking consciousness from scouting. It functioned like a formation with very low lethality. Beiming Hai had been looking at where Bei Chenxing and Jiang Ming fought. Unfortunately, the place was shrouded in great formation that was prompted by Bei Chenxing, making it difficult to see the situation inside. However, it didn't take long for the great formation array to collapse as Jiang Ming appeared out of it, covered in scars and blood. Even his breath was extremely weak. Before Beiming Hai even reacted, Yang Ming looked at Bei Chenxing's corpse lying by the side, put it away and turned into a stream of light, returning to Tianyun World. As the fog turned hazy and nothing could be seen, Beiming Hai finally recollected himself and thought, how is it possible that the immortal Emperor Bei Chen was killed? He is a veteran great overarching golden immortal, and even holds a portion of the world's authority in the starlight middle chiliocosm. His power is unfathomable and his strength unbelievable. How could he be killed? Even if he was no match for this boy, he should be able to escape at the very least. Is that kid so powerful? Seeing that he was injured all over and even injured his origin, his aura seemed to have been weakened to the extreme. He should be like a spent bullet already. If I made my move just now, I could have easily killed him. But now, might there be other peerless experts on that piece of land? No, absolutely not. Otherwise, how could they not appear when faced against such a powerful enemy like Bei Chenxing and also besieged by a great array formation? Moreover, with my presence, the other experts would definitely not just watch the whole skirmish if he really had people helping him. He should be the strongest on that land. To think that a mortal planar world actually gave birth to such a terrifying individual that can even kill immortal Emperor Bei Chen. What kind of sky-defying great encounter is actually in that land? Is it really a treasure trove left by the past heavenly court? I don't believe it. It must be something even more amazing. That's right, there are even beautiful ladies there. Upon thinking of this, Beiming Hai felt as though his heart was set ablaze, yet he still had some doubts about it. He sensed more and more peerless experts started to gather around the place where there were no less than 10 Taiyi golden immortal experts. There were also several peerless auras rushing over. Making up his mind, Beiming Hai rushed forward. Meanwhile, he tried to convince himself, I'm Beiming Hai. My father is the Black Emperor, the great Northern Emperor of the Heavenly Court. I kill people and eat their meat, yet who would dare to go against me? Humph. I am the only one who does the killing in this world. After all, no one would dare to go against me even if I lose. All because I have such an amazing father. Therefore, what am I even afraid of? Beiming Hai was beyond bold and fearless. In fact, it was pure recklessness. Back on Chuyang Peak, when Jiang Ming returned, he immediately mobilized the Saint Province Dao Square, creating fogs to isolate themselves from the prying eyes of the outside world. This barrier did not look strong because it only could prevent others from probing. Senior brother? Seeing Jiang Ming's injuries, Linglong immediately cried and her murderous intent went ballistic. How did you end up gravely injured? Al-Qadal is the saying you I did your forge says you're saying sa na scene. This is a disguise. Jiang Ming hurriedly explained himself as he recovered himself without the slightest injury in sight. Don't worry, I won't make my move unless I have absolute confidence. You scared me. Linglong laughed through her tears. Senior brother, are you tired after the great battle or are you purposely showing your weakness to lure Beiming Hai over? As expected of my smart girl, Jiang Ming caressed her long hair and continued telling his plan. When Bei Qianxing made his moves, he set up a great array formation that blocked off the sight from the outside and so the others didn't know of my abilities. Although dealing with Beiming Hai there and then was also a trivial matter, it's inevitable that others might peek and learn of my abilities. In that case, I'll be easily targeted if I were to make my move in the future. In addition, because the foreigners that previously descended into our world have come, I want to lure them all over and kill them all at one go. The foreigners? Linglong's pupil shrank. Perhaps I know some details about them. Oh, you used to be an immortal emperor after all. Jiang Ming couldn't help but amuse. Girl, try and tell me, even if I'm an immortal emperor, I'm still your junior sister, your woman of two lives. Junior sister snuggled into his arms as she frowned a little, reminiscing on her past memories. I once met an ancient powerful expert known as Immortal Venerate Dao Yan. He mentioned that there is a wider and vast world in the chaos, known as the Sea of Chaos. It's a place where all great overarching and stronger experts yearn to. There is a force there searching for disciples throughout the universe to be nurtured. The kind of nurturing was akin to parasite breeding, allowing them to keep descending into various worlds and put their life at stake in battles. Those who manage to survive till the end are all monstrous. All of them are terrifyingly strong with various techniques. They are unpredictable and it makes it almost impossible to guard against them. Senior brother, I think they are the foreigners you are talking about, right? As Linglong explained about the past, she asked curiously, by the way, didn't you have control of the fifth immortal moon? The fifth immortal moon belongs to the reincarnation hall, and another part of them came from the Lord God's space, Jiang Ming explained. What I'm dealing with are the Lord God's beneficiaries. Senior brother, so you knew about this? Linglong was very surprised at first, but when she thought of the inheritance that her senior brother obtained, it all seemed like it was a matter of course. Yeah, I didn't tell you because I was afraid you would be worried, Jiang Ming smiled. What kind of existence is this immortal Emperor Dao Yan that you just said? It reminded him of Master Dao Yan. Among the rewards that he got in the beginning, there was a book called Detailed Explanation on Human Cultivation Realms. Although there were some mistakes in it, it gave him quite a lot of guidance. I only know that he is from the human race and nothing else. Linglong thought for a while before she shook her head. This person is very mysterious. Also, I didn't understand much about the outside world back then. Senior brother, are you able to handle these Lord God beneficiaries? They are all good people. Really? All of them are good people. Jiang Ming couldn't help laughing. Without them, I wouldn't have grown up so fast. In fact, I like them descending into our world. The more the better. Linglong showed a strange and puzzled look. Suddenly, Jiang Ming looked over in the distance as a cruel smile slowly curved from the corner of his lips. He's here. He has come to die. In one of the corners of Tianunc stood a purple-clad young man who had a third eye between his eyebrows. He was the expert that descended from the Lord God's space. He concealed his aura and kept observing the situation at sea. To think that there's an expert that is as strong as a great overarching expert in this land of mission, it's fortunate that I didn't just rush in or it would have been so much trouble. In fact, I didn't expect that there would be strong enemies coming over. At least they can help me scout and test the waters, saving a lot of my time and effort, hence making this mission much easier. Could this be God's blessing? The purple-clad young man said with excitement. God? The girl next to him pouted. How many of these gods have we killed? Rather than trusting good, it's far better to trust you, boss. Haha, I like the sound of that. The purple-clad young man laughed out loud and was no longer as cautious as when they first arrived. The girl was even happier while the other three young people beside them all twitched their mouths. When they first heard Bei Qianxing telling about a secret hidden in this land of mission, all of their eyes lit up. It was not because of the secret itself, but the potential of the secret in attracting more peerless experts over. This would simplify their jobs in completing the mission. However, when they saw the powerful Bei Qianxing being killed in the end, all of them were shocked. They only heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Jiang Ming's condition. This guy is a monster, the purple-clad young man commented. If it wasn't for today's skirmish, even if we finally emerge victorious, I'm afraid more than half of us, including all of the other teams, would end up with deaths and casualties. If we went in on our own, we would without a doubt die in vain. It's no wonder 30 teams descended to this land together. The girl was also surprised and then smiled. However, it's really wonderful that a great overarching expert has sacrificed himself for our mission. Anyway, Could there be other experts that are as strong as him there, boss? I don't think so. Otherwise, our mission would simply be meaningless. The purple-clad young man put his hands behind his back, confident as though everything was within his hand. If there are, why didn't they appear when that young man fought against the great overarching expert? Besides, there's another great overarching expert itching to have a go around here. Also, look at how miserable the young man's condition was after killing that great overarching expert. It was almost equivalent to self-destructing. Therefore, I conclude that there is only one such monstrous existence on the land ahead. It's a pity that such a genius would be falling to his demise today. Hee, boss, we have killed many geniuses, haven't we? The young girl smiled. Now then, do we still need to join forces with the other teams before we make our move? That's no longer necessary. If we join forces, they will drag us down instead. We need to act on our own now and kill the person ourselves. Once we kill him, our evaluation points will definitely be very high. As the purple-clad young man commented, he suddenly frowned. The young lady as well as the other three frowned as well. It was because a side quest had suddenly appeared in all of their minds. Hunt down the beneficiaries of the reincarnation hall, and they would discover the beneficiaries of the reincarnation hall when they approached a certain range. Moreover, the rewards were also generous. As the five of them looked over not far away, a few people over there looked back at them at the same time. Invisible murderous intent suddenly emerged. Boss, the young girl called out. Complete the main mission first. The purple-clad young man thought for a while before making a decision. Let's go. He had already seen Beiming Hai rushing towards the Tianyuan world. The five of them turned into streaks of light as they sped onwards. As for the few people not far away, they breathed a sigh of relief. After all, that purple-clad young man was too strong and was clearly in the Taiyi realm. Meanwhile, there were an unknown number of experts flying towards Tianyu world. Jiang Ming had his arms around his junior sister as they looked at Beiming Hai who rushed over. He was smiling, but his smile was extremely cold. Senior brother, I'll kill him. Linglong's voice was soft and firm. Delivered to your doorstep for you to kill, Jiang Ming replied. Kill me, haha. As Beiming Hai rushed over, he quickly discovered the Chuyang peak of Juyang sect with just a glance. He locked his focus on Jiang Ming and rushed over thousands of miles away in just a snap of a finger. He overheard the conversation between the two as well. You are already severely injured after killing Bei Chenxing and are only pretending to look like you've fully recovered yourself. Yet you still want to kill me? Beiming Hai slowly paced his way over, directly entering the vicinity of Jiyang sect, passing through the array formation indifferently. He took a glance at the formation array and sneered. To think that such a gruff formation array exists, this really widened my knowledge. Beiming Hai, Jiang Ming yelled as he flicked his sleeves, changing the surroundings of Tianyuan world around the edges, white fogs rolling and flames bursting out. Sword slashes were shot around, tearing through the sky. Special abilities were evoked, shattering the earth, causing the entire Tianyuan world at the verge of collapsing. This made the Lord God Space's beneficiary, who was initially hesitant, squinted his eyes and rushed over. It was obvious to him that the battle inside was a fierce one. Moreover, the target of the mission was obviously at a disadvantage now. Otherwise, how could he not be able to protect his own home? That was why the beneficiary had to be quick, or this visit would all be in vain. However, just as he stepped into the white fog, his body froze and he was imprisoned in an instant. He was then silently transferred over to the fifth immortal moon. Another one. The fifth immortal moon smiled and without hesitation stabbed the opponent's forehead with a sword, directly destroying his primal spirit. In an instant, a mass of air emerged from the corpse and flew into her body. As she cycled through her cultivation technique, her aura began to skyrocket. This was the reward, to be able to absorb 1/5 of the cultivation base of the hunted target without any side effects. However, the origin essence did not appear after the death of the Lord God Space's beneficiary. It was unknown if this was because of the Infinite Realm battlefield or because this place was already affiliated with the Great Chilio Cosm. Standing on top of Shuyang Peak, Jiang Ming was very calm as he looked at Beiming Hai who was walking over. If it wasn't because of your father's reputation, how can a person who is as arrogant, despicable, and sinful as you survived until today? You actually know me. This is unexpected. Really unexpected. Beiming Hai was stunned for a while before cracking out a loud laugh. Haha, even if I don't rely on my father's power, I am still a powerful, great overarching expert. Looking through the infinite realms, I stop on top of heavens. I have the strength and the power. Naturally, I can do what I want. Pausing for a moment, he turned his gaze over to Linglong and his eyes flashed with astonishment. This little lady is stunning. Today, I will slaughter your sect and decimate all the living beings on this piece of land. However, for the sake of this little lady who lit up my eyes, I'll give the two of you a chance. You, little boy, kneel down immediately and bark like a dog. You, young lady, Take off your clothes and dance for me on this balcony. If it makes me happy, I'll make you two my slaves and let you be the two dogs by my side." Beiming Hai was arrogant and domineering. He didn't have the attitude that a great overarching golden immortal should possess. Instead, he was more vicious than a villain. "Otherwise, you two shall die today. All of you shall die. To think that there's such a great overarching golden immortal in this world. This really widened my knowledge." Jiang Ming sighed softly as he was also full of emotion. Before he met him, he looked forward to it. But now that he had seen him, it just made him sick. "The heavens won't be able to stand it if you don't die." As Jiang Ming muttered, he raised his hand and pressed down forward, shouting, "Kneel before me." His words were embedded with the power of laws, causing even the sky to tremble. "Asking me to kneel. Haha, you really are courageous. You might still stand a chance against me if you haven't fought Bei Chenxing before this. But now..." The sarcastic look on Beiming Hai's face remained before he could not move one bit. The very next moment, his face turned into shock. "What did you do to me? Why can't I move?" Beiming Hai felt a terrifying pressure that was attacking him from all directions. Not only was he unable to move, the terrifying power caused his body to bend and he was about to kneel. "Forcing me to kneel? To kneel before you feeble ants? You shall die. You shall all die." Beiming Hai's face was distorted as he roared, "Mystical arcane halberd, evoke." A halberd's tip appeared on top of his head, and instantly a wave of force that could destroy worlds as well as all laws and principles erupted, trying to break through confinements and destroy the vast void. However, an invisible force surged out in the very next moment and suppressed the tip of the halberd back into Beiming Hai's body. How is this possible? My father used the mystical arcane jade formed during the birth of the heavens and earth, coupled with boundless rare treasures, and took tens of millions of years to forge this quasi-sage weapon. When I was bestowed this halberd upon entering the great overarching realm, I could even compete with the pinnacle great overarching expert with this halberd. How could it be unable to break through this suppression? Beiming Hai's face was filled with disbelief. Bang! Finally unable to bear the suppression, two of his legs bent and he finally knelt mid-air. Wildly trying to fight back against the suppression, all 7 of his orifices were bleeding. Meanwhile, explosive sounds could be heard coming from his flesh and bones within his body. The disciples of Zhuyang sect seemed to have not noticed anything amiss and continued doing what they were supposed to, completely unaffected by the whole ordeal. Obviously, Jiang Ming mobilized the St. Province Dao Square's power to block off their senses. "Damn it! All of you are damned. You made me kneel." Beiming Hai's scarlet red eyes almost fell out as he continued struggling frantically, roaring and cursing out loud. "No, I will keep you two alive. I'll keep you two alive forever. Even if the stars fall and the earth sinks into the abyss, even if the world ends and everything returns to nothingness, I will make sure the two of you live and enjoy all the torments of the world." Jiang Ming could not help laughing when he saw Beiming Hai's furious yet powerless look. "You're still thinking of torturing us for hundreds of millions of years?" He shook his head and handed the great overarching Dao weapon, the infinite star sword, over to Junior's sister. "Girl, it's yours." At the same time, he stretched out his hands and grabbed mid-air. The tip of a halberd could be seen emerging out of Beiming Hai's body. It was the mystical arcane halberd, a quasi-sage weapon. You can even force out my Dao vessel?" Beiming Hai's look completely changed. A quasi-sage Dao vessel inside a person's body could practically recover almost all of a person's energy. To force the Dao vessel out like that, what tyrannical power! It was simply impossible. Even his father might not be able to do so. "Who exactly are you?" Beiming Hai finally felt fear looming in his heart and no longer looked as arrogant as before. It was now that he finally understood that this person in front of him had been acting and faking his weakness the whole time. "Someone who wants to kill you." As Jiang Ming replied, he grasped firmly in front of him and the mystical arcane halberd was seen flying out while trembling violently. However, it could not break free from the restraint. "Destroy!" With a single point of his finger, an immeasurable divine might entered the battle halberd. Coupled with the absurd power from the St. Province Dao Square, the imprint was completely wiped from the halberd. Beiming Hai opened his mouth, spatting out a mouthful of fresh blood with a face that looked like he had seen a ghost. Junior's sister was already in front of him. Flicking the infinite star sword, she cut off both Beiming Hai's hands and feet. She then wielded the sword, cut open his head, forcing his primal spirit out of his body. A strand of flame emerged from the sword tip and was directly penetrated into his primal soul. It caused Beiming Hai to bawl miserably in excruciating pain. Jiang Ming no longer paid his attention to him. He turned his eyes looking afar and locked on to someone. That person was a beneficiary of the Lord God. The power contained in his body was not weaker than Beiming Hai, and yet that person was only at the Taibai realm. Interesting. Jiang Ming let out a smile. As he raised his hand and pressed onwards, he saw the purple-clad young man that had just arrived, frozen in place with a shocked look on his face. It was then that the youth realized all 4 of his teammates had disappeared. A moment later, their signs of life were completely gone and their names in the system turned gray. They were dead. What the hell is going on here? The purple-clad young man was shocked but quickly calmed himself down. Nothing changed here, and there isn't any ripple from a great battle here as well. I am imprisoned while my teammates are killed. There's only one possibility. This is a trap and the opponent knows in and out about us. After quick reasoning, he was horrified. He knew he could not wait any longer nor hold back anymore. Whoosh. A mass torrent of energy exploded in his body as a pagoda rushed out from the top of his head. All of a sudden, countless stands of golden lights were shining out of it with great divine power. The pagoda had 9 levels, and it seemed as though there was a great world hidden inside which was so profound that it could even crush the ancient times. This allowed the purple-clad young man to move his body slightly. This here is the 9-level golden pagoda, a level 17 supreme Tao soldier that I risked my life obtaining. Its ability to suppress anything has protected me all this while, which led to who I am today. But now, even after this treasured pagoda has been evoked, it still fails to break me free from these shackles. The purple-clad young man had a face filled with disbelief. He was becoming more and more uneasy, and the death aura looming in the air was making him breathless. Damn it. The purple-clad young man gritted his teeth, opened his third eye between his eyebrows, and spurted out a black light that ripped apart the void in front of him. Just as he was about to flee from the scene, he was blocked off at the very next moment. Such a terrifying gaze. The person who appeared was none other than Jiang Ming. As Beiming Hai was already dismembered by his junior sister, Jiang Ming knew the place was rendered safe and sound now. Therefore, paced over mid-air heading towards the young man. Jiang Ming never expected this beneficiary of the Lord God to be this strong. Putting aside the fact that he had a quasi-sage Tao vessel with him, this third eye that he had just evoked actually even shook the power of the Saint Province Tao Square. Truly unimaginable. It's you! The purple-clad young man recognized Jiang Ming at first sight. All of this was a trap? You pretended everything to lure us in so that you can deal with all of us in one go? Jiang Ming nodded. Then he lifted his hand and grasped it with his palm. The imprisoned 9-level golden pagoda struggled before falling into his palm. After a while, the Tao vessel was completely quiet. The purple-clad young man opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. It was Jiang Ming who erased his imprint on the pagoda. Whoosh. At the same time, Jiang Ming called up the human path record. Name Ziguang race, Holy Spirit innately Jadeite, gender male cultivation base, level 15, Tai golden immortal. Background forbidden area of Purple Mountain in the Thousand Stars Middle Chiliocosm. Note, beneficiary of the Lord God Space, captain of Purple Flame Clan. Relationship, -99 innate. Ability quasi-sage status. Originally an innate jade from a forbidden place in Thousand Stars Middle Chiliocosm, he had long formed a spiritual soul of his own and was given birth after absorbing the blood of 30 over great overarching golden immortal, becoming an innate Holy Spirit. Born with great special ability, he was able to open a third eye that could shoot out destructive light of boundless might. Growing rapidly, he was nurtured by other holy spirits at the Forbidden Land in Purple Mountain, slowly becoming vain and arrogant. In one of his journeys coming out of the mountain, where he challenged all the people throughout, he was beaten miserably and was almost dismembered for it. After he was lucky enough to survive the ordeal, he was invited by the Lord God to become a beneficiary. Having seen the different wonders of the heavenly infinite realms, he gradually became mature and developed into a cautious character. Descended into a great chiliocosm on a mission, he obtained the 9-level golden pagoda after narrowly escaping death that helped to forge a strong foundation for himself. He accidentally obtained yet another rare treasure, the Orb of Destruction. It contains the origin of destruction that was comparable with a quasi-sage Tao vessel. Integrating it into his third eye allowed his innate special ability to reach an unimaginable level. He then took on the next mission to destroy a certain land. For him who has destroyed several worlds in the past, it was nothing special to him. Status. After completing this mission, he was prepared to retreat into cultivation and trying breaking through into the great overarching golden immortal realm and peek into the essence of the Lord God's space. He heard that after reaching the great overarching realm, once the person passes the assessment, he can ascend to an even higher leveled land of origin. The purple-clad young man's status was simple, yet unusual at the same time. He was an innate Holy Spirit and obtained 2 great encounters for a quasi-sage Tao vessel, and he was preparing to break through to the great overarching golden immortal realm after completing the mission? What a genius! Jiang Ming sighed secretly. Unfortunately, Ziguang was the enemy and his fate was destined for coming over here. If he is a great overarching golden immortal, with such immeasurably peerless innate talent coupled with 2 quasi-sage Tao vessels, he may be able to shake off from the power of Saint Province Tao Square and has a slight hope of escaping. As Jiang Ming thought to himself, his finger was inserted deep in between the young man's eyebrows, digging out the third eye. He did not intend to answer the young man's question at all. Ziguang screamed in despair with immense hatred. How did you find out about our identities? Damn it, you wanted to kill all of us in one go. The existence behind us will definitely bring you to ashes. You will die a painful death. Jiang Ming ignored him totally, and with a wave of his hand he teleported the young man over to the fifth immortal moon to temporarily suppress him. There were also other Tai experts that were held captive as well. It was obvious that they were prepared to kill them last. The fifth immortal moon's cultivation base had already reached the peak of golden immortal. Alas, there isn't anyone that can put up a fight. Jiang Ming raised his hand and killed the reincarnation hall beneficiaries who came here as well, and even got himself a dozen of great overarching Dao vessels. Currently, the fifth immortal moon was the last reincarnation hall beneficiary who descended into the Tianyun world. Jiang Ming raised his head and looked up at the sky. It was as if he could see the reincarnation hall, which gave him a weird feeling. Suppressing his thoughts, he turned around and returned to Chuyang Peak. Beiming Hai was still howling miserably. Have you let go? Jiang Ming placed his junior sister in his arms and kissed her on the forehead. I've let go of it, and the knot to my heart has been completely unraveled as well. Linglong gave a bright smile. My cultivation base has also improved. Neither great overarching experts nor the quasi-sage experts can stop me now. Haha. As expected of the girl I raised, Jiang Ming laughed. Linglong leaned on his shoulder. Senior brother, what about these three? They are quite an eyesore. How about we kill them? All right, keeping them around is an eyesore indeed. Then let's return them to ashes, and we prepare ourselves to welcome a new world, a new life, and a new future. Jiang Ming said, and with a wave of his hand, the sole remnants of Bei Qingguang and Shu Tao were annihilated. What about him? Linglong pointed to the remnant soul of Beiming Hai. Are you worried that killing him might attract the old monster Kunpeng? Yeah, Jiang Ming pondered. Once we kill him, I'm afraid that old thing will be able to sense it happening. If he comes here, I may not be able to stop him. You're right. There is a connection between the bloodline. We'll definitely alert that old thing once we kill him. Then let's keep him captive for now, till we're confident. Jiang Ming paused and shook his head helplessly. That old thing, I'm afraid he is rushing over here. He's coming? Linglong's pupils shrank and her eyes blinked continuously. Even if you don't kill, I am afraid that through the connection between their bloodline he might be able to sense Beiming Hai's condition. Based on the traces from the past, he will definitely find this place. He is at the middle stage of the quasi-sage realm. I can't fight against him. Senior brother, how confident are you against him? Middle stage of the quasi-sage realm. Yang Ming frowned. 30%. 30%. That's too little. Linglong had an imposing look on her face. Senior brother, aren't you following the path of world's Dao? Let's just put all the people of the eastern region into your inner world or into my maps of mountains and rivers, and then we leave. It takes at least a day to rush here from the heavenly realm, even for the middle stage quasi-sage expert. One day is enough time for us to hide. Jiang Ming shook his head in disagreement. He asked the system and found out that once Kuyang Peak was taken into the inner world or a spatial artifact, the daily rewards would be cut off and the accumulation would disappear. He would have to find a new place and start all over again in the future. How could I choose such an option? Jiang Ming's eyes narrowed, flickering like light. He called up the human path record to check on Kunpeng's status. At the critical juncture of his cultivation retreat, he suddenly felt something in his heart as it skipped a beat and his blood vessels trembled. It almost caused him to go into key deviation. Hence he hurried out of his retreat. He knew that his son Beiming Hai had met with an accident. He felt even more shocked when he realized that the imprint left on his son had disappeared. Having calculated the past whereabouts of Beiming Hai, he found that his son disappeared on the Infinite Realm battlefield. He left quickly without any hesitation after preparing himself. Whoever dared to lay their hand on my son, ruining my plans, I will crush you to ashes regardless of who you are. He plans on going on a killing spree one day later. Senior brother, it's better to stay alive to fight the battle another day. Leaving with the people of the eastern region won't be any loss. Linglong said again. Give me 100 years and I will kill Kunpeng by then. No. Jiang Ming still shook his head. Once I leave, the loss to me would be too great. This is not a choice. Is one day enough? It is. Turning his eyes, he looked at the fifth immortal moon, who was outside of Juyang's sect. Beside her were more than 10 Tai golden immortals who were held captive, and the spoils she has collected were countless immortal Dao weapons and soldiers, as well as immortal crystals and divine stones piled into hills. There were even immortal crystal ore veins, various immortal medicine and spiritual beads. The many treasures of these geniuses are enough for me to enrich my foundation. Jiang Ming stretched out his hand to grab them, transferring the immortal crystals and other objects into his inner world. The Dao vessels were not quite up to his standards, but he still took a lot. Immortal moon, kill them all and break through. Jiang Ming transmitted his voice over to the fifth immortal moon. Yes, master. After the fifth immortal moon responded, she proceeded to slaughter all the Lord God beneficiaries that were in front of her. In an instant, a terrifying energy melded into her body. She hurriedly sat down and cycled through her cultivation technique. She quickly absorbed the energy with the assistance of the reincarnation hall's system. At the same time, she drifted into a state of enlightenment and started comprehending the Tai Dao. Without any shackles limiting her, she quickly ascended into a higher realm. The whole situation was simply incredible. If the fifth immortal moon did not have the help of the reincarnation system, she would have exploded and died long ago. However, she made it through well. Upon assessing the situation over there, Jiang Ming couldn't help nodding his head and turned to look at his junior sister. Give me half a day or at most 1 day. I'll return by then. I'll show you how powerful your senior brother is then. Senior brother, I want to see how powerful you are right now. I'm just afraid you won't be able to withstand it first, Linglong said softly. Humph! Jiang Ming patted his waist. Don't worry, next time I will be able to stand exercising for even 100,000 years. I'm just afraid you'll be begging for mercy then. Linglong rolled his eyes full of amorous feelings. Meanwhile, she felt a warm feeling surging inexplicably, though her heart causing her to be a little restless. I'm leaving now. Take care of our home, Jiang Ming muttered. Don't you worry, senior brother. Linglong nodded firmly but hurriedly continued. Wait for just a moment. In the Supreme Pagoda, Jiang Ming did not waste his time after coming here. He came straight to the Tao Enlightenment Sea. He activated the time acceleration and sat down in a lotus position to digest the information his junior sister told him before they parted ways. Those were some basic information the true illusion Linglong had gotten about the Heavenly Realm as well as the Infinite Realms battlefield. The Honggu world was vast. The Heavenly Realm situated at the top of the chain with the Heavenly Court leading everything. Sitting on the throne, the great Heavenly Venerate governed everything from one end to the other, exerting his influence and power while transforming the Honggu world into a complete universe. Further downward were the middle chiliocosms, small chiliocosms, and a myriad of planar worlds that floated amongst the depth of the surge of time and space. After the great Heavenly Venerate seized the throne, he created the Infinite Realms battlefield to divert the conflict. The Infinite Realms battlefield was split into several levels. The low-level battlefield was for experts until the Golden Immortal Realm. The middle-level battlefield was for experts until the great overarching Golden Immortal Realm, while the highest-level battlefield was the place for quasi-sages to fight against each other. The Tianyuan realm belonged to the middle-level battlefield category. Judging from the rules, a quasi-sage was not allowed to enter. But who was Kunpeng? He was the Northern Great Emperor of the Heavenly Court, who was also known as the Black Emperor. He was an ancient being who had full authority and had too many excuses and reasons to be able to forcefully descend to the middle-level battlefield. In the Heavenly Realms, experts from the human race consisted of the majority. However, they were like a plate of loose sand. They did not join forces and they were split into different clans and heavenly courts. Otherwise, the great Heavenly Venerate would not be happy about it. Other than that, there were other sects such as the Foe sect, the Dragon race, the Demon race, the Ryu sect, and so on. To put it simply, the Heavenly Court had absolute dominance. Nobody would have the guts to ignore an order given by the Heavenly Emperor. But how about in private? That was a different story. This was what was happening at the macro level in the Honggu world. The great Heavenly Venerate wouldn't care even if they kill each other in the Infinite Realms battlefield. Another thing was the antagonistic relationship between immortals and demons under the great Heavenly Venerate. It was safe to say that the demons from the abyss were the common enemy of many forces in the Heavenly Realm. It was a fight on a grand level. The great Heavenly Venerate also gave them the permission to go into the abyss and slaughter the demons. There was more killing from private feuds or war between clans on the lower level. After Jiang Ming had dissolved all of the information, he went into his inner world and refined all the treasures or spiritual objects such as immortal crystals and great stars he obtained from killing those geniuses into the nourishment for his inner world. He split part of his mind into promoting the evolution of the inner world to speed up the refined process, while activating the Tao Enlightenment mode to comprehend the Golden Immortal Law. Comprehending the Golden Immortal Law was a lot harder than comprehending the Mystical Immortal Law. The good thing was that he could activate the Tao Enlightenment mode, and 10,000 years flashed by in the blink of an eye. When Jiang Ming heard the notification, he opened his eyes. Even though I've activated the Tao Enlightenment mode, I only managed to comprehend a small amount of the Golden Immortal. Although the origin force of my inner world has become a lot stronger, I still have a long way to go. Sigh. The inner world Tao is really a hard path to take on. Jiang Ming sighed. If he went on the orthodox cultivation path, he would have achieved the quasi-sage level by now. Since I've exhausted my resources, it would only do me no good if I continue to comprehend the Golden Immortal Law. After all, improving the origin force is a slow process. The law is the framework, while the origin force is the foundation. If the framework is strong enough, but the origin force is lacking, the whole inner world would collapse. It's only when they complement each other can they function perfectly. Jiang Ming sighed. Resources. Something flitted his head and he quickly pulled out the Supreme Order. System, if I trade an item with my group members, will you notify me if the item contains, let's say, a tracking item or device? Sir, I'll remove all the marks on the trade items. However, please take note that some items are connected to each other. For example, the mother-son talisman, or the yin-yang sword. It was only then the understanding dawned upon Jiang Ming. The chat group was quiet, and it was normal. I need advanced grade immortal veins, origin essence, Xuanhuang origin essence, chaos vital essence, and world's heart to name a few. Do you guys have it? I'm willing to exchange them with you for points. Ye for points. These are the items that you need? Can I assume that you're cultivating the world Dao? Judging from your battle prowess, if you can get all the items that you need, you're bound to achieve something great in the future. That's right. It's just that these items are high-grade materials in cultivation, so it's hard for me to get them on my hands in such a short amount of time. Do you need it right now? If you can wait for me, I'll go destroy a few worlds now to get the world's heart for you.
Xianxia, how could you do that?
You can't just destroy a world to get its heart. It's against the laws. I might believe it if a human told me that it's against the laws for me to do it, but you, how dare you? That's prejudice. Can you two please stop it? Admin, I have an advanced grade immortal vein that costs 10,000 points based on the price of past transactions in the group. For 1,000 points, you'll be able to listen to the Dao once. The Daos are given by supreme existences at the Saint Lord level. The benefits of listening to Dao are much greater than enlightenment. It could give you a direct guide on which path you should take on in the future, or help you to break through your bottlenecks. Are you sure you want to trade? Yes, please. I have a lot of points to spend. I'm sorry, Dihuo. I'm in urgent need of these items, so I can't wait for you. I don't know about you guys, but I have the urge to hit someone. Me too. What a shame. This is such a great opportunity to earn some point, yeah. All of us are so short of points that we don't even dare to use the time acceleration feature. And now you are telling us that you have too many points. I knew I shouldn't have come to the chat group. Me too. Most of the people in the group did not have the things that Jiang Ming needed. Besides, even if they had the items, they would have used them themselves first to increase their cultivation level. In the end, Jiang Ming only obtained one advanced grade immortal vein from Hong Yi. 10,000 points were nothing for Jiang Ming, but other than Hong Yi or Hong Zhan, no one in the group could spend 10,000 points in one go. I just need to spend some points to get so many good items. Jiang Ming said, it's really good to be an expert. However, I'm afraid that I can't evolve the origin of the inner world to its limit with these items only. Jiang Ming frowned. Guys, is that all? We can give you more if you give us some time. We need time to collect these items. If you're cultivating the world Dao, immortal crystal, divine stones, spiritual grasses, supreme medicines, and so on could be of use to you too. Admin, I have a lot of demonic crystals. I have plenty of sun crystal mountains. Yu Wuji, I have an immortal fluid river here. Yalong, I have quite a lot of low-grade water immortal veins here. What do you think, admin? Do you want it? I'm living in the sun of a great chiliocosm and I have plenty of sun crystals here. Alright, I want it all. Yang Ming was delighted. Initially, he just wanted to get the highest grade of materials, but he changed his mind after Hong Yi told him that he could use other items to boost his inner world. The only downside was that it might take more time.
I've mastered a special ability known as the Holy Civilization Fist by fusing many cultivations and laws.
The more civilizations are fused, the stronger the power of the special ability. Of course, you can fuse laws into it as well, so do you want it? I have something similar too. It can merge 3,000 laws into one to perform a powerful attack. Do you want it? Holy, these two people are flexing their special abilities. Nu Hotu, Yedu Hotu, Pui Wotu. That being said, I think our group admin's special ability is stronger. As we all know, 3,000 laws are needed by a world to evolve everything. But our group admin could fuse all 3,000 laws into one special ability. Do you guys know how incredible that is? Yeah, that's really incredible. If our group admin could step into the golden immortal realm, does this not mean that he could easily slay a great overarching? I'm in the mystical immortal realm, and I've already cleared the first stage of the 6th battle tower. I'm speechless. In Yifufa's son, I declare you as the strongest. As expected of the man who becomes the admin for two groups. One will need to go up against a great overarching golden immortal at the first stage of the 6th battle tower. And you've already cleared it even though you're just in the mystical immortal realm? Admin, I'm really speechless right now. Well, it's nothing impressive. After I've entered the golden immortal realm, I'll try and see if I can clear the 6th battle tower or not. But I think I won't stand a chance if I try to go through the 7th battle tower. The rest of the group members were tongue-tied. Jiang Ming had gotten quite a lot of good items in an hour. He also had given one of his special abilities to Hong Yi in exchange for his Holy Civilization Fist. However, what surprised him the most was a strange special ability known as Sacrificial Artifact Judgment he got from Huang Quan. It was expensive and cost him 1,000 points. According to Huang Quan, he got this special ability by chance from the Saint Province Dao Square. Although it cost a lot to use this special ability, it was powerful. After Jiang Ming had dissolved the information, he seemed rather excited. The sacrificial artifact judgment, huh? Isn't this just for me? Everything was ready, and all he needed right now was an opportunity. Yang Ming activated the time acceleration mode and started his cultivation again. It was still very lively inside the Supreme Immortal chat group. Ever since I joined this chat group, this is the first time I come across a group admin like him. He's so generous in giving out his points, Huan Hu. Yeah, he's so generous that he doesn't feel like a human at all. Hey, watch your words. How can you say our group admin isn't a human? Please don't get me wrong. All human experts normally lead a frugal life, but our group admin is the opposite. That's why I said he doesn't feel like a human at all. In other words, I'm complimenting his generosity. He can't blame us for misunderstanding you, Huang Quan. Your comment is just simply too misleading. Besides, what happens if we still have some points left when we're leaving the Supreme Pagoda? Will it get removed? Nope. From what I understand, appropriate compensation will be given, or you can consume all the points in the Supreme Pagoda before leaving Churung Temchirth.
That makes the points even more precious.
Once we're dead, the points will be gone forever. You can't pass it to another person, Jay. You should be grateful that the Supreme Pagoda still gives you the chance to spend your points. By the way, is it true that our group admin has cleared the first stage of the 6th battle tower? I found it hard to believe. After all, it's just impossible.
You're right. It's impossible for a mystical immortal to defeat a great overarching. Is the world Tao really that powerful?
Hey, if I were you, I wouldn't use the word powerful. If you want to describe it with a word, I would say miraculous is more appropriate. However, it's not that easy to cultivate the world Tao. Even though our group admin is a genius himself, I'm afraid he'll be stuck at the small chiliocosm for at least a few billion years before he has a slight chance of breaking through to the next level. Everything has its pros and cons, and when you pick one thing, you have to discard the other. Although evolving the inner world is hard, it could make the cultivator far more powerful than the cultivators of the same level. Besides, once the inner world has reached a certain stage, there will be no more shackles for realm advancement. Take our group admin as an example. He could ascend straight from the heavenly immortal realm to the peak stage of the golden immortal realm if his inner world has evolved into a small chiliocosm. All living things in the inner world would be born as the golden immortal. So can you imagine how vast his origin force will be? Besides, once his inner world evolves into the middle chiliocosm, it could bring him into the saint realm right away. At that time, nothing can stop him anymore. I tried to cultivate the world Tao, but I gave up right away after I learned about it. The resources needed to form a planar world or evolving a planar world to a small chiliocosm is tremendous, let alone evolving a small chiliocosm into a great chiliocosm. Even though our group admin has gotten a lot of items from us, I assume that those items can only bring his inner world to the peak of the small chiliocosm. If those items are given to any one of us, we will definitely be able to step into the quasi-sage realm.
That's why our group admin is a genius. I'm so jealous of him. Not only is he a genius, but even the Supreme Pagoda is helping him.
Yeah, you're right. Don't forget that he has mastered a powerful special ability that can fuse all 3,000 laws together. People always say that God is fair when he's creating us. But why is he giving all the good things to our group admin? This isn't fair at all.
Indeed, his special ability is powerful, and there's a chance that it's even stronger than my holy civilization fist.
If I can incorporate this special ability into my fist technique, my combat prowess will be improved by leap and bound to Ye Hengyi. I'm afraid your cultivation Tao is still inferior compared to our group admin's world Tao. After all, if there isn't a world, there will not be a civilization. Our group admin has fused the 3,000 fundamental laws that make up everything in the world. Putting aside its strength, no special ability can be compared to its when it comes to inclusivity. Although a special ability that incorporates all 3,000 laws is powerful, the 3,000 laws are the foundation of the world or the framework of the cycle of creation. If there is a foundation, then evolution, mutation, and so on will happen. There is one downside to his special ability. Every realm has its corresponding special ability. In other words, every time he ascends into the next realm, he has to start working on the special ability from scratch again. Even though he has the foundation and it doesn't take much effort, he still has to start working on it again and reintegrate it, and the difficulties will just keep increasing if I meet Karth. As for my holy civilization first, as long as I keep interpreting civilization, absorbing wisdom, and fusing all kinds of civilization, it will keep upgrading. In terms of potential and power, it isn't inferior to the group admin's special ability.
Thank you for the lesson. Most of the geniuses are born from human races.
Our group admin, Hongyi, Shu Yuji, and Wang Yi, all of them are humans and they're one more talented than the other.
Qi Fuji. By the way, I've come across a strange woman, and I wonder if any of you know her or not.
She's a Taiyi golden immortal, and she has defeated all great overarching she comes across. Even an expert who has just become a quasi-sage is no match for her. I've asked Buddha about her, and he told me that she's a visitor from beyond the sky. Her name is Yun Feiyan. He's your master, right?
Yeah, he's in the later stage of the quasi-sage realm. If he said she's a visitor from beyond the sky, it means she comes from another world. A visitor from beyond the sky, does this mean that she comes here through the chaos?
But no one can go through the chaos unharmed. I'm sure she must have someone backing her up, but why would he bring her to cross over the chaos and challenge all those great overarching? Is it because he's training her? But this doesn't seem right. If that's their only goal, they don't have to go through the chaos. After all, it has too much risk. Therefore, I can say that she comes from the Chaos Sea. If she really comes from there, maybe Hong Jian will know about her. None of us have been there before, so we don't know much about it. If she really can defeat a Kuei sage while she herself is a Taiyi, then she's truly powerful.
What kind of a place the Chaos Sea is?
Inside the Supreme Pagoda. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. After 10 seconds had passed, but it had been 100,000 years for Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming woke up from his cultivation and looked ahead blankly. An eternity in an instant, Jiang Ming lamented coldly. 100,000 years, huh? Jiang Ming mumbled. He unlocked his sealed memory, but he did not know why he felt those memories did not belong to him. He knew it was not a good feeling, but at the same time he felt it was normal. He closed his eyes and only opened his eyes again in another 1 hour. I almost have forgotten about my junior sister. Will I still be me if I forgot about her totally? But how could I forget about her? Jiang Ming rubbed the center of his forehead and came out of the Supreme Pagoda. On Shuyang Peak, Linglong was standing on the balcony looking into the distance. Suddenly, a bright light erupted and Jiang Ming appeared beside her. What? Linglong was shocked. Senior brother, you've only been gone for a while. Why are you back so soon? Linglong. Jiang Ming looked at her and frowned slightly. The sense of familiarity was returning to him, but it was slow. Linglong was stunned. When there were only the two of them, her senior sister would either call her girl or junior sister. He seldom called her with her name, and that stirred up a bad feeling inside of her. However, she also understood that this was the side effect of cultivating in seclusion for too long. He could barely remember his past, and he would slowly forget everything that happened between them. In the end, he would only immerse himself in the sea of Tao and cultivate. Come over here, Linglong said as she snapped her finger and sealed the courtyard. Her clones then came over. Their minds were connected, so they knew what Linglong wanted to do. Standing around Jiang Ming, they took off their shirts. Jiang Ming frowned, but he could feel a bolt of heat coursing through his nerves in his body. Girl, are you testing me? Jiang Ming asked and smiled. This is not testing. This is just our ordinary daily activity, Linglong chuckled. Linglong sped up the time. 1 day was equivalent to 100 days, and after half a day had passed, Jiang Ming laid on the rattan chair with his body shaking profusely. Linglong was lying next to him. Girl, you nearly killed me. Who told you to forget about me? If you can't recognize me, I'll make your body recognize me. Well, you did it. Hee hee. Senior brother, you told me that you're going to do it for 100,000 years, but you can't take it anymore after 70 or 80 years. I'm so disappointed. Disappointed? Jiang Ming hissed. Can you see that I'm bleeding? If I do it for 100,000 years, you're going to become a widow for the rest of your life. By the way, how can you be okay when I'm like this? How can I be fine? Can't you feel it? As both of them chatted, Jiang Ming slowly regained himself. Even though cultivation in seclusion for a long time can make one stronger, it can make one forget oneself gradually as well, Jiang Ming lamented. One might achieve enlightenment and turn into a Tao. Yeah, this is what all experts in the immortal realm have to go through. Once one get too immersed into cultivation, they might achieve enlightenment and turn into a Tao without realizing it. Linglong said in a serious manner, therefore, on the safe side, you should give yourself a deadline when you're cultivating in seclusion in the future. Don't worry, I will. I won't let the same thing happen to me again. That's great to hear. By the way, what have you achieved this time? Is it enough to go against Kunpeng? Linglong asked. Judging from his speed, he should arrive here anytime. Honestly, he did not have any confidence in defeating Kunpeng. After all, he was a quasi-sage as well as a divine beast from the legend. He had no idea how strong he was at all. That being said, Jiang Ming felt he should be able to hold him off after he had evolved his inner world to the small Chiliocosm final stage. In the meantime, Jiang Ming also noticed something. He felt that, regardless of improving the origin of the inner world or comprehending the golden immortal law, it was getting harder and harder toward the later stage. Especially the law. He could comprehend 1/3 of it in the first 10,000 years, but the next 2/3 took a whole 100,000 years. The good thing is that the result is pretty satisfactory. Jiang Ming's cultivation had reached its limit, and he had mastered most of his special abilities. Not only that, but he also had refined the 3 quasi-sage weapons such as mystical arcane halberd, 9-level golden pagoda, and Eye of Doom, and he could use them with practiced ease. He had done all the preparation, and he even had prepared for the worst-case scenario. I wonder what the flesh of a Kunpeng tastes like. Jiang Ming thought of Beiming Hai. He was Kunpeng as well, but unfortunately he had been crushed into smithereens by his junior sister. Let's destroy his soul, Jiang Ming said to his junior sister as he pointed at Beiming Hai, who was still wailing. Are you sure about that? Ling Long asked. If we keep his soul, we might be able to stall Kunpeng for some time. However, if we destroy his son's soul, considering his cultivation level as a quasi-sage, he will be able to pinpoint our location and come here straight away. Just do it, Jiang Ming said. Today is a good day to end both him and his father's reign once and for all. All right then. Ling Long flicked her finger. A streak of sword light flew out of her finger and decimated Beiming Hai's soul. In the deluge of time and space, Kunpeng, who was heading toward the Infinite Realms battlefield, was stunned. His face sank and an immense power erupted from his body. I can't believe that they have the nerves to destroy my son's soul. Damn it, unforgivable. Kunpeng's eyes turned bloodshot. I should be the one to destroy and consume him. How dare they kill my son? How dare they steal my food? I don't care who they are, I'm going to kill them all. He picked up his speed and headed beeline toward the Infinite Realms battlefield. On top of a mountain in the Infinite Realms battlefield, there was an old man sitting in a lotus position. He looked toward the Tianyuan Sea with a worried expression etching on his face. After that, he lifted his head and looked into the depths of time and space. The worried expression on his face grew deeper. He rose to his feet and took a step forward. Just when the thing in front of him started to twist out of shape, he hesitated and stopped. Perhaps this is a good opportunity. The old man sat back down and closed his eyes. In the heavenly court of the heavenly realm, the great heavenly Venerate was still sitting on his throne, looking over the universe like what he had done for the past several billions of years. There was a mirror hovering in front of him showing everything that was happening in the Tianyuan realm, or otherwise known as the Eastern region in the past. It was just that he couldn't see everything that was happening. Why are there so many secrets in such a tiny human world? Not to mention that it's on the verge of destruction, the great heavenly Venerate said. I can't see everything through my mirror at all. What? How is that possible? Star-Lord Taibai exclaimed. When he saw the mist over the Tianyuan realm on the mirror in front of the great heavenly Venerate, he thought he did not want to peer further. Little did he expect that it was because the great heavenly Venerate couldn't see through it. But how is that possible? The world monitoring mirror could see through everything across the universe. It could even break through some of the formations laid out by some big clans. So how was there any possibility it couldn't peer through a normal human world? Star-Lord Taibai did not know why, but he suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Your Majesty, could it be that he got his inheritance there? Star-Lord Taibai asked as he pointed. I guess so. Otherwise, I couldn't figure out other reasons why I can't peer through the world with the world monitoring mirror. The great heavenly Venerate said, Kunpeng has already left Northern Emperor Palace and is heading toward the Infinite Realms battlefield. If I'm not mistaken, his son should have been killed. Seriously? That boy really has killed his son. Star-Lord Taibai frowned. How bold. The Black Emperor is going to be mad. However, Your Majesty, there is one thing I don't understand. Considering the Black Emperor's cultivation level, he should have worked towards Saint Dao. Why would he give birth to a son and help him in his cultivation? Also, as far as I know about him, he could have guided Beiming Hai toward a right, but he did not. Instead, he doted on him and turned Beiming Hai into an arrogant young man. What is he up to? Even you also can't figure it out? The great heavenly Venerate smiled. I've given it a thought, but I dared not to think too much about it, Star-Lord Taibai said. Your Majesty, is he really going to do that? The Black Emperor had sustained a serious inner injury once, and he hasn't been able to recover from it since then. Therefore, he came up with an idea. The great heavenly Venerate said he's going to use his son to heal his injury. The reason he doted on him so much is that he wanted his son to grow up as soon as possible so that he could consume him when the time comes. He can deceive other people, but he can never deceive me. He's also a great monarch from ancient times, and he's notorious for his heartlessness and cruelty. He's willing to do anything if it could benefit him. How cruel! Star-Lord Taibai exclaimed. Your Majesty, will that person be able to hold him off? Does it matter? The great heavenly Venerate. It's the best if he can kill the Black Emperor. After all, the Black Emperor has been a nuisance to the heavenly court for a long while. However, if he can't get rid of the Black Emperor, it's fine as well as we'll be able to take a glimpse of the identity of the person behind him. Star-Lord Taibai lowered his head. If he could stop the Black Emperor, then he mumbled. An idea surfaced in his head as a bad feeling stirred his head. Chuyang Peak. Jiang Ming looked into the distance, and he noticed that there were another two beneficiaries from the Lord God who hadn't gotten into the Tianyuan realm yet. Both of them were extremely powerful, and he wondered if they had sensed something, so they decided not to come first. There were three beneficiaries from the Reincarnation Hall who hadn't entered the Tianyuan realm too. Interesting, Jiang Ming said. He turned around and looked toward the fifth immortal moon. She was in the process of breaking through, and she had become a lot more powerful than when she was here. The sun was getting low. The sky was dyed red and it looked rather eerie. The day was about to end. and most of the experts in the Infinite Realms battlefield felt uneasy. They had a feeling that something bad was about to happen. Here he comes. Jiang Ming grabbed his junior sister and looked into the sky. He is here? Linglong frowned. Senior brother, let me test him out first. Do you have a death wish? Jiang Ming said, just stay here. Remember, stay away from this battle. If not, I'll punish you when I get back later. Alright, Linglong replied with a pout. She understood that she was just going to drag Jiang Ming down if she joined the fight. If I can't defeat him, take everyone with you into the Mountain River map and go to the Land of Inheritance, Jiang Ming said. Then, you need to wait for at least a year before coming back. Senior brother, Linglong's expression changed. Jiang Ming grabbed her into his arms and landed a kiss on her forehead. This is the worst possible plan. Even if I can't defeat him, I have a way to escape so you don't have to worry about me. Alright, Linglong nodded. At this moment she blamed herself for being too weak. Her senior brother was going to fight against someone so strong, yet she couldn't help him at all. I have to work harder and try to get into the great overarching realm as soon as possible after this. If not, I won't sleep with my senior brother in the same room. Suddenly, a terrifying power emerged from the sky, causing everything on the land to cower in fear. Afterward, a man of a great stature and wearing a black robe appeared. His eyes were sharp as he looked at Jiang Ming and Linglong on Chuyang Peaks. You're the one who killed my son, right? Kunpeng asked, his voice booming. He was asking the question to Jiang Ming. After all, even though Linglong was powerful, she was just a Taiyi golden immortal. She might be able to fight on par with Beiming Hai, but she would never be able to kill him. However, he couldn't see through Jiang Ming's cultivation level. That's right, Jiang Ming replied. He patted his junior sister's arm and stepped out of the mountain. There was no way he could run away from this fight. Why do you want to kill him? Kunpeng asked. He wanted to kill me, so of course I have to kill him back, Jiang Ming replied. What a good reason, Kunpeng said, his voice cold. Then you shouldn't have any problem if I kill you today, right? Of course, Yang Ming replied as he summoned a halberd into his hand. It was the mystical arcane halberd, a quasi-sage weapon, and it was forged by the Black Emperor himself. Kunpeng squinted his eyes and asked, where is my son's body? I've crushed it, Jiang Ming replied without any hesitation. Since you have asked so many questions, may I ask you a few questions? Of course you can, Kunpeng laughed, but his smile did not reach his eyes. Jiang Ming summoned the Human Paths record. It was hovering next to Jiang Ming, and he heaved out a sigh of relief when he realized that the Human Paths record was invisible to Kunpeng. He became even more curious about this wonderful item. It was just that he still couldn't see through it until now. He put the thought to the back of his mind and looked at Kunpeng's status. When Jiang Ming saw that their relationship was -99, he shook his head inwardly. It seemed to him that there was no way he could talk him out of this. Besides, he saw nothing special about his status. He just wanted to kill him in the most gruesome way and then eliminate every living being on this land to vent his anger. Why are you called the Black Emperor? Jiang Ming asked. As far as I know, other than the Heavenly Emperor, there are 4 other emperors in the Heavenly Court. They are the Eastern Emperor, the Southern Emperor, the Western Emperor, and the Northern Emperor, which is you. I can understand why you're called the Northern Emperor, but why the Black Emperor though? Simple. The North represents water, while black means virtue for water. I was born in the land of the North where the mythical Black Sea is. I take the mythical Black Sea as my mother, so I named myself as the Black Emperor, Kunpeng replied patiently. He had a feeling that something was strange about this place. He couldn't tell what was strange about it, but it was completely different from the world outside. It seemed like it was a forbidden land. It seemed like it was a forbidden land where a great power lay dormant, waiting for the right moment to unleash its wrath. Really? But why did I hear that you're called the Black Emperor because your body is black in color? Jiang Ming smiled. Also, there is another way of saying that you're called the Black Emperor because you have a black heart. Is that correct? The corner of Kunpeng's lips lifted as murderous intent shot out from his eyes. Any last word? Last word? No. I think you still don't get it yet. I'm not the one who's going to die today, you are. So, let me ask you again. Do you have any last word? Jiang Ming said, do you know what Beiming Hai said before he died? Kunpeng frowned, but he did not say anything. He said that his coming into existence was a mistake. It's a conspiracy, Yang Ming said, his voice low. You're a quasi-sage expert. You should be working toward the Saint Tao instead of having a descendant, but you still did it. Why? After he was born, you doted on him and made him into a cruel, arrogant young man who only knows how to take from other people. You, on the other hand, are just helping him to clean up his mess, and you didn't have the slightest intention of correcting his behavior. Beiming Hai said he thought the reason you're letting him do whatever he wants is that you're one of the few strongest experts in the universe and you have no one to fear. However, later he found out that it's not the case at all. The reason you nurtured him is that you want him to grow up as soon as possible. After he has stepped into the great overarching realm, you'd consume him to heal your own injuries. Is that correct, Kunpeng? You're not a father. You're the vilest creature in the world. Jiang Ming snarled. Kunpeng's eyes grew wide in shock, and he was surprised that his son had known about his plan all along. His eyes turned glassy. Although he had his own agenda for raising Beiming Hai, he was still his son and he actually cared for him. When the day came, he would give his son a painless death. He wouldn't make him suffer and he wouldn't let him know about his plan. He even had planned to bring a few great overarching golden immortal beauties for his son that his son couldn't get his hands on. He would let his son spend his final time in euphoria when he was ready to act. However, his son knew his plan all along. He knew that his father was going to kill him. No, going to devour him. Kunpeng couldn't imagine how painful and disappointing his son was when he learned the truth. Kunpeng's heart trembled. He fell into a trance, and Jiang Ming's eyes glowed as he saw his chance. The reason he was telling him all this was to distract him. Saint Province Dao Square, confine. Worldly projection, bind. 10 clones, time and space confinement. Return of infinite law finger. Jiang Ming unleashed a ton of special abilities at Kunpeng at a short amount of time. The power of the Saint Province Dao Square landed on Kunpeng, causing his body to let out a cracking sound as if it was going to explode. In the next second, the worldly projection appeared. A chest plate appeared around Kunpeng, sealing his movement. 10 clones showed up and chanted the time and space confinement at the same time. With the combined effort of the Saint Province Dao Square, the worldly projection, the time and space confinement, Jiang Ming was confident that he could hold Kunpeng down. In the meantime, the mystical arcane halberd in his hand gave out a brilliant light that seemed to be able to destroy everything in its path. He then turned the point of the halberd at the center of Kunpeng's eyebrows. A light shot out from the tip of the halberd and darted straight toward the center of his forehead. Jiang Ming was using the mystical arcane halberd to activate the return of infinite law finger. This was something he had comprehended in the Supreme Pagoda. After combining with the immortal weapon, it further amplified the power of the special ability to a shocking degree. Oh no, Kunpeng was still a quasi-sage great monarch. Even though he was distracted, he soon came around to his senses and reacted quickly. However, the restriction and confinement on his body caused his expression to change. Who is he? How can he unleash such a powerful attack? While he was surprised at Jiang Ming's strength, he unleashed a power that was equal to an explosion of 1,000,000 atomic bombs. His body trembled, but he was not able to break himself free. At this moment, the point of the mystical arcane halberd had arrived in front of his forehead. Bam! For a moment, an immense power exploded and nearly crushed Kunpeng's head. The mystical arcane halberd was still releasing its power. At this moment, Kunpeng's head couldn't handle the power anymore and burst into a mist of blood. There were also cracks appearing on his body, looking as if his entire being was going to explode. Slice! Kunpeng shouted desperately and his body was split into 2 parts. He sacrificed one part to block the attack of the mystical arcane halberd while forming a palace to protect himself with another part. He flipped his hand and a jade amulet appeared in his palm. He activated the jade amulet and a sword energy shot up into the sky, breaking through the confinement of the Saint Province Dao Square while charging straight at Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming's face paled when he saw the sword energy. After all, the power unleashed by the Saint Province Dao Square was 100 times stronger than his own strength. Yet it was still unable to stop Kunpeng. I can't stop this attack, Jiang Ming said as his face sank. Initially, he thought that since was able to slay a great overarching since he was in the mystical immortal realm, he should be able to fight against Kunpeng after he had entered the golden immortal realm. However, things like this happened and he found it hard to accept. He couldn't avoid the attack. If not, the entire Tianyuan realm would be destroyed. Supreme Order, Jiang Ming shouted. 10,000 points disappeared and a thin layer of mystical yellow barrier appeared around him. This was a special feature of being the group admin. He could spend 10,000 points to receive a blessing from the Supreme to guard against an attack. However, to be on the safe side, he activated the Human Path's record, bringing it on top of his head. The sword energy landed and crushed everything in its wake. However, it did not break through Jiang Ming's barrier. Seeing his chance, Jiang Ming immediately covered the Tianyuan realm with the Saint Province Dao Square. This is impossible, Kunpeng shouted, his voice filled with fear. Seizing the opportunity while the power of the Saint Province Dao Square was destroyed by sword energy, he turned around and fled from the Tianyuan realm. Try to run? Jiang Ming's eyes glowed with a murderous intent. He was nearly killed in the battle. Had it not been for the Supreme Order, he would have been dead by now. Swoosh! He flipped open the Human Path's record, and his eyes lit up when he saw Kunpeng's status. Hee, it's time to end your life, old thing, Jiang Ming said as he rushed toward Kunpeng's direction. In the antechamber of the Heavenly Court, the great Heavenly Venerate was still looking at the world monitoring mirror. When Kunpeng arrived at the Infinite Realms battlefield, an excited expression hopped onto his face. I have a feeling. I think that the Northern Emperor won't be able to get what he wants from this fight, he said. Your Majesty, you're the Lord of all universes. You govern over 1 billion sentient beings and man the boundary of the universe. You can communicate with everything in the universe and you can predict the future, Star-Lord Taibai said reverently. Since you've said that, then the Northern Emperor would certainly not be able to get what he wants. You're still such a smooth talker, the great Heavenly Venerate said with a chuckle. Your Majesty, you know me very well, so you should know that I'm an honest person. I'll never tell lies, Star-Lord Taibai replied. The great heavenly Venerate nodded. Then, both of them turned their heads and looked at the world monitoring mirror. However, they couldn't see anything once Kunpeng went into the Tianyuan realm. This place, the great heavenly Venerate frowned. Could it be that the previous heavenly court has left a formation for them? The sage transformation formation. The great heavenly Venerate mumbled. Something he has inherited. I guess you're right. A strange light flitted across his eyes. In the next second, they saw immediately afterward they saw in the world monitoring mirror that the clouds above the Tianyuan realm suddenly swirled, and then a sword energy appeared from within. The sword energy tore the sky asunder and pierced through the depths of time and space. Even though it was just a flitting second, the great heavenly Venerate saw it clearly with his eyes and his expression changed. He jerked up from his throne and said, "That's the power of a hemisage. Is it him or him? If it's him, then the Northern Emperor would be a goner. If it's not him, then that place would be even more terrifying than we originally thought." Star-Lord Taibai's expression changed as well. Hold on for a second, Your Majesty. Something isn't right. The Northern Emperor has yet activated his authority as the Emperor of the North. Interesting. This is interesting. The smile on the great heavenly Venerate's face was fading as he slowly took his seat. Then, he saw Kunpeng running out of the Tianyuan realm. This is getting even more interesting. The great heavenly Venerate squinted his eyes and his voice was cold. What? Star-Lord Taibai was stunned. Is the Northern Emperor running away? But he was the one who unleashed that sword energy, so why? He paused for a moment, pressed his lips tightly, and he felt raw in his throat. There are three conclusions we can make. First, the Northern Emperor has somehow gotten an opportunity that allows him to unleash sword energy with the power of a demi-sage, but he failed to cut down the man from the human world. Second, the Northern Emperor couldn't activate his authority as the Emperor of the North in that area. Third, the man from the human world possesses a power that surpasses a quasi-sage, but this is strange. If he really is that strong, how would his world get destroyed by some demon lords and get pulled to the Infinite Realms battlefield by an immortal lord with a great overarching immortal weapon? One thing I can be certain of is that the man from the human world hasn't achieved the great overarching realm yet. Therefore, there's only one possibility. The great heavenly Venerate said, "This human world is special. It's more special than any we have seen before. Maybe, let's keep watching," the great heavenly Venerate said. The Infinite Realms battlefield, on top of Quyang Peak. Linglong was both excited and shocked as she looked at the battle between Jiang Ming and Kunpeng. She was excited because her senior brother was able to severely wound Kunpeng, while she was shocked because Kunpeng was still able to run away in that condition. She knew the Tianyuan realm was special. It was enveloped in a very strange power, and once Kunpeng left this place, would her senior brother still be able to kill him? Even though she was anxious, there was nothing she could do about it. She clenched her fist tightly and sighed. Meanwhile, the reason Jiang Ming chased after Kunpeng without any hesitation was that he had seen his status. Name Beiming Kunpeng. Race demon. Gender male. Cultivation base. Quasi-sage realm. Severely weakened after cutting himself into half. Background: the Northern Emperor of the Honggu Heavenly Realm, or otherwise known as the Black Emperor. Relationship: -99. Innate talent: quasi-sage. Status: while he was in seclusion, he sensed that his beloved son was in danger, so he came out of his seclusion and rushed toward the Infinite Realms battlefield, hoping that he could save him. When he was traveling in the depths of time and space, he felt a pang of pain in the heart and he was shocked. His son was dead. He was furious when he found out that someone had killed his son, and he swore to himself that he was going to kill the murderer even if he was the great heavenly Venerate himself. After he had arrived in the Infinite Realms battlefield, he traced his son and came to a place. When he arrived there, he found out that all of the inhabitants were humans. He felt they were weak and he had the urge to devour them all. It was just that there was one thing he did not understand. He did not know how they managed to survive since their world was on the verge of destruction. However, upon a second thought, he felt that they must be protected by the one who killed his son. He decided to wipe out all of them to avenge his son. Afterward, two people appeared in his vision. One of them was a man, while another was a woman. The woman was in the Tai realm, and although she was strong, he doubted she could kill his son. Therefore, he turned his target to the man who he couldn't see through. At the same time, he felt something was strange about the place, but he shoved aside the feeling as he felt that nobody in this universe could harm him. A smirk appeared on his face when the man walked toward him, and his anger began to grow. When the man told him that his son knew he was going to eat him in the future to heal himself, he was shocked. He couldn't imagine how sad and disappointing his son was when he learned the truth. While he was distracted, the man unleashed his special abilities on him, sealing and restricting his movement. He tried to break free from it, yet he couldn't do it, and had it not been for the mystical arcane blue water flag inside of him, he might not even be able to move his finger. He realized that the power that restricted his movements was not a formation at all, and he was furious when he saw the man attack him with the mystical arcane halberd he forged for his beloved son. He tried to guard himself with the mystical arcane blue water flag, but to no avail. His body was nearly crushed, his primal spirit was on the verge of destruction, and his origin was injured once again. He was a Kunpeng, that meant he could turn into a rock to fly in the sky or a kraken to swim in the sea. In the end, he decided to discard his kraken side and shifted all his injury to that side. After he had split his kraken side from himself, he had become severely weakened and he could barely keep himself in the quasi-sage realm. He had always heard that sons would bring nothing but troubles to their father. Initially, he did not believe it, but he never expected that something like this would happen to him one day. In order to break himself free from the confinement, he offered up his Northern Emperor Palace. Although he could move for a bit right now, he still couldn't completely break himself free from the confinement that came straight at him from different directions. He could not use his authority as the Northern King, and he had severed himself into half. Not only that, but he couldn't use the Northern Emperor Palace as well. Leaving with no other options, he had to resort to his trump card. The reason he did not use it earlier was that the man was attacking him too fast and he was too close to him. If he used his trump card, he might get engulfed in the attack as well. A long time ago, his senior brother had followed the tutelage of a Saint Lord and he had ascended into the demi-sage realm. After he left with the Saint Lord, he gave him the mystical arcane blue water flag and a one-time use ultimate attack. Right now, his mystical arcane blue water flag was damaged and it would take some time before it could be used again. Therefore, he could only use the ultimate attack. The attack was equivalent to the attack of a demi-sage, and no one except for the Saint Lord could defend against it. However, the young man emerged unscathed, and he felt this must be the end for him. He was certain that the man could not defend against the ultimate attack, so he figured that it must be the layer of barrier around the young man that saved his life. It seemed to him that the young man must have a lot of secrets on him. Fortunately, the sword energy from the ultimate attack had shattered the power that confined him, so he hastily ran away. When he arrived above the sea, he could sense a stellar force and he felt it weird. When he noticed that the young man was coming after him, he wondered if the young man was just trying to scare him or if he really had the confidence that he could kill him. These were the information Jiang Ming got from Kunpeng's status, and most of them were rather useful to him. Kunpeng had severed his kraken self. His origin was severely damaged and this was the best opportunity to cut him down. Besides, Kunpeng had a senior brother. He was under the tutelage of a Saint Lord and he was in the demi-sage realm. Demi-sage was equivalent to the hemi-sage. They were terrifying beings who were very close to the sage realm. However, his senior brother had already left the Honggu world. Kunpeng stopped and went to stand on top of the North Emperor Palace. The palace has been transformed into hundreds of feet wide, emitting waves after waves of halo covering the whole 1,000 miles. At the same time, starlights were led down onto the lands, seemingly turning the night into daytime. Kunpeng stood atop of it as though he was the Lord of the Stars. Jiang Ming stopped outside the aperture, feeling a little inexplicably uneasy. The halberd in his hand started to turn as the rays of light spewed out. His killing intent was slowly condensing. You deserve to die. Kunpeng stared at Jiang Ming with flames burning directly in his eyes. He then looked behind Jiang Ming and sneered, "There is no imprisoning force here. I guess the suppression on me just now can only be done on the inside, am I right?" Although it was a question, he was extremely certain of it. "It doesn't matter whether you're right or not. You are going to die today." Jiang Ming's voice was cold, but his feeling of anxiety was even stronger. Just as he was about to return to the Tianyun realm, he discovered numerous amounts of starlight that appeared around him, surrounding him within. Amidst the twinkling of the stars, he realized he had actually returned back to the place he stood just now. What kind of power is this? Jiang Ming was surprised. He felt a heavenly power from it. The real power of heavens, almighty as it was, suppressing anything and everything. It had total control of life and death to all beings, yet giving off an illusory feeling to others. This is the great emperor's authority. Kunpeng raised his finger and pointed to the sky. Heavenly court can suppress all things, communicate with the power of the universe's origin, hold total authority and render all to submit to it. As the northern emperor of the heavenly court, I naturally have the corresponding power. This is the emperor's infinite might. I never thought that I would need to use such power to kill you. He also lamented in his heart that it was a shame that he was thrown off guard. He could not do anything about it, but his killing intent towards Jiang Ming became unprecedentedly strong. The great emperor's authority. Jiang Ming's heartbeat rose fiercely. He thought of an external force that cannot be quoted stated in Kunpeng's status. It must be referring to the great emperor's authority. It was blocked off by the Saint Province Dao Square when they were in Tianyun World. However, it seemed that the power could be used here. God damn it, shouldn't this be another way around? Damn. Jiang Ming felt as though he was about to vomit blood. Yes, it is the great emperor's authority. I will kill you today, and then kill all the creatures of the land where you came from. Kunpeng's tone was calm, yet what he just said was something extremely brutal. 7 stars formation array, out. The North Emperor Palace vibrated slightly under his feet, and the surrounding aperture instantly expanded, covering 1,000,000 miles. Starlight filled the air as a killer catastrophe was slowly brewing. Jiang Ming discovered the 7 figures who flew out from the palace at Kunpeng's feet, and in a flash they merged into the endless starlight, turned into a 7 stars formation array, and disappeared without a trace. They are all of the great overarching realm. With a glance, he locked onto the 7 strong experts and their information manifested in the human path record. One of them was at the pinnacle, 3 in their late stage, and the other 3 in their middle stage of the great overarching realm. They were all Kunpeng's underlings. 7 stars formation array, where 7 great overarching experts gather together to mobilize the power of the ancient stars, coupled with the authority of the universe, so that their power can almost enter the quasi-sage realm. Jiang Ming had an even horrible look on his face because he realized that he had underestimated Kunpeng. He thought that with his ability to cut down geniuses who were in the pinnacle of the great overarching realm in the Supreme Pagoda, he could also deal with an ordinary quasi-sage expert. After all, the geniuses who were in the pinnacle of the great overarching realm in the Supreme Pagoda all possessed the power to challenge even the quasi-sage experts. However, he had forgotten that there was no multiplier of strength through the Tao vessel in the Supreme Pagoda. Also, there was no universe authority, no help from any subordinates, nor the power of array formations as support. I'm still a little too arrogant after all. I thought that with the system, the human path record, the supreme order, the Saint Province Tao Square, and the world's Tao, I can run amok in the world without any worries. Guess I'm meeting my maker this time. No, not yet. Jiang Ming calmed himself down. In a blink of an eye, thousands of thoughts ran through his mind. His surroundings were filled with the endless starry sky which had evolved into a sea of stars. There was no sense of direction, for there were only starlight in the vast open space. Right this very moment, the starlight condensed and turned into a 1,000 feet tall silhouette that came down the place with just a single palm. It felt as though it could hold thousands of stars and destroy all things. Its intensity and ferocity truly showed its unparalleled power. Jiang Ming's figure swayed and turned into a 400 feet tall figure. His firm muscles and his turbulent aura made him a lot stronger. With the back of his hand, he swatted and shattered the silhouette's palm. Jiang Ming himself was also flung thousands of miles away from the impact. Before he could stand still and recover from the exchange, a punch appeared from behind, aiming for the back of the heart. The punch was as strong as it could even blow up the galaxy. A ray of light exploded from Jiang Ming's back as he evoked the Great Millennium Technique, wanting to imprison this punch with the law of time. However, the punch merely paused for a brief moment before shattering the time and space, sending Jiang Ming tumbling back. Immediately afterwards, a sword light appeared, with its might as if it could split even the sky. His hair stood on end, but he still chose to put away the quasi-sage mystical arcane Halberd because it was difficult to use. Therefore, it would make him suffer losses easier while confronting a far stronger enemy. Unlimited killing punch. Jiang Ming revealed his punch technique and went to counteract the attack that appeared. Meanwhile, he was protecting himself with the power of his inner world, guarding his sea of consciousness with the human path record, and preparing to evoke the supreme order at any time. Jiang Ming put down everything and prepared to fight to his heart's content. After all, this was not the same as fighting in the battle tower. He evoked the various killing techniques in his refined infinite killing fists such as Sky Dawn, Ground Shattering Strike, Heaven and Earth Attack, Starburst Strike, Shockwave Blow, Exterminate Punch, Inch Strength 1000 Punch, and etc. But he was still being suppressed and beaten down, and bloodstains were all over his body. Fortunately for him, his physical body was strong enough, and he was guarded by his inner world, so he could still hold on for a while. However, if this went on, he would be subdued sooner or later. As his movement changed, so did his punching techniques. Jiang Ming's next punch created a picture of the ancient civilization where the ancestors fought against heaven and earth, the beasts and the insects, struggling for their survival. The flames of civilization were finally ignited where they went on with bloodshed and farming with their backs straightened. One step after another, they grew with their head held high in the sky and their feet planted firmly on the lands, trampling the bugs and crushing the wild beasts. They went on to trample down on all the beings that were once a threat to their survival. Between the cycles of images, there seemed to be thousands of figures that were from the ancient times up to the present. A recitation formed from the embodiment of the unyielding spiritual will of the human race constantly echoed through. A person should correspond to the strength and vigor of the heavens to strive for progress with great fortitude and perseverance. A person should correspond to the solidness and humbleness of the earth, improving one's virtue to be able to accept anything and everything. Jiang Ming's punch portrayed an unyielding will. Boom! He blasted a Star Master that was holding a divine sword in his hand, returning him into the starry sky. That was not the real body, but the battle body deduced by the formation array, which was endless. As long as the power of the formation array did not disappear, these battle bodies will continue to emerge. However, this formation array seemed to be able to mobilize the power of the ancient stars and was blessed by the authority of the universe, rendering it an endless supply of power and can almost run indefinitely. This was also the terrifying aspect of this formation. Jiang Ming's boxing technique were revealed as he continued his onslaught. This time, however, they were almost evenly matched. As expected of Hong Yi, the enlightened holy civilization fist is really terrifying. Jiang Ming was amazed. On the outside, Kunpeng was still standing on the North Emperor Palace. What looked like bright starlight in front of him was actually turned and twisted into a formation space on the inside. What kind of punching technique is this? It has the silhouette of the holy Tao and is terrifyingly horrifying. He could see the inside of the big formation, and while frowning he shouted, "Stop playing around already, go forth to kill him." "Yes, great emperor." The 7 voices spoke in unison. A figure walked out from the starlight within the large formation array. It was none other than Star Master Tian Quan. He aimed at Yang Ming's head and slashed down on him. In that very instant, the surrounding area became stagnant in time and Jiang Ming was suffocated by the suppressive power coming from all directions. The space was frozen solid and the power of laws had stopped its cycle. This blow, Jiang Ming's eyebrows twitched. According to the situation stated in the Human Path record, he discovered that this phenomena was because all 7 Star Masters had fused their power into one of them, allowing the single person to erupt with the strongest power yet. Along with the blessing of the array formation, this technique could also divert the attacks received and allow the person to maintain himself at his peak constantly through the constant cycle of power. Even a quasi-sage expert could be grinded to death. "I am the master of civilization." Jiang Ming also launched his strongest punch yet, condensing all the power of civilization together, turning it into a throne, sitting on it, and overruling all civilizations. With the punch, civilization turned into power, strong and unyielding, smashing through laws, suppressing the present, and granting him a sense of invincibility. Even so, Jiang Ming was still blown away from the slash. A scar appeared on his fist, as fresh blood could be seen trickling down. "If it's a head-on confrontation, I'm not an opponent of a quasi-sage expert at all," Jiang Ming frowned. Right this very moment, Star Master Tian Quan took a step forward, instantly arriving in front of him and followed up with yet another slash. The moment the sword slash was delivered, the attack cut through time and space, cutting off all the powers of law. With another hard blow onto Jiang Ming, he was knocked back into the distance again. His arms trembled and his ki and blood were in shambles. "One more blow and my arm will surely be shattered." Jiang Ming became calmer and calmer, because he knew he couldn't let it go on like that. The light from the sword slash was condensing once again, not giving him any chances to think at all. It was also at that instant that 2 clones appeared next to Jiang Ming, both evoking the space and time confinement technique towards the Star Master Tian Quan at the same time. However, just as the luminance from the technique had just bloomed, and hadn't even locked onto the time-space, it was shattered completely by 2 rays of light that appeared out of thin air. Even his clones also vanished at the same time. "Do you think that repeating using the same special ability would still be of use?" Kunpeng's voice reverberated. "You are indeed not an ordinary person. You've yet to step into the great overarching realm, but still possess the capability to burst out powers comparable to a quasi-sage. This is just incredible." Jiang Ming no longer had the heart to be surprised, as a 9-level golden pagoda appeared above his head, blocked off the sword luminance, but the exchange still sent him retreating again. The sword luminance burst out, forming into a galaxy. It was apparent that Kunpeng was not giving him any chances at all. "You old bird, do you really think you've got me?" Jiang Ming's voice suddenly rang. He turned his eyes, locked onto the sword luminance, and a bell could be seen flying out at Kunpeng's direction. It was the great overarching Tao vessel, Heaven's Annihilation Bell given by the system. "Detonate!" Jiang Ming knew that this bell could not stop the sword luminance at all, and hence he evoked yet another kind of special ability called the Sacrificial Artifact Judgment. The technique detonated the origins of the Heaven's Annihilation Bell, turned it into a monstrous torrent, and coupled with the ability of the Heaven's Annihilation Bell sweeping through all directions. All the power of the great overarching Tao vessel came to a boil and exploded in an instant, emitting a terrifying power. The power made the starry sky collapse. The sword luminance disintegrated, disrupted the great formation array as if it was about to explode. Star Master Tian Quan, who stood in front of Jiang Ming, had his face turned pale, and was about to withstand the power explosion. However, when he heard the bell rang, he couldn't help but become numb for a mere second. Thump. The last bell rang after the ultimate sublimation of heaven's annihilation bell, shocked the primal spirits and annihilated the souls. Even Star Master Tian Quan was greatly affected at that time as his primal spirit turned dim. It was also at this very moment that Jiang Ming's finger pierced through the center of his forehead, completely destroying his primal spirit. The great formation array became twisted before collapsing suddenly. "Every one of you, die!" Jiang Ming roared and evoked the special ability that he had been brewing for a long while. Sacrificial Artifact Judgment. After successfully mastering, it could trigger the refined artifact's origin and create an outburst of all its power instantly. There were 7 levels in total, where the first level could detonate the power of a heavenly immortal weapon, and when the 7th level was reached, it could detonate the power of a quasi-sage level Dao vessel. However, the difficulty of cultivating this technique was difficult beyond imagination. This was the strange forbidden method he exchanged from Huang Quan among the group of friends in the Supreme Tower. According to him, it took 100 years for an ordinary genius to cultivate the technique up to the first level. Every time you increase by 1 level, the time required to ascend to the next level would be increased by 100 times. Upon getting his hands on the technique, Jiang Ming spent hundreds of points on the Lotus platform in the Dao Enlightenment Sea before he could cultivate this technique to the 6th level. As for the 7th floor, he was still clueless of it even after he spent 10 points. Nevertheless, Jiang Ming knew that it was not because he could not, but because his cultivation realm was too low. That was what was restraining him. With no other options left, Jiang Ming had no choice but to evoke this technique and sacrifice the Heaven's Annihilation Bell. The destructive storm formed might even shred a quasi-sage to pieces. After all, the great overarching Dao vessel was equivalent to a great overarching realm expert. Hence, it could produce truly terrifying power if it self-destructs. The Star Master Tian Quan's power was an accumulation of the 7 great overarching golden immortal experts, blessed by the great formation array, and even had the authority of the universe. Even so, his physical body was still bombarded into pieces. As the last bell rang, his primal spirit was almost destroyed and the grand array formation stopped its cycle. Jiang Ming took this opportunity to land the killing blow, and the Great Array formation collapsed right after. The destructive storm coupled with the backlash caused all 6 great overarching golden immortal experts to spat out mouthfuls of blood, and their lifeline instantly dropped to freezing point. Jiang Ming was already prepared for this. 6 vital essences flew out of his body and formed 6 clones of himself. At the same time, he exhausted all of his strength to evoke the return of infinite law finger technique at an extremely fast pace. He directly pierced the eyebrows of the 6 great overarching golden immortals, completely annihilating their primal spirits. Under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible for him to kill a great overarching golden immortal expert by only relying on his clones. However, at this time around, the death of Star Master Tian Quan's main body, the backlash of the Great Formation Array, and the aftermath of the Heavenly Annihilation Bell caused them to lose their resistance for a brief moment. As the 6 great overarching golden immortals died instantly, Jiang Ming's clones also collapsed and the 6 strands of vital essences returned and merged back into his body. Jiang Ming followed suit by launching his attack at Kunpeng. Golden Immortal Shield, God-Slaying Silver Spear, Sacrificial Artifact Judgment, Detonate. Jiang Ming took out 2 more great overarching Dao vessels, which were the trophies he obtained from beheading the beneficiaries of the Lord God's space. These Dao vessels were already refined in the Supreme Pagoda, and now they had become his terrifying ultimate moves. Jiang Ming's face turned pale instantly. Detonating the Dao vessels also destroyed his imprints inside them. This was the price of using the Sacrificial Artifact Judgment technique, but Jiang Ming didn't mind much about it. He had his inner world, which allowed him to quickly mend the damage to his primal spirit. Moreover, he practiced the great spiritual technique, etc. As long as his primal spirit was not damaged fundamentally, it was not a problem for him at all. Little brute. Kunpeng was shocked at first, then turned furious. However, he also knew the horror of this technique of Jiang Ming's, and his body turned into his original form in a flash. No, it was half of his original form, a great rock. Spreading his wings 1,000,000 miles long, the power akin to the explosion of hundreds of millions of stars surged out in an instant. At the same time, his mystical arcane blue water flag also appeared under him. Jiang Ming sent out the explosive force from the outburst of the 2 great overarching Dao vessels. It collapsed the sky, overturned the seas as an endless aura of destruction filled the air across tens and millions of miles away, killing an unknown number of creatures. Because the Tianyuan world was protected by the Saint Province Dao Square, it remained safe from this wave of destructive storms. The stability of the Infinite Realm battlefield was so strong, and even so, black holes were torn across the space, as the oscillating mystical arcane blue water flag whimpered and returned back into Kunpeng's body. Right after the destructive power swept across the field, a large number of feathers were falling from the skies. Kunpeng opened his beak and spewed out a blood-colored river with a length of 3,000 miles. The very next moment, his figure disappeared, escaping into the distance at an extremely fast speed. Jiang Ming narrowed his eyes and his heart was beating wildly. He evoked the world projection instantly. He saw a huge rock bird appearing in front of him and after a brief pause sent itself hurling over as quick as lightning and as furious as the thunder, faster than anyone could react. The mystical arcane halberd appeared in Jiang Ming's hand as he slashed onwards. Dang! A screeching sound of metal clashing could be heard from his huge claws against the halberd, erupting sparks that burned into a sea of fire. Jiang Ming was sent back from the explosive force. Immediately after, Kunpeng's beak opened and was about to evoke the power of devouring. As he wanted to swallow Jiang Ming whole, he remembered Jiang Ming's strange technique just now, and he quickly closed his beak and pecked him. Attacking quickly and furiously, the sharpness of his beak was not weaker than any other great overarching Tao vessels. Jiang Ming raised the great halberd to fend off his attack, but saw the beak making a turn and was coming straight between his brows. This bird's head actually make turns? He almost spewed vulgar words. With a thought, the 9-level golden pagoda, a quasi-sage Tao vessel, appeared on top of his head, but it was immediately scattered by a blow of immortal light and sent back at him. Jiang Ming retreated yet again. Even at his weakest stage, this Kunpeng is still extraordinarily tough to fight with. Confinement! Jiang Ming ran through his thoughts and muttered the word. The world projection turned into a substantial existence, and the laws were manifested, turned into chains that ran through the void crisscrossing, ultimately forming a huge chessboard that incorporated Kunpeng into it. The chains vibrated and some sort of heavy force started to act on it, turning it into an invisible cage. This was a confinement technique that utilized the power of the whole inner world of his. At the same time, 10 clones of Jiang Ming appeared in all directions. They were directly condensed and scattered with the power of world's projection. As soon as they appeared, they evoked the power of time and space, creating 10 seals again. This technique that Jiang Ming thought of really caught people off guard. Jiang Ming himself raised the mystical arcane halberd and mobilized all the energy in his body. Right when this happened, Jiang Ming saw Kunpeng's incomparably huge real body shrunk and turned back into his human body. The chains of law paused slightly, and there was a gap in the time-space confinement technique that came at him. With the heavenly court above, I am the Northern Emperor, wielder of the authority of heaven and earth. Heed my call and descend. Invincibility, he howled while he raised his hand. In an instant, Jiang Ming saw the stars in the depths of time and space flickering with stars, and a force seemed to be traveling through time and space, directly descending on Kunpeng. It broke the chains of law at the same time and also happened to fall on the tenfold time and space confinement technique. Boom year di ruhan forji of bronze day yi gi years. Nevertheless, the torrent that was set off from the explosion swept through all directions once again. The outburst evaporated almost all the seawater in the Tianyuan Sea, and affected and perished numerous spectators nearby. This was clearly the exchange of blows between quasi-sage-leveled powers. Jiang Ming did not hesitate and went with his next attack, Return of Infinite Law Finger. This time, however, he used the mystical arcane halberd as the carrier to strike this peerless blow. A little light bloomed at the tip of the halberd, destroying the heavens and drowning the starry sky. This ray of light was brighter than any starlight there was. That's not good. Kunpeng knew the horror of this attack of Jiang Ming's, but was too late to avoid it. Putting aside the suppression of the world projection that turned into a chessboard, just the contest between his power of authority and Jiang Ming's confinement technique made him lose his speed advantage. Heavenly Water Shield. Appear. Mythical Dark Sword, slash. Kunpeng opened his mouth and spat out a shield that became larger against the wind, emitting 36 rays of light to block off the attack in front of him. This was a great overarching peak-level Tao vessel with invincible defensive capability. At the palm of his hand, a blue long sword appeared. This was his offensive Tao vessel of a quasi-sage realm, and could be said to be a treasure for walking on the path of Tao. Boom. Crack. The very next moment, all the rays of light emitted by the heavenly water shield were completely annihilated. Even this large, great, overarching Tao vessel was pierced by the tip of the mythical arcane halberd and shattered into 9 pieces, falling all around. The great mythical arcane halberd didn't stop there and kept on colliding onto the attack from the mythical dark sword. As the pinpoint attack collided against the blinding light, the collision sparked a blinding ray of light that illuminated through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Immediately, a destructive storm flew above the sky and was sent directly into the depths of the torrent of time and space, penetrating through thousands of miles away. The 2 people who collided were also sent flying back at the same time. Jiang Ming's face had turned pale and his breath dropped to freezing point. He suddenly took in a deep breath and his aura rose back to its peak in an instant. The battle with Kunpeng was too power-consuming. Fortunately, he was fully prepared for this battle. In his inner world, he had already refined and stored a lot of origin energy, enough for him to fight with all his strength for a month. Kunpeng, die. Jiang Ming's eyes narrowed like strips of blades. The ultimate move he prepared appeared yet again. As for Kunpeng, he opened his mouth and spat out blood again while flying backwards from the exchange. This exchange of blows had caused his injury that had been suppressed all along to resurface. It made his face turn even uglier as his aura became unsteady. He knew his body wasn't well now and couldn't continue fighting. Just as he was about to escape, he discovered that the surrounding area was still sealed off by layers and layers of chains of Tao, confining him within. To Kunpeng, such confinement was nothing and could be broken easily, though this would still take time, even if it was a very short time. It was at this moment great overarching weapons appeared in all 4 directions simultaneously, and they were within 1,000 meters of him in a flash. Fuck! Kunpeng's pupils shrank, and a feeling of death loomed over him. Great Astral, the authority of the Northern Emperor, come to me! He let out a roar from his very soul. The very next moment, a destructive ray of light started to radiate around. Venerate sat upright watching the great battle on the Infinite Realm battlefield through the world monitoring mirror. Something's wrong with the Northern Emperor, Star-Lord Taibai said hesitantly. He severed a part of himself, which means he had cut off the way for him to move onward, the great heavenly Venerate said. Severed a part of himself? Star-Lord Taibai was shocked. Could it be that the legend is true, that the Northern Emperor has 2 bodies? Kunpeng is a very special creature. He is a rock in the sky and a kraken in the water. The 2 bodies are one, yet they can be differentiated. Now that he has cut one part of himself, his origin is no longer complete and can be regarded as the self-destruction of his own Tao. The great heavenly Venerate tone had a glint of regret in it. I didn't expect that he would be forced to such an extent. This Star-Lord Taibai was horrified but continued inexplicably, this child of the mortal realm has not even entered the great overarching realm. Even if he is a heaven-defying genius, it is impossible that he could force the Northern Emperor to such a degree. Could it be? He looked at the Tianyuan world in the corner of the mirror. There should be something special there. The great heavenly Venerate nodded. There was a great change in the mirror. 7-star formation array arranged by 7 great overarching star masters can trap a quasi-sage expert, Webnovel. With the blessing of the authority of the heavenly court, this formation can even grind down the expert who has just stepped into the quasi-sage realm. The great heavenly Venerate commented, it can be confirmed now, that place on the mortal world can seal off the power of authority. To seal the power of authority, doesn't that mean Star-Lord Taibai shuddered? Meanwhile, the great heavenly Venerate did not speak a word. Not long after, Jiang Ming launched his barrage of attacks and all 7 Star Masters died. Star-Lord Taibai had a look of astonishment. How did he do it? Continue watching. The great heavenly Venerate's expression became even more serious. Seeing Jiang Ming evoked the world's projection, producing the crisscrossing and dense chains of laws, Star-Lord Taibai's pupils shrank. As a flash of shock went through his mind, he suddenly felt he had a certain enlightenment from it. Your Majesty, is this the legendary world's Tao? Star-Lord Taibai almost exclaimed, the law of the golden immortals. Doesn't that mean that his small chiliocosm has been completed? But he is from the human realm. How did he do it? Star-Lord Taibai was deeply puzzled and shocked at the same time. I want to know too. The great heavenly Venerate said faintly. Once he breaks the bottleneck and the small chiliocosm enters the middle chiliocosm level, the holy Tao will be right in front of him. There was an imperceptible hint of envy in his tone. Star-Lord Taibai grinned secretly upon listening. Right after, he couldn't help exclaiming, he can detonate the great overarching Tao vessels. How did he do it? The great heavenly Venerate glanced at him lightly. Star-Lord Taibai gave a wry smile, bowed and saluted. Your old servants is greatly astounded. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I'm also surprised. The great heavenly Venerate suddenly sighed. No wonder he was able to break out of the 7-star formation array, a small chiliocosm, and can even detonate great overarching Tao vessels. Given the Northern Emperor's current situation, I'm afraid the outcome is not optimistic. Your Majesty, what if the Northern Emperor was killed? This infinite realm battlefield does not allow the descent of quasi-sage experts. As the Northern Emperor of Heavenly Court, Kunpeng violated the laws of heaven without authorization. Because of the great battle, the whole world has changed and millions of souls are affected. The great heavenly Venerate continued. His sin is unforgivable, but the position cannot be left empty. He paused, then said, is killing the Northern Emperor considered a huge crime? Your Majesty, Star-Lord Taibai turned pale and lowered his head suddenly. You're becoming more and more cowardly. The great heavenly Venerate snorted, his eyes narrowed, and a cold expression flashed. You Northern Emperor, I really underestimated you and your wild ambitions. As for the rest of you lots, how dare you intervene? Very well then. In the Infinite Realm battlefield, 4 great overarching Tao vessels were detonated simultaneously. The power that erupted was far beyond everyone's imagination. It did not matter if it was the power of laws, orders, rules, time, space, or whatever the laws of the great chiliocosm was. All of them were torn to shreds, annihilated completely by the outburst of power. At the critical juncture, Kunpeng mobilized the power of authority once again. but was easily destroyed as well. Mystical arcane blue water flag. He did not care that this supreme weapon had its origin damaged already, as he desperately evoked its potential and unleashed the power of protection. The blue light glowing faintly should have been invincible in defense, but it still couldn't stop the power of eruption. As the light dissipated, the great artifact let out a whimper, and it was suddenly divided into a flagpole and a flag. It was completely crippled to the extent that even the imprint inside it was erased as it fell into the depths of time and space. War Vessel 3000 Strike. Kunpeng felt a little bit in despair. With a flicker of the light, he turned into another form, a bird-headed human body. However, his aura also skyrocketed as he evoked his life-defining techniques. Boom! The torrent swept in, crippling all that stood against it. The moment Jiang Ming detonated the 4 great overarching Dao vessels, he teleported back into the Tianyuan world to protect himself with the power of the Saint Province Dao Square. This attack is really terrifying. His face was pale and he was not feeling well. However, looking at the destructive storm ahead, it was even more shocking. The Tianyuan Sea over there was completely destroyed. The seawater had completely evaporated and a bottomless abyss was bombarded on the bottom of the sea. In the distance, the earth cracked and it spread to the ends of the sky. The sky collapsed, causing the torrent of time and space to pour down, but was weakened by inexplicable forces and finally dissipated into thin air. As the storm swept over, Jiang Ming raised his hand to press against it, minimizing its impact to a mere breeze. There were even slight fluctuations in the Tianyuan world, as if an earthquake, but it was not a big problem. Jiang Ming watched on silently as he called up the human path record, which suspended mid-air in front of him, and flipped to the page related to Kunpeng. The power of destruction gradually subsided. He's not dead yet. Such a tenacious life, Jiang Ming muttered, turned into light and rushed over. The world projection had been manifested and was in a state between existence and non-existence, covering a radius of thousands of miles, forming a subtle oscillating force. Passing through the storm, he came over to Kunpeng. This time, however, the northern emperor of the heavenly court was in a very miserable state. 2 of his legs were gone, and so was one of his arms. There was only a bird head and half of his ribcage left, connected to a left arm. Even so, the remaining parts seemed to be almost completely disintegrated. The remaining parts of his body still shone with divine light, resisting the final force of destruction. Black Emperor, any last words? The mythical arcane halberd in Jiang Ming's hand was raised high as the power that could split the world was condensed on it. Do you really think you can kill me? Kunpeng's primordial spirit shook and echoed the sounds of the Dharma. Jiang Ming's halberd swung down for the final blow. Right this very moment, the void split open and a spear suddenly appeared, blocking the halberd. The next moment, a figure ripped apart the void and descended directly into the world. He grabbed the spear and looked at Jiang Ming, followed by another person appearing and standing in front of Kunpeng. 2 quasi-sage experts from the abyssal world. Jiang Ming's face turned sour. The person on the left, wearing a blood-colored robe, had a purple horn between his eyebrows with red lines on his face. He looked very strange, but was at least in humanoid form. The one on the right held a spear, had a third eye between his eyebrows, and had 4 arms. He wore leather armor with his buffed up and exposed arm. A mere glance and you could tell he is full of endless power. I am the 1,000-handed demon Venerate of the Abyss multi-handed clan. The 3-eyed man had a smile on his face. He is the Hong Luo demon Venerate. Boy, give us a face and let today's matter be at rest. He waved the spear in his hand, and his threatening intent was clear as daylight. 3 Eyes Hong Luo. He is already at the end of his fight. It's best to kill him now, snatch his great encounter, and strip him of his good fortune. Else he will become a big problem sooner or later. Kunpeng's voice echoed in a hurry. This, the 1,000-handed demon Venerate frowned as he was a little hesitant. A knife appeared in Hong Luo's hand. It was extremely dark and caused souls to tremble with just a glance. A blade that could split everything flashed with a strange, breathtaking power. It was a quasi-sage weapon. It seems that killing you is more beneficial, 1,000-handed demon Venerate muttered. Jiang Ming smiled. You two, do you really want to stop me? Do you want to kill me? We have this intention. The 1,000-handed demon Venerate nodded unabashedly. It shouldn't be difficult to kill you now. Really? In front of Jiang Ming there were 4 great overarching artifacts appearing again. Namely the God-annihilating bow, the Emperor's Star Palace, and 2 war swords. As soon as the great overarching Dao vessels appeared, both the 1,000-handed demon Venerate and Hong Luo demon Venerate were shocked and retreated immediately. After all, they saw that Jiang Ming was capable of detonating great overarching Dao vessels with their very own eyes. 4 pieces of Dao vessel exploding at the same time meant that there was an 80% chance of them falling to their demise on the spot. The Black Emperor is already my sworn mortal enemy, and death is the only ending for either one of us, Jiang Ming said. If you save him, he will definitely seek revenge on me and even have the opportunity to kill me after he recovers. So, saving him means you two will become my mortal enemy and death is the only ending for us. Have you two made up your mind? Do you really want to be my enemy for this half-crippled bird person? Thousand-handed demon Venerate frowned, feeling a little troublesome over the matter, and said after a thought, Northern Emperor is of great use to us and we can't help but save him. I give you my word that from now on the Northern Emperor will not seek revenge on you. Haha, Jiang Ming laughed, and then looked at the thousand-handed demon Venerate. You promise? Who do you think you are? The enemy who saves my mortal enemy is my mortal enemy. From now on I will not stop hunting you down till I'm dead. It's okay for you two to leave now. Otherwise, he was extremely persistent and must be so. In fact, it did not matter who came forth today. The four large, great overarching Tao vessels in front of him flashed an immortal light at the same time. The thousand-handed demon Venerate's face sank, revealing a ruthless look, and said with a savage smile, Boy, do you really think that if the great overarching Tao vessels self-destruct you can kill both of us? You don't seem to know what the two of us represent. We represent the 9 demon Venerates of the Abyss, 100 demon emperors, tens of thousands of devil kings, 1 million demon kings, and hundreds of millions of devil generals. Not mentioning the power of the Abyss, can you stop the two of us? It's already unbelievable that you held on for so many great battles consecutively when you are not even in the great overarching realm. I don't believe you have much immortal essence left in you. Little guy, don't throw the face that's given to you. Today we are protecting the Northern Emperor for sure. If you still don't know what's good for you, you'll be beheaded and all the human beings in your land will be wiped out. The thousand-handed demon Venerate sneered. If it weren't for the fear of the 4 great overarching Tao vessels in front of him, he wouldn't be as so long-winded as he would have gone on with it a long time ago. Who would want to squabble if the thing could be resolved with action? What's more, they were lawless demon Venerates. I'm saying it for the last time too. Jiang Ming raised a finger and said coldly, If you stop me, I will never stop until I die. Once mortal animosity is tied on, it will be unresolvable for all eternity. What an arrogant and domineering little guy. The murderous intent in the eyes of thousand-handed demon Venerate almost condensed into reality. Northern Emperor, you go first. Go directly to the Abyss. I'll see if he dares to make any moves. Alright, I'll leave the place to you, Black Emperor said, gave Jiang Ming a cold glance and flashed a cruel look. He then raised his head to look up at the sky again as the cold color in his eyes became more intense, turning into a stream and went off. The Abyss. Very well then. Jiang Ming raised his hand and was about to detonate the 4 great overarching Tao vessels, but suddenly stopped and had a strange look on his face. Immediately afterwards, Kunpeng's screams echoed, wailing abnormally terrifyingly. Ha ha! A loud laughter followed suit, rolling like a thunderstorm, swept across the earth and spread throughout the infinite realm battlefield. The laughter was filled with pleasure and the catharsis of hundreds of millions of years. Kunpeng. Finally you have your day. In the distance, an old man shattered the remnant of Kunpeng's body and was grabbing onto his primal spirit with one hand. In the palm of his hand, the true fire of 9 heavens pure yang was burning, refining Kunpeng's primal spirit. It didn't take long before more than half of his primal spirit was destroyed. Mountain Master Tian Yuan. Why? Kunpeng let out a desperate roar. Yuan, who made the move and captured Kunpeng. He had a sort of relationship with Jiang Ming. This time, however, was his original body and not an incarnation. Looking at the happiness and satisfaction on the face of Mountain Master Tian Yuan after completing his vengeance from a distance, Jiang Ming was a little puzzled. He remembered that when he checked on Mountain Master Tian Yuan's status, it seemed that his enemies were all slaughtered. This made him wonder what was happening. He thought the possible explanation was that there was no further analysis because it was an incarnation rather than the original body that he stumbled upon at the beginning. Jiang Ming opened the human path record and referred to Tian Yuan's status. It became somewhat clearer now. Name Tian Yuan, Mountain Master Tian Yuan. Relationship 86 status. He was the son of a mortal peasant and later ascended through the immortal gate. He was initially a free and unfettered person at heart, but when his mountain gate was destroyed, he stayed hidden for hundreds of millions of years in anger, vowing to emerge one day and slaughter all his enemies. When the ancient heavenly court fell, he made his move and killed off all his enemies. When he thought he had exacted his revenge, he suddenly found new clues to his mountain gate's demise. The immortal king who annihilated his sect once secretly took refuge with Kunpeng and collected beautiful women with high qualifications for Kunpeng's son. His junior sister was snatched, humiliated, and suicided after. Even their sect was destroyed. Upon knowing this, his anger fumed and raged. He wanted revenge not only to kill Beiming Hai but also to kill Kunpeng as well. Kunpeng was the root cause of the demise of his master's sect and the death of junior sister. Without him, how could there be Beiming Hai to begin with? However, Kunpeng's influence was very powerful and had become the northern emperor of the current heavenly court. He now had the power in his hands, and his cultivation realm was unpredictable. Killing him was as hard as flying to the moon. He went into seclusion and became Mountain Master Tian Yuan. He seemed to be at ease, but was in fact secretly investigating the details of Kunpeng. After a summary of information, he came to a conclusion. Kunpeng had a cold, cruel, and tyrannical temperament, was only into his own interest, mean and unkind, and had always wanted to break through holy Tao. It is also known that when he was subdued by the ancient heavenly court, he suffered a Tao injury and never recovered from it. Suffering from Tao injury, how can Kunpeng's strength be improved? Qian Yuan even knew that he had tried every means and even secretly destroyed a lot of sects and families to collect immortal treasures, but still was unable to recover himself. Under such a situation, how would he deplete his own origin to give birth to children? If it's unreasonable, then there must be a secret within. Later, it was found out that Kunpeng had an innate special ability called the Kunpeng reincarnation technique. With that technique, normal injuries can be recovered in an instant, but couldn't do much for Tao injuries. Nurturing a child with his own essence and blood means their origins are the same. Therefore, he concluded that devouring the child when the child's cultivation becomes stronger could heal his wound, and he was ecstatic. According to his speculation, if Kunpeng were to make his move, he would definitely wait until the Beiming Hai entered the great overarching realm, and it was best at the pinnacle of the great overarching realm. When the time comes, once the child is swallowed to heal his wound, he will inevitably be in a state of weakness. It would be a good time for revenge, and he can then eradicate both the father and son together. From then on, he began to focus on monitoring Beiming Hai. He saw that Beiming Hai came to the Infinite Realm battlefield, but unexpectedly discovered that the mortal planar world that he had been keeping his eyes on was about to descend there as well. He sighed in his heart. I was still robbed in the end. When he initially saw Bei Chen-Xing of great overarching golden immortal realm wanting to kill the little guy he had paid attention to, he was worried. However, when he saw the confident look on Jiang Ming's face, he held back. Unexpectedly, this little guy had grown to such a powerful extent, he did not enter the great overarching realm, but still killed Bei Chen-Xing, who was in the later stage of the great overarching realm. It was both a shocking and a happy surprise. When he saw Jiang Ming was in such a miserable state, as if he was going to die at any time, he felt inexplicably that Jiang Ming was actually pretending. Yes, it was all just him pretending. He later saw Beiming Hai rush into the human world to kill Jiang Ming again. His heart moved, and an immature thought ran through his mind. If Beiming Hai was killed, will Kunpeng come forth? He definitely will. Can he kill Kunpeng if he joins forces with Jiang Ming? He also discovered that the remnants of the mortal world could not be peeked into. While he was shocked at first, it gave him some hope. Seeing Kunpeng's arrival, he wanted to follow him into the mortal world but held back at last. When he saw sword lights soaring into the sky, the sea of clouds being tossed around, he was shocked. Seeing Kunpeng escaping for his life was even more horrifying. When he sensed that the enemy's aura was greatly diminished, he was pleasantly surprised. Preparing to take advantage of Jiang Ming, who was chasing Kunpeng to continue their battle, he planned on making his move secretly and killed Kunpeng with one hit. However, he later found out that there were two demon Venerates hiding in the abyss. He had discovered before that these two demon Venerates had been in contact with Kunpeng, and his heart sank. But wait! It was very gratifying for him to see Jiang Ming's great powers. His heart was ecstatic to see how miserable Kunpeng had become. When he saw the thousand-handed demon Venerate and Hong Luo demon Venerate appearing to save Kunpeng, he couldn't suppress his bloodlust any longer. Seeing that Jiang Ming used great overarching Tao vessels to intimidate the two demon Venerates and was extremely powerful, he knew that his opportunity had come. Finally, Kunpeng was the first to leave. Haha, the opportunity has come. The opportunity has finally come. Thank God. I will destroy this birdman today. Once I make my move, I must kill him with one hit. Jiang Ming looked at the Qian Yuan's status and exclaimed in his heart, this one was also a ruthless man. When his sect was destroyed, he didn't rush to take revenge, but endured in seclusion, finding the opportunity to kill his opponent off with one blow. In the face of such a mortal enemy, Kunpeng, he had been planning for a long time, waiting for the most suitable opportunity, and his hard work paid off. Calm, ruthless, and cunning like a lone wolf, how could he not amount to great things? Jiang Ming secretly said in his heart. What if he was the mountain master Tian Yuan? If his sect was destroyed, his master was killed, and his junior sister also died, how would he react? He really might not be able to hold back. What if he couldn't hold back? He thought he would be killed 9 times out of 10. As all these ran through his thoughts, it was just a snap of his fingers. Over at the other side, Mountain Master Tian Yuan was slowly reminiscing about the past. What? The immortal king that surrendered himself to me destroyed your sect to collect immortal ladies for my child? Upon hearing this, Kunpeng couldn't help crying out in despair. Making matters worse. Damn it, how can this single child I raise make matters so much worse for me? When the other experts watching the battle heard his cry, they all smiled and at the same time were very happy. Kunpeng, finally you have this day too. Committing evil deeds everywhere in order to nurture Beiming Hai. Who was he to bring harm to but not yourself? It might be nothing before, as he did not provoke any ruthless people. But now that he had provoked one such person, just provoking that person once was all he needed to be a goner. Mountain Master Tian Yuan, listen to me, listen to me. Kunpeng resisted the extreme pain of his primal spirit's destruction and hoarsely said quickly, I don't know what happened in the past. I really didn't know. It wasn't me who instructed it. Let me go and I will tell you the secret of the Holy Tao. The secret of the Holy Tao? Mountain Master Tian Yuan curled his lips and said coldly, if I do not take my revenge even if my heads are clear of thoughts, why would I still ponder on the Holy Tao? Kunpeng, even if God himself comes today, you are still sure to die. With that said, he looked at Jiang Ming in the distance and nodded. Jiang Ming cupped his hands to greet him. It was just that the thousand-handed demon Venerate and Honglu demon Venerate had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. They thought that it would be smooth sailing to rescue Kunpeng. Who knew that they would first encounter such a dauntless person like Jiang Ming, and then Mountain Master Tian Yuan appearing right after? The two were really two slaps right on their faces. The two looked at each other and were about to go and stop the Mountain Master Tian Yuan, but was blocked by Jiang Ming. You two, are you leaving just like that? His tone was cold, and there were 4 large great overarching Tao vessels suspended in front of him, each of which gave off terrifying luminance, as if they would explode at any time. Jiang Ming also checked the status of the 2 demon Venerates. They were all demon Venerates from the abyss, and their relationship with him was around -90. What did that mean? It meant that as long as there was a chance, they would definitely kill him. Also, it had been made clear just now that saving Kunpeng made them his mortal enemy, and yet these two did not take him seriously at all. However, he discovered their purpose of saving Kunpeng from the status of these demon Venerates. They were in contact before, and Kunpeng wanted to make these two secretly subdue under himself at the cost of knowing the secrets about the Holy Realm. There was even a hidden place of the Holy Venerates Tao Square that they could go seek for benefits together in the future. It just so happened that when Jiang Ming was trapped in the 7-star array formation, Kunpeng felt a little uneasy, and found that these two were also on the Infinite Realm battlefield. The two of them were on a higher level battlefield, and so he informed them to come over. Otherwise, how could they rush over so quickly? Upon descending into this world and going through so many things, Jiang Ming believed in the truth of this world that if they were to be enemies, they would be his mortal enemies. If the enemy could not kill him, then he will be the one killing them off. Such bravery, little one. Hongluo Demon Venerate was furious, and a palace burst out above his head. Its power radiated around, covering the entire surroundings. Meanwhile, the 1,000-handed Demon Venerate took a glance and quickly left. Are you really not afraid? Jiang Ming didn't move, but a 9-level golden pagoda appeared above his head, as he held onto the mystical arcane halberd with 4 large great overarching Tao vessels suspended mid-air in front of him. Honglu Demon Venerate's heart was beating wildly, but how could he show any weakness? He had also discussed with the 1,000-handed Demon Venerate just now that if this little guy was still unyielding, he would block him off here. They won't aim to kill off the enemy, but just seek for their own protection and block him off. We don't have any grudges, do we? Hongluo Demon Venerate forced out an ugly smile. Everything is negotiable. Jiang Ming also smiled. True, it's negotiable. However, his eyes turned over to Mountain Master Tian Yuan, whilst he also looked this way. The eyes of the two met. Although they did not speak, nor did they transmit their voices subconsciously, the two also exchanged information, forming a tacit understanding between them. Jiang Ming turned his eyes over and looked at Hongluo Demon Venerate with a raging gleam in his eyes. This was a mighty battle as the aftermath swept through the entire Infinite Realm battlefield. From the low-level battlefield downstream to the ultimate battlefield upstream, all felt the waves of destruction here, wave after wave. It also attracted many strong cultivators to come over and watch the battle. Up on a white cloud stood a young man wearing a blood-colored robe. He watched the battle with relish as his dormant aura was as thick as an abyss. His eyes moved and he turned to look to the side where a middle-aged man in a dark golden suit appeared unknowingly. Hail the ghost-faced demon Venerate. The blood-robed youth bowed slightly in great respect. Blood Emperor, ghost-faced demon Venerable nodded. What is going on here? I just arrived at the battlefield above, and when I was about to retreat into cultivation, I sensed the shocking fluctuations here. Bei Chenxing of the Starlight Middle Chiliocosm was killed. Beiming Hai, the son of the Northern Emperor, was also killed. The Northern Emperor himself was about to be killed. As the Blood Emperor listed the names, he quickly explained what he had seen through his primal spirit. The Blood Emperor was the person the Devil King Shu Tao took refuge under. In fact, he came over early before, but never showed his presence. He also felt very fortunate that he never made a move. Otherwise, he would have had his head planted here today. Who would have thought that such a shattered and destroyed planar world that had just descended here would have such a great horror in it? It was simply unbelievable. To think that such weird things happened, ghost-faced demon Venerate was also surprised. The human planar world, which may hide the treasures of the ancient heavenly court, was invaded by immortals and demons one after another. The planar world was destroyed by 19 devil kings, but 18 of these devil kings died. The planar world was led to the infinite realm battlefield by a great overarching Tao vessel. Both immortals and demons of king's level were dispatched, but were all killed by a female expert that appeared. Immediately afterwards, both Bai Chenxing and Beiming Hai died one after another. Kunpeng went in. He may have triggered his own strongest attack but still failed miserably after exhausting all his resources. After Kunpeng escaped, the owner inside, namely Jiang Ming, chased after and killed him. Although the combat power this Jiang Ming displayed was able to compete with Kunpeng, it was far less powerful than what he was capable of in the mortal world. Ghost-faced demon Venerate thought carefully, and easily came to a few conclusions. There must be secrets hidden in the mortal world that might once be the treasure of the heavenly court. This kid Jiang Ming was not of the great overarching realm, but his combat power was comparable to that of a quasi-sage realm. His ability was beyond comprehension and exceeded the norm. Logically speaking, even if he obtained great encounters, he wouldn't be able to grow to such a level. There must be a huge secret hidden in him. When he was inside, his combat power was peerless but was comparatively weaker when he was in the outside world. Was it the effect of an array formation or a hidden Tao square that has been evoked? In either case, why was it destroyed without protecting the entire world? Was it because it was just discovered or evoked then? Yes, this must be it. Ghost-faced demon Venerate placed his hands behind his back, looked into the distance while thinking, and suddenly said, Kunpeng's death is inevitable. With the thousand-handed demon Venerate and Hong Luo demon Venerate together, he still can't be saved. The Blood Emperor hesitated. Although Mountain Master Tian Yuan is also a Venerate, he became enlightened later compared to the two. How can he be an opponent to them? Does Mountain Master Tian Yuan really dare to kill Kunpeng? Since Mountain Master Tian Yuan said that it was for his revenge, and he had been in hiding for so long, why would he not dare to kill Kunpeng once he grabbed onto the opportunity and even made no secret of it? I'm afraid it's useless even if the great heavenly Venerate is there now. Ghost-faced demon Venerate continued. Trying to save the primal spirit remnant from the hands of a Venerate, no one would be able to manage that unless a holy Venerate descends. Also, there's that kid. Ghost-faced Venerate looked at Jiang Ming, frowning slightly. From the past events you described, it can be seen that this kid is decisive, ruthless, and has great resolution. He is also strong and domineering, has no mercy, and will kill all his enemies regardless of their background. Beiming Hai is an example of this. With these successive battles, unless he is at his end, he will definitely make his move. Because this day is the day he first descended into this world. The day that dictates whether or not he can stand firm over here, and the day he asserts his dominance. He will make his move. I wonder, will Hong Luo Demon Venerate be able to block him off? The Blood Emperor was surprised and he couldn't help nodding after thinking for a while. Your analysis is as thorough as always. Yang Ming had been fighting against them one after another. Can he still fight against the Hong Luo Demon Venerate? Aren't there 4 great overarching Tao vessels in front of him? According to what you said, he can detonate them. In this case, how can Hong Luo stand against them? Ghost-faced Venerate couldn't help shaking his head and cursed. God damn it. How can there be such a strange and yet powerful special ability in this world? That's a great overarching Tao vessel, for crying out loud. To be able to cause all its power to explode in an instance is beyond incredible. Who can withstand that from now on? I don't believe he doesn't need to pay the price for it. He will definitely be paying a price for using such a taboo technique, the Blood Emperor said, and asked, if Hong Luo Demon Venerate isn't able to stand his ground against the kid, will you make your move? Ghostface Venerate pinched his chin and muttered, when he is at his life and death situation, I will definitely make my move. After all, he is from our abyss. What about the kid? The Blood Emperor pointed. Did your heart move? Ghostface Venerate chuckled lightly. Of course I'm excited. What kind of great encounter can make such a being from the planar world to grow to such a level? It's a pity I have more than ample desire for it but lack the ability to go for it. Then practice harder. The Ghost-faced Venerate still did not respond to the question just now. Over on the other side, the thousand-handed demon Venerate had come to the opposite of Mountain Master Tian Yuan. How about letting the Northern Emperor go? Consider that I owe you a favor for it. A favor to be exchanged for my mortal enemy? Mountain Master Tian Yuan sneered. What are you? The thousand-handed demon Venerate suddenly turned gloomy and muttered. Tian Yuan, you should understand that our abyss has always been one. Today I'm not the only one who wants the Northern Emperor, but the entire abyss wants him. Do you know what it means if you kill him? It means that you are trying to replace the great heavenly Venerate with him. Mountain Master Tian Yuan was even more indifferent. Sure enough, the wolf cubs from the abyss are all good for nothing. You've all long thought of tipping over the heavenly court and turning the heavenly world into a demon world. Qin Yuan, your slander is too ridiculous. The thousand-handed demon Venerate's eyes were already spewing with flames as he already understood that King Yuan would not let go at all. He quickly changed his way and muttered, "Leave him to me and I swear I will kill Kunpeng. How does that sound? From now on you will be our most honored guest in the abyss." Mountain Master Tian Yuan glanced at Jiang Ming in the distance and smiled coldly. "Rather than yourself, even if the entire abyss comes forth today, it still won't sway my determination to kill Kunpeng. Die." The flames in the hands of the Mountain Master Tian Yuan suddenly burst into ignition and burned Kunpeng's primal soul remnant to the ground. A northern emperor of an era, an ancient force was just killed like that. "You are courting death." The thousand-handed demon Venerate was furious, and the spear in his hand was lunged forward without hesitation. "I've been waiting for you." At that very moment, the obsession in Mountain Master Tian Yuan's heart completely faded, and his mind relaxed for a while. His whole person felt as if he had seen through everything and could even vaguely see the secrets of a higher realm. When faced with the attack of the thousand-handed demon Venerate, he was not afraid at all and took the initiative to lunge towards him. With a flick of the sword in his hand, boundless sword light broke through the heavens and the earth, pushing the sword Dao to an extreme level. At the same time, the sword light also contained the power of thunder in it. A compass appeared under his feet, followed by circles of light appearing, rapidly spreading in 100,000 miles radius. The whole area became totally sealed and imprisoned. The great battle between the two peerless experts broke up instantly. As the great battle here commenced, the fight had already begun over at Jiang Ming's end. Jiang Ming looked at the demon venerable Hong Luo, as his world projection technique had already been spread out across the area. The four great overarching Dao vessels in front of him were on the verge of being detonated, which caused his opponents to be in a constant state of fear. The two continued to stare down at each other like this. Demon Venerable Hong Luo originally thought that Jiang Ming would not make his move. After all, how could there be no damage to him after such continuous battles? There was also another Venerate in the area as well. Moreover, he had an entire abyss as his support. However, when Kunpeng was killed, he suddenly heard Jiang Ming shout, "Hong Luo, the fact that you seduced the great demon Venerate's concubine has been discovered." What? Demon Venerable Hong Luo was startled as his mind turned into shock, and his facial expression changed wildly. Great chance. Jiang Ming's eyes lit up, and 10 clones appeared around him at the same time. The moment these clones appeared, all of them ignited their immortal essence at the same time, evoking the time and space confinement technique. One wave after another were launched at the demon Venerate, forming a time-space seal onto him. As for what he just shouted, he obviously saw it from the demon Venerate's status in the human path record. This demon Venerate was so bold to dare to even seduce the concubine of the great demon Venerate. Those who did not know who the great demon Venerate was might feel indifferent about the news. However, the great demon Venerable was the #1 expert of the abyss, and his status there was comparable to that of the great heavenly Venerate in the heavenly court. How could Hong Luo not be shocked when such deeds of his were discovered? That's not good. Although his mind was shaken by the sudden news, his reaction was still extremely fast. After all, Demon Venerable Hong Luo was still one of the quasi-sage experts. Black lights rushed out of his body and the magic palace above his head was going to rain down waves upon waves of demonic flames, but it was still a step too late. His body was frozen for just a slight moment, followed by total imprisonment. As Hong Luo's power collided with the power of confinement, Jiang Ming's mythical arcane Halberd had already arrived just when he was about to break free. The strike was embedded with a return of infinite law finger technique, brandished into an extremely powerful attack as Jiang Ming went all out. As the tip of the halberd penetrated between Hong Luo's eyebrows, his head was pierced through directly. The power contained in the attack immediately destroyed his primal spirit and decimated his true spirit. Demon Venerable Hong Luo died tragically on the spot. After Jiang Ming kept Hong Luo's corpse and the trophies from the battle, he did not stop at all and launched himself after the thousand-handed demon Venerate. When he looked at Mountain Master Tian Yuan just now, the two of them immediately came to a tacit understanding. Jiang Ming, you were able to capture Kunpeng because of my help. Consider it as me repaying the previous favor. Mountain Master Tian Yuan, no, this kind of favor is too great. Conversely, I now owe you a favor. Jiang Ming, alright then, help me kill these two demon Venerates so that I can assert my dominance here. Will you? Mountain Master Tian Yuan, I shall. I can keep one of them occupied at most. Are you sure you can kill one? Jiang Ming, yes. The two of them seemed to have a heart-to-heart connection, and when they looked at each other, they understood each other's thoughts. This place already belonged to the heavenly realm and teleportation had been restricted. Even so, Jiang Ming's speed was still very fast. When he was still thousands of miles away from the thousand-handed demon Venerate, he conjured 10 clones again. However, their faces were already very pale. Although his immortal essence was endless, the toll onto the power of his mind was immense after such consecutive battles. Die, Jiang Ming shouted loudly. Just as the 10 clones were about to launch their attacks, he saw a stream of light flashing through and all his avatars were cut down immediately. He raised his hand and used the mythical arcane Halberd to block off the attack, but was still blown across the sky thousands of miles away due to the impact. A middle-aged man appeared not far away, stretched out his hand and grabbed mid-air. A sickle was seen returning into his hands. You actually killed Hong Luo in such a short period of time. What great techniques! The expert who launched the attack was none other than the ghost-faced demon Venerate, with a gloomy look on his face. You haven't entered the great overarching realm, yet your methods are already sky-defying and the profoundness of your primal spirit leaves people in pure despair. You even have all kinds of unbelievable forbidden special abilities that even an unprepared Venerate might get killed with just a single blow. Jiang Ming, you are amazing, truly amazing. If you continue to grow like this, I am afraid that even the great heavenly Venerate will be restless. He thought that even if Hong Luo Demon Venerate was no match for Jiang Ming, he would be able to at least hold on for a while longer. After all, Hong Luo was prepared, hence he would be able to defend himself a little against the self-destruction of a Dao vessel. Dying should have been difficult. Who knew that Jiang Ming would have such a special ability that ended up with him being too late for the rescue? In particular, it didn't matter whether what Jiang Ming said about Hong Luo seducing the great demon Venerate's beloved concubine was true or false. It was a taboo. As his anger was raging in his heart, his murderous intent skyrocketed. However, he was calmer, especially after seeing the 4 great overarching Dao vessels appearing in front of Jiang Ming again. The great heavenly Venerate will definitely be restless. Jiang Ming held the halberd and smiled slightly. In order to improve himself further, he didn't even care about his beloved concubine's affair with Hong Luo. And for what? It was to take one step further towards pulling down the great heavenly Venerate from his position. Are you demons of the abyss ready to wage war against the heavenly court already? You tried to incite me with words and praise me for my ability. Well then, I will use words to smother your hearts and put you onto the pathway to death. Let's see who's afraid of who. You're nothing but only a fool. When Jiang Ming saw the opponent's cultivation realm, his heart sank. This is not an ordinary demon. God damn it, this was troublesome. Heavenly court. The great heavenly Venerate was looking at the world monitoring mirror. Upon seeing Kunpeng's physical body destroyed and his soul burned in the pure yang flame by Mountain Master Tian Yuan, he shook his head. The Northern Emperor is a goner. Yeah, Star-Lord Taibai chimed in before continuing hesitantly. Your Majesty, he is, after all, the Northern Emperor of the Heavenly Court. If we just stand aside and not do anything after he's killed, I'm afraid it'll affect our prestige. The great heavenly Venerate did not make any comment on the statement and said, I had no idea that human man Jiang Ming was able to bring out all the power of the great overarching Dao vessel. When he unleashed all the power at once, it's like a great overarching expert blowing himself up. What kind of forbidden technique is that? Have you seen it before? Star-Lord Taibai fell into a contemplation for a while before shaking his head. Nope, maybe. The great heavenly Venerate nodded. Both of them thought about the legacy behind Jiang Ming. I didn't expect there'd be such a feud between Mountain Master Tian Yuan and the Northern Emperor. Star-Lord Taibai lamented when he heard the voice from the world monitoring mirror. It's no wonder that the Mountain Master refuses to take in any disciple, so this is the reason. That being said, the Northern Emperor is truly a poor person. Not only did his son breed enmity with the Mountain Master, but he also was killed by Jiang Ming after provoking him. When he came to avenge his son's death, he got defeated by Jiang Ming instead. Just as he thought he was saved when 2 demon Venerates came to his rescue, he fell into Mountain Master Tian Yuan's hands. Sigh, karma. This is all karma. You reap what you sow, so the Northern Emperor can't blame anyone for his ending. Suddenly, the great heavenly Venerate squinted his eyes as he gazed at Jiang Ming and Hong Lu Demon Venerate. Hong Lu has cuckolded the great demon Venerate? Star-Lord Taibai was shocked. How is that possible? There's no way he would have the guts to do that. Oh my gosh, how shocking this is. If it gets out, Hong Luo would be done for. The great demon Venerate, huh? A hint of coldness crossed the great heavenly Venerate's face. Then, they saw Jiang Ming throw himself at Hong Luo and kill him in one strike. Hiss! Star-Lord Taibai took a sharp breath. Jiang Ming deliberately distracted Hong Luo with words and then trapped him with time and space forbidden techniques so that he could kill him before he could even retaliate. What a manipulative man and what a powerful move. Nobody would be able to survive a fight with him without knowing what he is capable of. But how did he know the relationship between Hong Luo Great Venerate and the Great Demon Venerate's wife? Judging from Hong Luo's reaction, it doesn't seem like he's lying. I don't understand either, the Great Heavenly Venerate said. Then, his pupils suddenly constricted and shouted, Hold on for a second. How is there any possibility that the Great Demon Venerate wouldn't know about the relationship between Hong Luo and his wife? How long have we not heard from him? Please hold on for a second, Star-Lord Taibai replied as he closed his eyes. After a short while, he opened his eyes again and answered, A whole 12 million years. Although from time to time there is news of the great demon Venerate, now that I think about it, those are just fake news to sidetrack me. So that's the reason his wife is meeting Hong Luo behind his back, since he has been in seclusion for so long. A whole 12 million years. The great heavenly Venerate mumbled and fell into thought, his face stern. Star-Lord Taibai thought of something and he shuddered. In the next second they saw Jiang Ming rush toward thousand-handed demon Venerate, who was locked in a fierce melee with Mountain Master Tian Yuan. At this moment, ghost-faced demon Venerate appeared and stood in front of Jiang Ming. The conversation between them made Star-Lord Taibai's face turn even paler. The abyss, the great heavenly Venerate mumbled. In the next moment, a ray of golden light shot out from his eyes and a sheet of immortal gold paper containing heavenly might appeared in front of him. He then opened his mouth and gave out his order. The Northern Emperor plotted against the heavenly court. His evil plan was uncovered and killed by Jiang Ming in the mortal world. Not only has Jiang Ming defended the prestige of the heavenly court, but he also has great virtue and can be the first choice for the new Northern Emperor of the Heavenly Court. We will observe him for 100 years, and if he does not do anything that crosses the line, he will be the new Northern Emperor. This is my first order. Run a thorough investigation into the abyss, for the demon Venerates try to save the rebellious Northern Emperor. This is my second order. The Great Abyss trial will be opened in advance. This is my third order. Run a thorough investigation over the Northern Emperor Palace. Dao inscriptions began to appear on the golden paper. Looking at the golden papers, Star-Lord Taibai bowed to the great heavenly Venerate and asked, "Your Majesty, shall we deliver the order now? Let's investigate the Northern Emperor Palace first." The great heavenly Venerate said coldly, "We'll deliver the remaining 3 orders after the fight is over." "Yes, Your Majesty," Star-Lord Taibai said and went away to deliver the message. "Northern Emperor, you're also an ancient being, a quasi-sage great monarch who's well respected by the masses. Even until now, I still can't figure out your intention of having a son. Even if you want to have a son, that's fine as well. You just need to educate him well, but you did not. You didn't raise him into a fine person and you doted on him. What's more, you even helped him to clean his mess whenever he stirred up trouble. And see what you've gotten yourself into now. Not only are you dead, but you're charged with the offense of trying to overthrow the heavenly court, and all of your family members will also be executed." Although Jiang Ming managed to severely injure the Northern Emperor, it was Mountain Master Tian Yuan who dealt the final blow to him. However, the great heavenly Venerate treats as if it's Jiang Ming who killed the Northern Emperor and makes him into a candidate of the next Northern Emperor. Is he trying to show other people that he's someone who appreciates talent? Hey, I'm certain that news about Jiang Ming would spread across the universe, but why? Why is there an uneasy feeling inside of me? The Great Abyss trial is about to open as well. Just what the Great Heavenly Venerate is thinking. After the trial, it would be the blood trial, which means a full-scale war is nigh. This is so scary. Sigh. I shouldn't think about so many things. After all, I'm nothing but a messenger. Star-Lord Taibai told himself and then went to do his bidding.